Dragon Ball World 765 AD. Son Goku, the hero of Earth, succumbed to a viral heart disease. The planet lost its strongest protector. 766 AD, Trunks was born. That same year, the remnant of the Red Ribbon Army Dr. Jiro unleashed his revenge. Android 17 and 18 awakened, and the nightmare began. The Z fighters fought to the end. Yamcha, Tine, Chiatsu, Krillin, Vegeta, Piccolo all fell. One by one. Only a boy named Son Gohan, 9 years old and clutching the Dragon Balls, escaped with his life. 12 years later, 778 AD, the world had long since ended. The sky was a lifeless black, and the air reeked of smoke and rust. Buildings lay in ruin, concrete crumbled to dust. Wind howled through empty streets, carrying the scent of decay. From above, the planet looked like a graveyard, an endless landscape of despair. In the middle of the ruins, among the shattered skeletons of skyscrapers, a small mound of earth stood quietly. Someone had placed flowers there, yellow, white, and wilted at the edges. A few bananas, apples, and a bottle of water rested at the grave's base. Fresh soil, new offerings. Whoever lay beneath had been mourned not long ago. Then swish, the earth trembled. Cracks split across the mound as sand trickled down the sides. A pale hand broke through the dirt. Moments later, a battered young man dragged himself from the grave, body shaking, breath ragged, one arm missing from the shoulder down. His face was caked in blood and dust, his skin ghost white. He collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. Where am I? No answer, only the wind. A piercing pain struck through his skull. He screamed, clutching his head as flashes of alien memories flooded in images, voices, worlds colliding in his mind. The agony seemed endless. Then slowly it stopped. He lay there, drenched in cold sweat, eyes wide with disbelief. Memories settled, identities fused. He understood. He had reincarnated. This was the Dragon Ball world, and he was Son Gohan, but not the prodigy who defeated Cell. No, this was the broken future, where Gohan had lost everything. His left arm torn off at the shoulder, his left eye scarred deep by battle. Android 18 had done this. She'd taken his friends, his family, and his arm. If not for the merging of two souls, his and Gohan's, he would have stayed dead, buried under the very soil he just clawed through. Now reborn, the two were one. He spat mud from his mouth and coughed hard. Padam, reaching for the water left at the grave, he twisted off the cap with trembling fingers and gulped it down. The cold liquid burned his throat, but it felt like life itself. The bananas and apples followed, sweet, overripe, but heavenly. It's an offering to me anyway, he muttered. Can't waste it. In this ruined world, food was worth more than gold. He sat there for a long while, breathing, waiting, but no system voice came. No ding, no cheat, nothing, he sighed. Guess I'm the rare one without a system. His body ached from every nerve, bones cracked when he tried to move. The pain was sharp, constant. Still, he smiled bitterly through it. Hurts like hell, but I'm alive. Right now, survival came first. He needed shelter, rest, and someone he could trust. Bulma, even in this timeline, she was alive, and her capsule corporation, though damaged, still stood in the western capital. It was the safest place left. Hang on, Bulma. Trunks, I'm coming. He gathered what little Kai he could still muster. His aura flickered faintly like a dying flame. Then with effort, he lifted off the ground. It should have taken seconds. It took him an hour. By the time Capsule Corporation appeared on the horizon, his vision blurred and his breath came in short gasps. He landed hard, knees buckling. His whole body trembled. The door stood just a few steps away, yet it felt miles off. He forced himself to knock. Who's there? A young voice called from inside. It's me, he rasped, barely able to lift his head. Trunks, the door burst open. A boy of 12, hair lavender and eyes wide with shock, froze at the sight. Gohan Niai. Tears filled his eyes before he could finish the sentence. Gohan smiled weakly, placing his right hand on the boy's head. You didn't even sense me coming, Trunks. What did I tell you about that? The words barely left his lips before darkness swallowed him again. His body slumped forward. Trunks caught him before he hit the floor, his voice breaking. I got it, Gohan Niai. The boy cried openly now, tears and snot streaking his face. He didn't care. He just held on to his teacher, his brother figure, the last light in his world. Moments later, Bulma appeared in the doorway. Her breath hitched when she saw the figure in her son's arms. Gohan, you're alive, she whispered, fighting back tears. Then, steadying herself, she pressed a hand to Trunks' shoulder. Don't cry, take him to bed now. His wounds are bad. Yes, Mom. Trunks sniffled, nodded, and carried Gohan inside. For the first time in years, the capsule home felt alive again. Outside, the wind blew softly over the forgotten grave. The flowers still swayed. The night, once hopeless, carried a single breath of life again. At Capsule Corporation, the quiet hum of machines filled the room. On the bed lay Son Gohan, his body wrapped head to toe in bandages. Only his eyes, nose, and mouth were visible, like a relic preserved from battle. His breathing was faint but steady. Beside him, Bulma sighed as she checked the monitors. 15 broken bones, internal bleeding, signs of brain trauma, and torn muscles everywhere, she murmured. And yet, he's still alive. Saiyan vitality really is terrifying. She carefully lifted his head and fed him a vial of recovery fluid. When she finished, she turned toward the boy standing quietly nearby. Trunks, she said softly, what happened? You said yesterday that Gohan was gone. Trunks bit his lip, eyes red. I buried him myself. There was blood everywhere and he wasn't breathing, I thought. Trunks, Bulma interrupted, her tone firm but gentle. Tell me everything. From the start, the boy nodded, hands trembling slightly as he began to recall the memory that still haunted him. Yesterday, after training, Brother Gohan sensed the androids nearby. They were attacking a city again. I wanted to go with him, but he knocked me out and left alone. His fists clenched until his knuckles turned white. When I woke up and followed his Kai, it was too late. He was lying in a pool of blood, lifeless. I couldn't feel a heartbeat. Those two monsters were already gone. Bulma stayed silent for a moment, then she exhaled slowly. So that's what happened. She raised a hand as if to scold him for acting rashly, but stopped halfway. Trunks stood there with his head bowed, tears forming again. She couldn't bring herself to hit him. Never mind, she said, patting his shoulder. What matters is that he's still with us. The gods must really be watching over this house. Her voice softened. You did your best, Trunks. The boy wiped his eyes and nodded silently. 2 days passed. On the third morning, sunlight spilled through the window. Gohan stirred, his fingers twitching. Then slowly his eyes opened. The white ceiling above him came into focus. It took a few seconds before everything returned to him, his death, his rebirth, the battle, and Trunks. He was alive again. Turning his head with effort, he saw Trunks sleeping at the foot of the bed, arms dangling, face peaceful for the first time in days. Across the room, Bulma stood at her desk, scribbling formulas beside a half-assembled machine, a time machine. Gohan stared at it for a long moment. He knew exactly what it was, the same one Trunks would one day use to change history. The sight made him swallow hard. His throat was dry and burning. Tea, Trunks, water, he croaked. Barely audible. When the boy didn't stir, Gohan nudged his arm with his bandaged leg. Trunks yelped, jerking upright. Who? Then he froze, eyes wide. Be Brother Gohan? You're awake, you're really awake. Gohan managed a weak grin. Before he could reply, Bulma crossed the room in 3 quick steps and tapped Trunks on the head. Don't just stand there, you blockhead. Get him some water. Right. Trunks scrambled to grab a bottle, opened the cap, and carefully held it to Gohan's lips. Half of it missed, soaking the bandages around his neck. Gohan chuckled hoarsely. I'll do it myself. He struggled upright, flexing his right arm. A faint ripple of Kai spread from his palm, shredding the bandages like paper. He took the bottle and drained it in one go. Bulma sat beside him. How do you feel? Gohan exhaled. Feeling life slowly return to his limbs. Better, still starving though. His stomach growled loudly, almost on cue. Trunks grinned. I'm hungry too, Mom. Bulma shook her head with a small smile. All right, stay put, both of you. I'll cook something. Trunks, help me. Yes, ma'am, Trunks said, already on his feet. Brother Gohan, I'll be back soon. Got it, Gohan said, waving weakly as they left. The room fell quiet again. Gohan glanced around at the tools, the unfinished machine, the blueprints scattered across the desk. Bulma had lost her parents, Trunks had lost his father, and he had no one left at all. His mother, Kai, his grandfather, all gone. Android 17 and 18 had erased everything he loved. He clenched his fist. Not again. When Bulma and Trunks returned, the air smelled of food for the first time in years, but they froze at the doorway. Gohan was already standing in the middle of the room, wearing his familiar orange and blue gi, studying the half-built time machine. Gohan, Bulma scolded. You shouldn't even be out of bed. You need at least another week of rest. He turned, smiling faintly. I'll be fine. Once I eat, I'll heal fast. You know how Saiyan bodies work. Bulma sighed, though the corners of her mouth twitched. You sound just like your father. Gohan laughed quietly. Guess that runs in the blood. Bulma gestured to the table. Fine, but eat first. You've been asleep for almost 3 days. No wonder I feel like I haven't eaten in forever, Gohan muttered, already sitting down. They began to eat in silence, the sound of utensils and soft breathing filling the small kitchen. Then Trunks finally spoke. Brother Gohan, that day, I really thought you were gone. I couldn't feel your heartbeat, your energy, nothing, so I buried you. I'm sorry, Bulma looked up as well. Yes, Gohan, what exactly happened? Gohan swallowed a bite of bread and looked between them. His voice was calm but steady. I was close to death, he said, but Saiyan bodies are stubborn. My heart stopped for a while, but I kept fighting inside. If I'd let go even for a second, I wouldn't be here now. He placed a hand on Trunks' shoulder. We can't fall, Trunks, not yet. As long as those androids are out there, we have to keep training. If we give up, there'll be no one left to protect this world. Trunks' eyes burned with determination. He nodded hard. Yes, Brother Gohan. Bulma watched them both, one scarred by battle, one too young for war, and smiled faintly. For the first time in years, the light inside Capsule Corporation didn't feel so dim.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to FanFic Canon. Thanks for hitting play. I'm thrilled to bring this fan-made story to life for you. If you enjoy the ride and want more narrated fanfics, smash, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And if you want audiobook of a novel of your choice, join my Patreon. Request any title that's freely available online, and I'll produce a full narration just for you. Now, let's dive into today's adventure.
The words resurrection from the dead would be hard to accept in other worlds, but they are very normal in the Dragon Ball world. If you don't die a few times, you can't call yourself a strong person. Bulma did not continue to ask, but instead said earnestly, "It's good that you know. Don't be so impulsive in the future. Can you defeat 2 androids by yourself? Don't you know how powerful they are? You are always so reckless. Last time I lost an arm, and this time I almost lost my life." Son Gohan shrank his neck and kept saying yes, yes, yes. And you, Trunks, you are already 12 years old. Use your brain when doing things. Don't just think about killing, rushing, rushing. What should I do if you all die? Trunks also shrank his neck and didn't dare to reply. He secretly glanced at Son Gohan and found that Son Gohan was also secretly looking at him. So the two of them couldn't help laughing. Laugh, you can still laugh. The two of them immediately put on serious faces again and buried their heads in eating. With 2 big eaters of Saiyan descent present, the food on the table was quickly cleared out. Eat and drink enough. Son Gohan felt warm all over. He felt that his strength was recovering rapidly and would soon break through the original bottleneck. This is a unique talent of the Saiyan bloodline. Every time it is resurrected from the brink of death, its strength will be greatly enhanced. Son Gohan clenched his fists, feeling the surging power in his body, and felt inexplicably excited. He knew that this was something like potential, which might disappear once it was squeezed dry. Otherwise, the Saiyans could completely rely on this BUG to become invincible, and then what would happen to the other races? Before, I was always beaten by no, 18. But now maybe it's a 55-18 chance. If we are bold enough, it is not impossible to beat no. From the bottom, there was a gleam in Son Gohan's eyes, and he was already imagining the scene of beating the post-18 girl into a pig's head. But fantasy is fantasy, and Son Gohan has no real urge to rush out and fight the androids. Joke, there's a number 18 next to number 17. That guy is not just a vegetarian who can only show off his good looks. Son Gohan knows that his strength is even higher than that of no, 18. To rush over now would be reckless. Son Gohan is very careful about his life now, and unless he is completely sure of success, he doesn't want to take the initiative to provoke those 2 evil stars. In the past, after Son Gohan gained power, his mentality would become inflated, as if part of his IQ had been converted into power, lowering his intelligence. But after merging with another soul, this defect disappeared. Not only does he cherish his life now, but he also keeps a very calm mind. Gohan, you should stay here for the next few days. Take good care of your injuries and don't run around. Got it, Bulma said as she cleaned up the messy desk. She looked at Son Gohan, and the image of Son Gohan as a lively and sensible child flashed through her mind. Her heart ached and her eyes were filled with tenderness. What a youthful and energetic boy he once was. Now he only has 1 arm left, but the safety of the entire world is still on his shoulders. How heavy, hey. Okay, I got it, Aunt Bulma. Son Gohan nodded and cleaned up the dishes with Trunks. His eyes rolled and he continued, Aunt Bulma, did Uncle Vegeta ask you to build a gravity room before? Is it still there? Of course, Son Gohan didn't know this before, but now no one knows it better than him. He remembered that Bulma helped Vegeta convert a spaceship into a gravity chamber. Vegeta usually trains in there, but the previous Son Gohan knew nothing about it and did not make any use of it. He was just sitting outside with Trunks and thinking about things. But this is not surprising. For one thing, Son Gohan really doesn't know about it. Secondly, when Son Gohan was 9 years old, all the Z warriors died. There was no one to teach him and no one to communicate with. It was already a miracle that he could transform into a Super Saiyan on his own. There are so many things that Son Gohan doesn't know. Bulma was stunned when she heard what Son Gohan said. Then he said, that's right. I converted the spaceship he got into a gravity chamber and placed it at the former site of the Universal Capsule Company. But because the androids attacked the company once, the spaceship was probably damaged. What are you up to? Trunks on the side pricked up his ears. He was too curious about the past, especially about Vegeta. Dad, what kind of person is he? Son Gohan said, of course I want to use the gravity room for training. It suddenly occurred to me that if we use the gravity room to train our bodies, perhaps Trunks and I will be able to defeat the androids soon. Really? Bulma's eyes widened. She was certainly a genius when it came to technology, but when it came to martial arts and cultivation, she was undoubtedly a novice. Yeah, of course. Son Gohan nodded. I'll go look for it now and I'll be back soon. Brother Gohan, I want to go too, Trunks said with anticipation. Okay, Son Gohan responded. Be careful. If you can't find it, I can make it again. It's just that there are very few materials and equipment now, so it may take a long time to make. Bulma advised. Got it. We'll go take a look and come back. Son Gohan and Trunks flew to the former site of the Universal Capsule Group. Gohan-kun, what kind of person is Dad? During the flight, Trunks couldn't help but ask. Your father, Son Gohan recalled Vegeta's appearance in his mind and then continued with a smile. He is a very proud man and very competitive. Then who is more powerful, Dad or Mr. Goku? Trunks asked with a look of longing. Trunks now is like an ordinary kid asking others about his father. Son Gohan glanced at Trunks, not wanting to break his fantasy, and said with a smile just as powerful. Hearing what Son Gohan said, Trunks became happy. Haha, I knew it, my mother said the same thing. Son Gohan was a little surprised. Bulma, did you say that too? Soon the two arrived at the former site of the Universal Capsule Company. This was once the most prosperous place in Zidu, but now it has lost its former glory and is now in ruins. Looking down from the sky, the ground is full of potholes. The high-rise buildings were also severely damaged, and many places were even covered with damp moss. Son Gohan looked around in the air. The target was quickly locked on. Found it there. A sphere with a diameter of about 10 meters was lying crookedly in a crack, and it was most likely the spaceship. Son Gohan and Trunks landed and came in front of the sphere. It's that spaceship indeed, Son Gohan said in surprise. Although the spaceship was covered with moss and had a big hole in it, it was undoubtedly a spaceship. Trunks was very curious when he saw this thing for the first time. I touched it left and right and ended up with moss on my hands. Son Gohan circled the spaceship. Finally found a raised button. Son Gohan thought to himself, the spaceship is indeed damaged, and I don't know if this capsule button is still useful. I can only take it back and let Bulma take a look. Maybe she can fix it. Thinking so, Son Gohan pressed the button hard. Immediately afterwards, the spaceship began to vibrate, and then there was a sound of boom, followed by a cloud of smoke, and then it turned into a capsule, which was held in the hand of Son Gohan. Trunks, who was still touching the spaceship, was startled. Brother Gohan, you didn't tell me in advance. You scared me to death. Haha, you are not so timid. Let's go and go back first. Son Gohan laughed and put the capsule away. The two returned the same way. The journey was safe and sound, and the two soon returned to the Universal Capsule Company. Son Gohan released the spaceship on a relatively flat surface in the backyard. After a careful inspection, Bulma said, the damage isn't too severe. It should be fixed in about a week. Hearing Bulma's words, Son Gohan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Plan 1. With the gravity training room and spacecraft, the possible operating methods and operating space will be greatly increased. Isn't that a sense of security? So the next day, Son Gohan and Trunks gave the spaceship a thorough cleaning. They cleaned away the moss and dirt that was covering the spacecraft. Aside from a few damaged areas, the ship is enjoying a second life. Now it's up to Bulma to show her skills. Neither Son Gohan nor Trunks understood this and could only watch the fun from the side. After resting for another 2 days, Son Gohan felt that his body had recovered, so he decided to put the second plan on the agenda. Plan 2, go to the Temple of Heaven, aiming for the Spirit Time House. In this time and space, not to mention Son Gohan, even Vegeta doesn't know the existence of the Spirit Time Chamber. Therefore, Son Gohan did not make use of the Spiritual Time Chamber. What a waste, but there's still a problem now. Since Piccolo was killed, the god with a different mind and body also fell, and the Temple of the Gods became a no-man's land. It is unknown whether Mr. Bobo, the guardian of the Temple of Heaven, is still there. It is not known whether the Temple of the Gods has ever been attacked by the androids, and all of this requires a personal visit to know. Son Gohan is ready to take Trunks with him. So on the 4th day, Son Gohan roughly told Bulma about his plan. Bulma was a little surprised why Son Gohan knew all these things and only brought them up now. If I had known this earlier, wouldn't I have started practicing earlier? After Son Gohan told his plan, he knew that Bulma would have these questions and already had the answers in his mind. Son Gohan said that he heard his father mention this by chance when he was very young. It has been too long and he just suddenly remembered it now. He's not quite sure, but it may be helpful for his training. Bulma took a serious look at Son Gohan and didn't pursue the matter any further. Well, it's a good thing to have a method and direction. Just go ahead and don't worry, but wait a moment, I have something to give you. Bulma said, send us something. Son Gohan and Trunks wondered. I was wondering what it would be. Not long after, Bulma took out a capsule, pressed a button, and threw it on the ground with a boom, and it turned into a big box. Trunks opened the box with great interest and found that it contained sets of combat uniforms of the same style. It consists of blue and white colors. Battle suit looks familiar. Son Gohan also squatted down and reached out to touch it. Bulma said slowly with some sadness in her voice, these combat uniforms were modified by me based on the combat uniforms of Frieza's army more than 10 years ago. Each of my companions has one set. It's a pity that no one died in battle before they could use them. The size that Gohan was in should be able to fit Trunks. Son Gohan's eyes lit up. This is good stuff. This combat uniform is very light, close-fitting, and very breathable. Not only that, it can also withstand a certain degree of attack and has good defensive capabilities. It is much sturdier than the orange martial arts uniform I am wearing now. When Son Gohan was a child, he wore the combat uniforms of Frieza's army on Namek and was always impressed. He also remembered the style in front of him. This is the equipment that Bulma took out in the original work when Goku and his son entered the Spirit Time Chamber for the first time. It can be said that this combat suit is so tough that even if Son Gohan and Trunks turned into giant apes over 10 meters tall, they would not break. It has very strong stretchability and is a rare good equipment. Son Gohan smiled and said, thank you, Aunt Bulma. Without saying a word, Trunks found the smallest set and put it on directly. It really fit the body. He jumped up and down, very satisfied with this combat uniform. Bulma smiled and said, it really fits. It looks very handsome on Trunks. Thank you, Mom. Trunks also smiled. Son Gohan was embarrassed to change clothes in front of Bulma, so he found a place to change and walked out. Bulma took one look and her eyes lit up. Son Gohan has a tall and straight figure and strong muscles. He's much stronger and taller than Son Goku back then. Son Gohan, who did not continue his studies, has a better figure than a model. It's just a pity that the missing left arm affects the beauty. He simply tied a knot on his left sleeve to prevent the empty sleeve from swaying in the wind. Wow, Gohan bro is so cool, Trunks yelled. Not bad, not bad, they all fit perfectly. Bulma nodded and smiled. Son Gohan put away the extra battle uniforms. Then he said, then Trunks and I will leave. It will take at least 1 day or at most 2 days. We will be back soon. Yeah, okay, Bulma nodded. Goodbye, Mom. Trunks waved. Goodbye, Trunks. Bulma also waved. The two brothers walked out of the house. Son Gohan determined the direction. Then the two of them took off into the air and flew towards the direction of Kylin Tower. Soon, heavy rain fell from the sky and dark clouds covered everything. Son Gohan and Trunks walked through the rain, their aura rising, and not a drop of rain could get close to them. It didn't take too long before a huge pillar appeared in front of them, piercing the sky and the earth. Various totems are carved on the huge Optimus Prime. Son Gohan knew that the top of Optimus Prime was the legendary martial arts holy land, Kylin Tower. Trunks, let's fly up. Son Gohan turned around and said to Trunks. Yes, brother Gohan. Trunks responded. The two figures made a sharp turn and rose into the sky, breaking through the dark clouds, and soon arrived at the top of Optimus Prime, Kylin Tower, where the cat fairy lives. Son Gohan and Trunks stopped, flew in, and landed smoothly. Son Gohan glanced around and sighed helplessly. The cat fairy who had lived here for many years has disappeared. There are only a lot of empty bottles and jars left here, nothing else. Brother Gohan, where's this place? Trunks asked curiously. This is the residence of the cat master. It was used to cultivate senzu beans in the past. Son Gohan replied, where is he now? Trunks said in shock and then started rummaging through the bottles and jars, hoping to find a senzu bean to heal Gohan's broken arm. But unfortunately, not even half a grain is left. Son Gohan shook his head and said, I don't know. Let's go. The temple of the gods is still up there. The two left and continued to fly upwards. As we flew higher and higher, the sky was no longer gray but became clear. The warm sunshine shone on our bodies, making us feel indescribably comfortable. The two seemed to have come to another beautiful world. Trunks had never seen such a scenery before and was very excited. If it weren't for his personality, he would have shouted. Soon the two broke through a white cloud and arrived above the Temple of Heaven, looking down from the sky. The semicircular Temple of Heaven floats not far from the atmosphere. The vegetation on it is lush and green, and several buildings rise from the ground like a dream worthy of the name of a temple. Son Gohan and Trunks landed. Trunks looked around, overwhelmed. With his eyes wide open, he jumped twice on the ground of the Temple of Heaven, then trotted out, curious about everything. He was still asking, Brother Gohan, is this really where the gods live? Yes. Looking at Trunks' excited look, Son Gohan couldn't help but smile. After all, they are just children and cannot hide their happiness. Of course, Son Gohan was also very happy. At the very least, the Temple of the Gods was not attacked by the androids, and everything is currently intact. This means that the Spirit Time House can still be used. I wonder if Mr. Bobo is still here? Son Gohan thought so and followed Trunks' direction towards the building complex. There is an archway there, and passing through it is the real Temple of Heaven. Now they are still in the front half of the Temple of Heaven on the square. Brother Gohan, what does God look like? Trunks, who was running in front, turned around and asked. Is he very tall, handsome, and cool? Son Gohan thought of Piccolo's appearance and couldn't help but smile. He is quite tall, but I can't say he is handsome. After all, it's quite strange to use the word handsome to describe the Namekians, because there is no difference between men and women. At this time, Son Gohan's pupils shrank, because he felt someone walking out of the gate of the Temple of Heaven in the darkness. Son Gohan stared at the gate and stopped. Trunks, stop. Trunks stopped when he heard that. Then he also noticed a figure walking out of the gate. There was no breath and even no sign of any life. Trunks couldn't help but take 2 steps back. What exactly is this? Although the androids have no breath, at least they still have life fluctuations. Is that Mr. Popo? Son Gohan asked with narrowed eyes. As he spoke, the figure finally walked out of the darkness, or perhaps he himself is darkness. Who else could this be but Mr. Bobo? His whole body was pitch black, with no other colors on his body except for the clothes he was wearing. Worse than Nico. Son Gohan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that it was really Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo looked at Son Gohan, then at Trunks, and said, Mr. Gohan, you are finally here. I have been waiting for you for a long time. His face was pitch black and there was no expression on his face. He didn't have any emotion when he spoke, a bit like a robot. Wait for me for what? Asked Son Gohan. Mr. Popo said, since the death of the god 12 years ago, no human has come to the Temple of the Gods. I have been waiting here for 12 years and Mr. Gohan is finally here. I want to ask Mr. Gohan, are you willing to be the new god? Hearing this, Trunks' eyes lit up. Cool, so cool. Brother Gohan wants to be the new god. It doesn't get any cooler than this. But Son Gohan's next answer stunned him. Sorry, Mr. Popo, I don't want to be the god of the earth. Son Gohan shook his head. Mr. Popo was not disappointed, as Son Gohan's answer was within his expectations. But he still asked, "Oh, why?" Son Gohan said, "Because even if you become the new god of Earth, you can't defeat androids 17 and 18. Also, as far as I know, there are some restrictions after becoming a god, right? For example, Mr. Bobo, have you never carefully looked at the mortal world in these years? Over the past decade, the artificial humans have been wreaking havoc and slaughtering people everywhere. The world is in dire straits. It's really like crying out to heaven and earth for help, but no one is responding. So what exactly is the meaning of the existence of this heavenly temple? Isn't it to protect the earth?" Mr. Bobo knew he was in the wrong and lowered his head. "I'm sorry, Mr. Gohan, but as the guardian of the celestial temple, I can't interfere in the affairs of the human world." Son Gohan was a little angry when he heard what Popo said. Which damn god set this permission? Did you also go down to the mortal world to help find God's spaceship? Why can't it work now? He didn't understand this at first, but because of the integration of another soul, a new god's perspective was opened up. Therefore, he also learned that there are actually many ways to save the earth. But what's the use of having a solution? No one cares at all. No one has cared about the earth in recent years. Throwing a mess full of despair onto the shoulders of a 9-year-old child, this world has completely become a forgotten world. Who knows how Son Gohan has been able to survive these past 10 years? No one can save you, you can only save yourself. If someone had cared about it, the earth would not be like this today. For example, if Mr. Popo came down to the mortal world, brought him to the temple of the gods, taught him how to practice, and told him the secret of the spirit time chamber, Son Gohan would feel that he could do it himself, and at least he wouldn't be as miserable as he is now. For example, when the disaster first started, King Kai spoke to him and told him the address of New Name. Then he can take a spaceship to Name, collect the Dragon Balls, and save all his friends. But no, not at all. Now more than 10 years have passed, and still no one is interested. They all of them seem to have forgotten the earth. Even if we find a new name now, those former companions probably can no longer be resurrected. What made him most angry were the deaths of his companions. Although I don't respect them, I just hate their inaction. It can be said that King Kai forgot the existence of Earth because he managed so many planets. What about them? If nothing unexpected happens, those companions should have retained their physical bodies and are practicing in the underworld or on King Kai's planet. How did they manage to remain unnoticed for more than 10 years? Is it because there is nothing to worry about after death, or is it some other reason? When Son Gohan thought of this, he couldn't help but wipe the moist corners of his eyes, then clenched his right fist tightly. His feet couldn't help but gain more strength, and his momentum suddenly swelled. With him as the center, a circle of airwaves exploded. The ground beneath his feet cracked into several cracks, and golden flames rose up. Son Gohan himself never expected that his first outburst of anger after his rebirth would happen here. As we all know, Son Gohan has always been a gentle person, and his anger value has always been a mystery. But anger can also be said to be his biggest cheat. As long as he is angry enough, the grass on the graves of No. 17 and No. 18 will probably be more than 3 meters high. Seeing Son Gohan suddenly burst into energy and turned into a Super Saiyan, both Trunks and Mr. Popo were shocked. Oh my god, Gohan's aura is so strong. With this kind of aura, I'm afraid he can defeat the androids. Trunks was shocked. Mr. Popo waved his hands and apologized repeatedly. Mr. Gohan, please calm down. I really can't do anything. It's my duty. I can't interfere in the affairs of the human world. Besides, I can't beat them anyway. He thought it was his answer that angered Son Gohan. Son Gohan exhaled and calmed himself down. I figured it out in an instant. Damn it, it's all the fault of that old guy who created the vulnerability and didn't even bother to apply a patch. He dispersed the powerful aura in his body and said, "Sorry, I was rude just now." He knew that what he had done just now was somewhat of a moral blackmail. It is other people's freedom to care or not, but whether he is angry or not is also Son Gohan's business. He has endured too much in the past 10 years. It's okay, it's okay. Mr. Bobo waved his hands and breathed a sigh of relief. Then he said, "If you are not here to become a god, then what is the purpose of Mr. Gohan's visit this time?" Son Gohan stopped talking to him and said directly, "We want to use the spirit time chamber, is that okay?" So Mr. Gohan knows about the spirit and time chamber. That's no problem, please follow me." Mr. Popo said, making a gesture of invitation, then turned and walked into the temple. Trunks looked at Son Gohan. "What are you looking at? Follow me." Son Gohan said, "Oh." Trunks followed immediately. Son Gohan also took a big step forward. "Brother Gohan, you were so angry just now." Trunks turned around and said while walking, "It won't be long before you surpass this aura." Son Gohan said seriously. He certainly wasn't bragging. With the help of the Spirit Time Chamber to assist in his training, Son Gohan is very confident. Trunks will definitely be able to become stronger soon, surpassing the aura he just released and then become even stronger. After walking for a while, the three stopped in front of a big gate. Son Gohan looked up. "I found a wall clock hanging right above the door." Mr. Popo said, "Mr. Gohan, this is the Spirit Time Room. The flow of time in the spirit time chamber is different from that outside. Spending a year inside is actually just 1 day outside. It's just that everyone can only use 2 days in their lifetime, so Mr. Gohan has to keep an eye on the time. If the time is exceeded, the gate will automatically disappear and you won't be able to get out. Son Gohan nodded. Yeah, I understand, Mr. Bobo said, but I'm overthinking it. It's impossible for someone to live in there for 2 years. Haha, Mr. Wukong ran away after only a few months in there. Sun Wufan. Okay, come in, Mr. Bobo said, pushing open the door of the spirit time house. Is there really such a magical place in this world? Trunks stuck his head in and found an unknown world of white. Plan 2. Trunks' eyes were full of curiosity as he walked in. Son Gohan followed closely behind. After the two of them entered, the door of the spirit time house closed automatically. Son Gohan looked back and found that there was also a wall clock on the door inside. It is now displayed at 0 o'clock, but he walked very slowly and didn't jump for a long time. But Son Gohan knew that this didn't mean that the wall clock was broken. But when the clock turns to 0 again, a year has passed. Trunks walked in front looking very excited. He said, Gohan, did you hear that? 1 year in here is only 1 day outside. It's amazing. Son Gohan smiled and said, yes, of course I heard it, and it's not just that the flow of time is slow here, you will know it in a moment. What else? Brother Gohan knows too much, Trunks said. I'll tell you later, let's see where to live first. Son Gohan said, you will experience 10 times the gravity plus the huge temperature difference and experience the thrill of ice and fire. Son Gohan decided to give Trunks a surprise. The residence is on the right-hand side of the door. The residence was simply furnished with 2 large beds, a wardrobe, and a full-length wall mirror. A little further inside there are bathrooms and toilets. There is a huge bathtub in the bathroom. When you feel tired from practicing, you can lie down in it and it should be very comfortable. At this time, Trunks asked, Gohan, where does the water here come from? Where does it go? Trunks, this question of yours really stumps your brother Gohan. Probably come from where you should come and go to where you should go. Trunks, on the left side of the door is the kitchen, which in addition to the common tableware also has several large vats. Open the lid of the big jar and take a look. There's water, rice, and flour in the jar. Want meat? Hey, no, it can just fill your stomach. Son Gohan knew that these large vats also had some problems. It seems to refresh automatically every once in a while. Very magical. However, Son Gohan was too lazy to delve into this thing that violated common sense of physics. After all, this is the two-dimensional world, so how can anything be possible or impossible? You probably have never seen anyone using a hammer to knock out a spaceship. It's no big deal. After looking at the kitchen of the residence, Son Gohan waved his hand and said, Trunks, follow me. Okay, Trunks nodded and followed Son Gohan with excitement. I don't know if you will be able to laugh again in a while. The two walked through the passage between the residence and the kitchen and came to a vast white open space. The two of them were like standing on a white coastline, looking into the distance with no end in sight. Son Gohan said with a half smile, Trunks, go down and take a look. Okay, Trunks answered loudly, then jumped into the white world. Then with a thump, he fell flat on his face. Trunks looked at Son Gohan resentfully and struggled to stand up. But the overwhelming 10 times gravity came and dragged his body towards the ground. Trunks felt like every cell in his body was dropping. Ha ha ha. Son Gohan pointed at Trunks and laughed. Gohan-sen, really? Trunks muttered something with a flat mouth, white flames burning on his body, and then he slowly stood up. It was also because he was careless and had no defense or concern at all. Otherwise, with Trunks' fighting ability, he wouldn't have ended up in such a mess. Ha ha ha, I forgot to tell you that the gravity here is 10 times that of the Earth. Son Gohan laughed and walked into the white square. With advanced preparation, there will certainly be no problems for Son Gohan. He just felt his body was heavy and it was not so convenient for him to move. Brother Gohan knew the truth but didn't tell me in advance, causing me to fall. Despicable. Trunks was still feeling indignant. Ha ha ha, to show respect to the spirit time room, what's wrong with you giving it a hug? As Son Gohan spoke, he felt the air around him suddenly become hot. Every breath was like inhaling a wisp of flame, constantly burning the internal organs. But after a while, the temperature dropped sharply. In just a few breaths, he fell from the furnace into the ice cave. The extremely cold air slows down the blood circulation. The exhaled breath turned into ice chips in an instant. Sometimes it is extremely hot, sometimes it is extremely cold. The alternation of ice and fire is so terrifying. Trunks' face turned red and white. I finally understand why Mr. Bobo said that no one can live in there for 2 years. This is really terrible. Son Gohan took a few deep breaths of the icy and hot air, stretched his muscles a few times, then punched and kicked with great vigor, and after a few jumps he stopped. He said, you are right. This kind of environment is indeed very tormenting, but practicing in such an environment can make your strength improve by leaps and bounds. With 10 times the gravity and the extremely cold and hot air, even if we do nothing, just living here can continuously improve our combat effectiveness. So, Trunks, in order to defeat the androids and become stronger, we should be thankful for having such a training environment. Trunks stood at attention and said, got it, Gohan Ni, I will practice hard. Son Gohan nodded, yes, good. Come on, Trunks, time is running out and the task is heavy. We have to race against time. Let's start our first stage of training now. It is good. Come on, don't transform into a Super Saiyan, just attack me with all your might. Son Gohan divided this training into 3 stages. He knew that both he and Trunks had very poor basics, so this first stage is to consolidate and strengthen their basic qualities. These basic qualities include several types, including basic combat effectiveness, ability to withstand blows, and combat skills. The 3 can be carried out simultaneously and complement each other. Son Gohan plans to complete this stage in 6 months. It doesn't matter if it takes a little longer. Only when the foundation is laid can high-rise buildings be constructed on it. The saying, sharpening the knife does not delay the chopping of wood, is also true. As for the second stage, Son Gohan's plan is to surpass Super Saiyan. After laying a solid foundation, you should start trying to make a breakthrough. Not only must we dare to think, but we must also dare to do and dare to practice. Only in this way can you constantly break through yourself. If you are complacent and think that Super Saiyan is the pinnacle, then you will never become a truly strong person in this lifetime. Son Gohan also plans to complete this stage in 6 months. It's been a bit longer too, but there is no way. They have no teachers and can only rely on constant trial and practice to prove the feasibility. Learn from your failures and keep trying new approaches. By constantly failing and summarizing, Son Gohan believes that he will succeed one day. Anyway, things can't get any worse. It's much better now than before, isn't it? Time is merciless and always slips away quietly. In the blink of an eye, 6 months passed. Inside the Spirit Time house, Son Gohan and Trunks were fighting each other. Compared to half a year ago, both of them have grown a lot longer hair. Not only that, but Trunks has also become stronger and taller. Both of them fought in their normal state, but the rumbling sound of the impact continued like a bolt from the blue. The power is so strong that it is unbelievable. The June deadline has arrived, and the fighting capabilities of both men have improved by leaps and bounds and are no longer comparable. But if you look closely, you will find that Trunks was panting, but Son Gohan was calm and handled it with ease. Although he only has one hand now, he still gives people a sense of powerful force and seems invincible. Boom! The 2 fists collided with each other, and an extremely powerful momentum suddenly exploded. The 2 separated immediately after the contact and stood 2 or 3 meters apart. Trunks panted and said, "Brother Gohan, you are too strong. I am no match for you." Son Gohan looked at him and laughed. "Haha, you have made great progress, and I am your teacher after all, so it is only natural that I am better than you. But you will surpass me sooner or later." Son Gohan did not forget to paint a pie for him. "Brother Gohan, stop joking, haha." The Trunks laughed. "Okay, let's stop here for today. Have a good rest for a day and start a new stage tomorrow." Son Gohan said with a smile, "Great, it's forbidden." Son Gohan ruffled Trunks' hair and the 2 of them returned to the rest area laughing. After taking off their sweaty clothes and taking a nice hot bath, they made rice balls and pancakes to eat and then fell into a good sleep. The next day, the 2 began to try to practice to break through the limits of Super Saiyan. At this moment, Trunks has transformed into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Super Saiyan, his whole body burning with golden aura. There were constant flashes of lightning, punches and kicks, and the sound of ha 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 could be heard continuously in the square of the Spirit Time house. Son Gohan sat cross-legged on the ground with his eyes closed, constantly deducing in his mind and integrating new ideas. Having lived 2 lives as a human being, the memories of the previous life plus the memories of this life, as well as the powerful soul power and understanding after the fusion of the 2 souls, Son Gohan's current ability to improve and his understanding should not be underestimated, and he sat there for a whole week. 1 week later, under Trunks' astonished gaze, Son Gohan stood up. His brows furrowed and he clenched his teeth. Then he clenched his right fist and let out a long roar of "ha!" Then a whirlwind appeared out of nowhere with Son Gohan as the center, rising straight up and continuously spreading in all directions. Boom! A muffled thunder sounded in the sky where there was nothing, and a bolt of lightning struck down. Son Gohan's long hair stood upside down. With golden hair, blue eyes, and surging golden aura, he instantly transformed into a Super Saiyan. But his basic combat power is much higher than that of Trunks. Therefore, after transforming into a Super Saiyan, his combat power is further stretched. After all, the combat power of a normal Super Saiyan is 50 times higher than its basic combat power. The strong wind blew on his face, and Trunks widened his eyes, secretly sighing at the powerful aura of Brother Gohan. "I'm so envious. I wonder when I can become so strong." But Son Gohan's transformation is far from over. His breath was still growing stronger. 2 seconds later, all the muscles in Son Gohan's body suddenly expanded, and he instantly grew 20 centimeters taller. It has grown dramatically from 176 cm to almost 2 meters. A golden light flashed, and his muscular body reflected a dazzling luster. The surging airwaves were overwhelming, forcing Trunks to close his eyes. This Gohan has surpassed the Super Saiyan bottleneck and entered a new realm. Trunks was shocked but also surprised for Son Gohan. "It seems that I need to work harder because Brother Gohan is getting further and further away," Trunks thought to himself. With the aura displayed by Gohan at this moment, the androids are no longer to be feared. It can be said to be a form of crushing. I can't believe that after being crushed by the androids for 12 years, I didn't expect that after burying Brother Gohan once, Brother Gohan suddenly became wise. His strength exploded in such a short time and he became so powerful. It's incredible. Maybe I should let Brother Gohan bury me this time. While Trunks was daydreaming, Son Gohan was carefully feeling the changes in his body. The limbs were strong and powerful forces constantly washed over his body. Son Gohan felt that all the pores in his body opened, and what was flowing in his blood vessels was no longer blood but boiling magma. At this moment, his muscles were knotted all over and he seemed to have endless power. However, it didn't take long for Son Gohan to discover a very serious problem, but this was also within his expectations. "This form will leak," Son Gohan said helplessly. That's right, his open pores were not only greedily absorbing the air but also breathing in and out his breath. Although the power is strong, the consumption is extremely alarming, according to Son Gohan's speculation. In his current form, his strength has increased by at least 70 times compared to his normal form, much stronger than ordinary Super Saiyan, but the consumption is too staggering. We can't afford to waste time at all and are not suitable for protracted war, so this is probably a failed transformation. But even so, this form is more than enough to deal with androids 17 and 18, and killing them is effortless, it seems. While his strength was still fairly fresh, Son Gohan decided to try another form. The already strong momentum boiled over again, and it keeps climbing. Trunks was completely stunned and fell to the ground, not caring whether his butt hurt or not. Under his horrified eyes, Son Gohan's body grew taller and bigger again. A terrifying aura swept across the world. Even though he knew it was Gohan-ji, Trunks couldn't help but feel a little scared. If he was a big muscular man before, then his current appearance must be close to the monster level, right? Trunks swallowed and moved his hips. Brother Gohan looks a little scary now. His muscles swelled like granite, and his whole body was filled with golden aura that made a hissing sound. Fortunately, Son Gohan's face now looks more manly, with a scar on his eye. If it was Trunks' face, it would be too explosive. The impact of the picture is so explosive that I can't even imagine it. Son Gohan exhaled and moved. He tried out his punches and kicks and his speed, then shook his head and simply returned to his normal self. Seeing Son Gohan's aura dissipate, Trunks also breathed a sigh of relief. The form just now was still a failed transformation form. It's true that the strength has increased to 90 times the normal level, but there are big flaws. In terms of pure strength, this form is comparable to Super Saiyan 2 and is extremely powerful. However, this form not only has the problem of severe gas consumption, but also reduces the speed by half, which is a huge disadvantage. No matter how strong you are, it's useless if you can't hit your opponent. Once the strength is exhausted, you will be at the mercy of others. This form sacrifices speed in favor of strength, which is seriously unbalanced. Trunks walked over with an envious look on his face and said, "Brother Gohan, you were so awesome just now. I was scared by you. You are so invincible. If I were an android, I would run away when I saw you." Son Gohan clenched his fists, looked at him seriously and said, "Trunks, actually the two transformations just now were wrong. Although the power is greatly enhanced after the transformation, the disadvantages are too obvious." So, Son Gohan carefully explained to Trunks the advantages and disadvantages of the two transformations. Then he continued, "But I already have a better idea. I believe half a year will be enough. If it still doesn't work, we can spend another year researching. We still have time." Oh, Trunks clicked his tongue in amazement. Brother Gohan is such a strange guy, his mind works so quickly. I just failed to transform and now I have a new idea. He hasn't thought of anything yet. As an apprentice, he also wants to learn. Envy, hey, Son Gohan's mouth twisted. This is probably the benefit of standing on the shoulders of giants. Although Son Gohan is now quite intelligent, these transformations were not something he came up with. These transformation forms were mentioned in the original work, but knowing it with your brain and experiencing it with your body are two different things. It took a lot of time for Son Gohan to learn it from his brain to his body. If my understanding was a little worse, I might have wasted even longer. After all, he has no one to guide and teach him now. It is quite difficult to start practicing based solely on a vague concept in mind. As for why he tried these two failed transformations instead of just skipping over and simulating the full power form of Super Saiyan 1, Son Gohan has his own ideas about this. As I said, only when the foundation is solid enough can the building be built higher and more stable. Only by walking the path yourself will you know where the traps are and avoid them or make up for them next time. In life, no steps taken in vain, every step counts. Trunks asked, "Gohan, what's that new idea you just mentioned?" At this time, Son Gohan was like a selfless teacher, answering his students' questions and leading him into a new world. Son Gohan said, "Trunks, you must remember that no matter what kind of transformation you make, our body is the foundation of everything and the most important. Transformation is nothing more than finding the trick of the body, and then activating this trick to gain powerful strength in a short period of time. but only when our physical fitness is strong enough, the power we can inspire will be stronger. The stronger the physique, the greater the power we can withstand. Trunks nodded as if he understood, as if he knew why Gohan had to go through the first stage of training. All we heard was Son Gohan continuing, so we should be diligent and persevere in exercising so that our overall physical quality can be continuously improved. This way our strength will be stronger and more stable after we transform, and we can also carry more power. Got it, Brother Gohan. Trunks said he was taught, although it seems like Gohan has been talking a lot of repetitive stuff and hasn't gotten to the point yet. Is this the case for every teacher? Help tilde as for the new direction I just mentioned. It is naturally related to the basic properties and habits of our bodies. Trunks pricked up his ears. Son Gohan continued, let's make an assumption now. We take the Super Saiyan state as our daily basic form and train with it, get familiar with it, and overcome it. Trunks, what do you think will happen? Son Gohan looked at Trunks and asked. Trunks thought for a moment, then said excitedly, when we transform again, will our strength increase dozens of times again, just like when we become Super Saiyans now? Son Wufan, you really dare to think. But it's good my brain is active now. Son Gohan said, it's not that exaggerated, but it is certain that we can greatly reduce the consumption of Kai and allow our bodies to withstand greater power. However, this process is definitely difficult. We need to spend a lot of time to adjust and overcome it until we conquer it. I'm getting excited just by listening to this, Brother Gohan. I'll listen to you and do whatever you say. Trunks slapped his thigh, very excited. Let's eat first, said Son Gohan. Ah, okay, come to think of it, I'm a little hungry too. Trunks was stunned for a moment. After dinner, the two trimmed their hair and started the first round of attempts. First, he transformed into a Super Saiyan, then he dispersed his aura. Just maintain the status quo like this, but unfortunately, it failed after a few minutes. After all, after transforming into a Super Saiyan, one's mentality will become very violent, irritable, and warlike. But after the momentum dissipated, the angry and irritable heart quickly calmed down. As the mood calmed down, the transformation automatically dissipated. Therefore, it is difficult to maintain the state, let alone turn this state into a habit. Time flies and a month has passed, in the square of the Spirit Time House. It's really difficult, Brother Gohan. I can't hold on for long, Trunks said, bending over and supporting his hands on his knees. Keep practicing. The blonde Son Gohan was slowly throwing some messy punches. It just looks a bit weird to punch with one hand. Another month later. Haha, it's finally much better now. It can last most of the day. Trunks laughed. Your Brother Gohan can last for days now. Keep it up. Trunks was like an eggplant hit by frost. Okay, come on. 6 months later. Brother Gohan, I'm used to it now. I can even maintain the Super Saiyan form when I sleep. Trunks said to Son Gohan as if he was presenting a treasure. Not bad, Trunks, you have made great progress. I am very pleased, Brother Gohan. Son Gohan gave him a thumbs up without hesitation. It's not easy to get praise from Brother Gohan. Trunks sighed. Son Gohan just smiled slightly and didn't answer him. Half a year later, Trunks' goal had finally come to fruition. In fact, Son Gohan had completed his second stage of training 3 months ago. Looking back on this period of time, the cooking pot collapsed, the eating bowl collapsed, and the sleeping bed collapsed. It's also a very interesting memory. If it weren't for the automatic refresh function in this spiritual time house, the broken room alone would be enough to make the two of them melancholy. Dazzling, a whole year has passed since the master and disciple entered the spiritual time house to practice. Brother Gohan, what should we do next? Trunks asked, looking up after finishing his meal. Son Gohan said, entering the third stage, consolidation summary, reviewing the old to learn the new. Trunks, what the hell, there's no sun or moon in the spiritual time house and another half a year has passed. Trunks has grown into a handsome young man. But perhaps because Vegeta's genes are too strong, Trunks is not very tall. He has a handsome face. He looks thin when dressed and has muscles when undressed. He's a typical puppy. Son Gohan hasn't changed much. After all, he is already in his early 20s and his body has long been shaped. Just a year and a half of training still made him look a little stronger. The contours of his face became more distinct and he looked handsome with a hint of coolness. The scar on his face added a sense of wildness. Recently, Son Gohan found that his body seemed to have reached a bottleneck and his strength growth became very slow. It's almost like standing still. He knows that more haste makes waste. In the past year and a half, both of them have made great progress. If you force yourself to continue practicing, big problems may arise. It is also very important to combine work and rest. Sometimes proper rest is more effective than rushing forward, so Son Gohan stopped forcing it. After seeking Trunks' opinion, the two left the spirit time chamber. Outside the door, Mr. Bobo was already standing there. Although his face was dark and no expression could be seen, one could still feel his surprise. He looked at the blonde Son Gohan and Trunks and was amazed. What a big change. Just standing there gives people a feeling that it is impossible to see through or touch, and it is unfathomable. Seeing Popo, Son Gohan greeted him. Mr. Popo, why are you waiting for us at the door? Mr. Bobo came back to his senses, looked at the master and apprentice, and said, I was worried that you guys would exceed the time limit, so I wanted to come over to give you a heads up. I didn't expect you to come out a day and a half early. Haha, but it's really amazing that you could actually train in there for a year and a half. If it weren't for the bottleneck, I could practice for 2.5 years, Son Gohan thought to himself. But he said, "Thank you, Mr. Bobo, for your concern. It's fine inside, but the food is not very good. It would be better if you could prepare some meat next time." That's right, Trunks agreed strongly. Hee, I'm sorry, meat cannot be preserved in it. I'll go prepare food for you too, Mr. Gohan and Trunks, please wait a moment. Mr. Popo said, "Food." Speaking of food, Son Gohan and Trunks swallowed their saliva frantically. During this year and a half, I ate rice balls and flatbreads every day. Both of them were going crazy. Meat, I want to eat meat, lots and lots of meat. Both the master and the disciple had several villains in their hearts shouting wildly. They feel like they could eat a whole dinosaur right now. After a while, Mr. Bobo prepared a large table of food. The two Saiyans were wolfing down the food like starving ghosts, devouring it all in a flash. The chaos was like a legendary war. Bobo was standing there like a fool, shocked beyond words. This scene is quite familiar. It can be traced back to the time when Sun Wukong lived in the temple and practiced. I have to say that Mr. Popo, who has lived for endless years, is a very good cook. Son Gohan and Trunks both ate until they were 50% full. "Thank you, Mr. Popo, for your hospitality." Trunks thanked very politely. Then the two of them leaped down from the temple of heaven and fell straight to the human world. The wind whistled in my ears and I returned to the gray world. "Trunks, are you full?" Son Gohan asked, turning his head. "No, Gohan brother." Trunks touched his belly. "Okay, then let's go have a barbecue first and then we'll go kill the androids after we've had enough," Son Gohan said with a smile. "Yeah, okay," Trunks responded. The two fell into a forest and saw dinosaurs that were everywhere in the Dragon Ball world. "Trunks, go ahead." Son Gohan found a tree, leaned against it comfortably, and winked at Trunks. Trunks understood and rushed out instantly. He randomly picked a lucky dinosaur, gutted it, and grilled it over a fire. After a while, the dinosaur oil was emitting golden color and the fragrance filled the forest. "Gohan-san, here." Trunks, who was busy and sweating, tore off a whole dinosaur leg and handed it to Son Gohan. That smells really good. Let's make up for the past year and a half." The master and disciple feasted on the dinosaur and soon only a bare skeleton was left. At this time, the sound of radio broadcasts came from a nearby city. Now insert the latest news about artificial humans. The town that was just attacked was the town of Takula, 200 kilometers south of the eastern city. Hey, here comes life. The master and disciple who had eaten and drunk their fill had their mouths twisted. South of Dongdu, Tai cool spicy town. The huge town of Takula was filled with smoke and flames. There were rumbling sounds of explosions everywhere. Android 17 and Android 18 started in inhumane killing mode here. In just a few minutes, hundreds of thousands of people in the town were killed. The barking dogs were blown to ashes by the energy bombs. The whole town was in tatters and the scene was horrible. Hell on earth is just like this. No. 17 raised his hand, golden light wrapped around his hand, and a ball of energy exploded. Boom, a building more than 20 stories high exploded in an instant. Steel bars and concrete flew everywhere, and crackling sounds were heard continuously. Then a black mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and a heat wave swept across the sky and covered the earth. "No, 17, everyone here has been killed. Don't waste your energy. Let's go to another place to the south. There should be a lot of people there waiting to play games with us." The girl crossed her arms and spoke coldly. "This is the T0 level goddess in the Dragon Ball world. No, 18. She has smooth golden shoulder-length hair, a beautiful face, and delicate and fair skin. He wore a buttonless denim jacket on the upper body and a long-sleeved striped t-shirt underneath, which made him look very capable. She wore a denim miniskirt on the lower body, and her slender and round legs were matched with black stockings and high boots. Her body proportions were simply perfect. She stood there, exuding the aura of a noble and cool queen. After looking at her, No, 17 said, "Don't be in a hurry. What's the point of killing all the humans in one go? Let's kill them slowly, otherwise there will be no fun in the future." No. 17 is a handsome young man who looks very similar to No. 18. Because before they were transformed into artificial humans, they were actually a pair of twin siblings, so they look very similar. No. 17 also has long hair, and his long black hair is even longer than No. 18's. Although the two androids have been activated for more than 10 years, their faces have not aged and they still look exactly the same as they did more than 10 years ago, appearing to be only 17 or 18 years old. No. 17 had an orange bandana around his neck, wore a black top, loose pants, and a pistol on his waist, looking like a cowboy. The elder sister is an icy beauty, while the younger brother is cool and handsome. If you just look at their appearance, you would never imagine that these two people are actually murderous villains. Because of them, more than 70 to 80% of the human population on Earth have died. Neither natural disasters nor zombie apocalypses are this thorough. No, 18 laughed and said, "How childish, I think it's best to kill them all in one go." Hearing her words, No. 17 suddenly burst into laughter and said, "Haha, childish, I don't know who it was, but last time he lost a video game, he destroyed the entire city." HMPH, no. 18 turned his head away. Then he raised his hand and pointed. A golden light flashed at her fingertips and another building exploded. Okay, let's destroy the city in one go and then go to the southern capital to continue killing people. No, 17 said as he flew high into the sky. At the same time, a ball of energy quickly took shape in the palm of his right hand. The fiery energy surged, flickering and illuminating a large area of the sky. He wanted to raise the city beneath his feet to the ground in one fell swoop. Seeing this, no. 18 also flew high into the sky to prevent the dust from the explosion from dirtying her clothes. At this moment, two figures shot quickly from the distance. In the blink of an eye, I arrived next to No, 17 and No, 18. Before No, 17 and No, 18 could react, they were each hit by a heavy kick and then fell from the air and hit the ground. The ground cracked with a rumbling sound. Who, damn it, you ruined my clothes. No. 18 walked out of the thick smoke. His jacket and t-shirt were blown in half, revealing a large area of dazzling white. Damn it, this is my favorite dress and I don't have many left. She tore off her tattered denim jacket and wiped the dust off her face, already furious. No, 17 also flew out from the ruins of the explosion, his face equally cold. Son Gohan and Trunks, the instigators, fell from the sky and stood not far from the androids, looking at them blankly. Trunks took a look at No. 18 and found that most of her upper body was exposed. His face turned red and he quickly looked away. Seeing that the people coming were Son Gohan and Trunks, numbers 17 and 18 were also stunned for a moment at the same time. Son Gohan, you are not dead. You are so lucky, aren't you? No, 17 said in surprise. You are all alive. How could I die? Son Gohan said coldly. HMPH, last time I told you to use an energy bomb to blow him into ashes, but you insisted that he was dead. You're wrong this time, aren't you? No, 17. No, 18 said with an unhappy look on his face, not minding at all how serious his exposure was. No, 17 chuckled and said, haha, isn't this just perfect? We are just bored right now and something fun is coming to us. As he said this, he became happy, folded his arms, and looked at Son Gohan and Trunks with interest. It was like watching two clowns who didn't know their own limitations. Isn't this just seeking death? Haha, Son Gohan, I won't let you leave alive this time. I'm going to blow you into powder and turn you into ashes. No, 18 laughed. HMPH, prepare to die, Son Gohan. No, 18 snored coldly and stomped his foot hard. The ground couldn't bear such a huge force and broke apart. His body quickly pounced over along the ground. The few pieces of cloth on his chest swayed and fluttered in the wind. Big welfare distribution. Son Gohan and Trunks stood there, feeling that these two guys talked a lot today. The villain talks a lot, but he won't have a good ending. Son Gohan stared at No 18 and said, Trunks, No 18 is left to me. You go deal with No 17. Yes, brother Gohan. Trunks breathed a sigh of relief and walked towards No 17, who wanted to watch the show. In a flash, No 18 was already a few meters in front of Son Gohan. She leaped up and punched him in the face with a straight punch. Her fist broke through the air with incredible force, making a popping sound, demonstrating her powerful strength. Son Gohan looked coldly at the punch from No 18. In his eyes, No 18's current speed was as fast as a turtle crawling. Oh, are you scared, silly? You didn't even try to hide. No 18 sneered in his heart. The fist is within reach. No. 18 was very confident that if the straight punch hit Son Gohan head-on, he would either die or be crippled. But at this moment, Son Gohan leaned slightly to the side. No 18's fist just passed by and hit the air. What? No, 18 was horrified. How could he have missed? Before she could come to her senses, she felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. No, 18 felt like his stomach was about to burst. It was Son Gohan's right fist that hit her in the lower abdomen. There was a muffled sound of dong. No, 18 spat out a mouthful of blood and that perfect body flew backwards like a cannonball. HMPH die. Son Gohan sneered, moved forward and pressed his palm on No 18's head. Horrible head-patting kill. No 18's eyes were filled with fear. For the first time, she felt that death was so close to her. Do not want what? A strong light flashed in Son Gohan's palm and then No 18's head exploded with a bang. The body that was once full of temptation fell into the dust and instantly lost its luster. Son Gohan's eyes were cold, and with a flick of his fingers, even the headless corpse exploded into beautiful fireworks. How can this be? Am I dreaming? Seeing this tragic scene, No 17, who was struggling with Trunks, had his eyes wide open and his pupils contracted violently. He flew backwards, creating some distance, then waved his hands repeatedly, and energy balls roared out, causing a bombardment. The surrounding land was cracking, and the mountains and rivers were shattered. Thick smoke and flames filled the area, covering an area of several kilometers. The ground sank, and the entire town of Takula ceased to exist. Son Gohan flew high into the sky, constantly dispersing the thick smoke with his sleeves. Trunks, who was at the center of the explosion, was unharmed. None of the energy balls hit him and he avoided them all. Humph, he snored coldly, his body suddenly accelerated and he appeared behind No 17 in an instant. Danger. No 17 felt the murderous aura rising from behind him. His hair stood on end, the energy in his hand flashed again and he slapped it backwards. Unexpectedly, Trunks didn't dodge this time. but raised his hand to hit back. The two palms collided and an energy storm exploded with them as the center. At this moment, Trunks changed his palm into a claw and grabbed No. 17's arm. Then he swung it hard and threw No. 17 high into the air. Then a brilliant light burst out from Trunks' body and a ball of energy shot up into the sky, chasing after No. 17. No. 17 was instantly frightened out of his wits and let out a violent scream. But his screams were soon drowned out by the sound of explosions. His body was submerged in the energy ball, constantly twisting and deforming, then breaking into pieces and then vaporizing. The powerful and shocking flash of light blocked out the sky and lasted for a full 10 seconds before disappearing. The haze in the sky was dispersed a lot, and the long-lost sunshine finally shone down. Trunks and Son Gohan were silent for a long while. Memories of the past decade or so flashed through my mind. Trunks' eyes became wet. Son Gohan breathed a sigh of relief, as if a stone had fallen from his heart, and he felt much more relaxed. The combat effectiveness during the bottleneck period loosened somewhat and became stronger again. Although it wasn't much, Son Gohan was pleasantly surprised. This means that the bottleneck has been broken and the second stage of Super Saiyan is just around the corner. Trunks wiped his eyes and said, "It's finally over." Son Gohan looked at him and smiled. "Come on, go home." "Well, let's go home." Trunks smiled brightly. The two men, who were both brothers and master and apprentice, took off into the air and flew towards the Universal Capsule Company. 3 days later, there was news on TV. I will now report a piece of news about artificial humans. Dear survivors on Earth, according to reliable information, the 2 artificial humans who have been a scourge to humanity for 12 years have been killed by a mysterious, powerful person. From today on, we humans are free. The news was not long, but it shocked everyone. All human beings with flesh and blood choked up with sobs, and many people knelt down and kowtowed, expressing their gratitude to the unknown, mysterious, strong man who had saved all of humanity. 12 years of suppressed emotions burst out. Some people cried, some laughed, some sang and danced, and some slaughtered chickens and sheep. At Trunks' house, the 3 of them ate their food while watching the news on TV. Bulma took a small bite of the fruit, then looked at Son Gohan and said, "Gohan, I was the one who informed the kingdom that the androids were dead, but I knew you had been keeping a low profile, so I hid your names. You won't blame me, will you?" Son Gohan tore off a chicken leg and stuffed it into his mouth, filling it up, and then responded, "How could that be?" "This is perfect, yeah." Bulma nodded and smiled. "Gohan, you have become better than your father now." Son Gohan pulled a whole chicken leg bone out of his mouth, put it on the table, and said, "Haha, you're still far from it. Trunks is also very good." "Of course, Trunks is also very good. Trunks has been with you all these years. Gohan, you taught him very well." Trunks couldn't help but straighten his chest when he heard Bulma's words, a happy look on his face. It has been almost 2 years since Trunks entered the time and space chamber. He's now much taller than he was 2 days ago. Bulma sighs that her son has really grown up. Bulma continued, "But then again, why do you 2 always have blonde hair now?" "It's a form of practice, Mom," Trunks answered quickly. "Practice? Okay then." Bulma didn't ask any further questions. She doesn't understand anyway. Son Gohan thought for a while, then looked at Bulma and asked, "Aunt Bulma, I want to ask you something." "What's up?" "That's right, do you still remember the fortune teller?" "The fortune teller? Oh, I remember. I saw her once when I was young. She lived in the desert and had a palace there. Why are you asking this?" "I have something to talk to her about, Aunt Bulma. Do you remember the way? Please take me there." Son Gohan's eyes lit up. Bulma agreed immediately. "Of course, no problem. We will set off after dinner." "Brother Gohan, can I go with you?" Trunks asked. "No problem, let's go together," said Son Gohan soon after the meal. Bulma took out a universal capsule and threw it into the open space with a boom, and it turned into an airplane. The 3 of them took a plane, flew out of Zidu, crossed the desert, and came to a verdant oasis. Then Bulma controlled the plane to land. It is hard to imagine that there is such a vibrant oasis in the endless desert. It was the first time for Trunks and Son Gohan to come here, and they looked around curiously. Deep in the oasis, there stands a palace with a peculiar shape. It must be the residence of the fortune teller. The 3 of them walked towards the palace. Soon they arrived in front of the palace. But the door of the palace was closed, which gave Son Gohan a bad feeling. Son Gohan and Trunks looked at each other, because they could not sense any aura inside the palace at all. That is to say, there might be no one in the palace, but it is not ruled out that the fortune teller's mother-in-law is more gloomy and has no aura. After all, the fortune-telling grandmother is not an ordinary person, but a messenger from the underworld. Bulma walked up and knocked on the door, wait for response, but the result was not good. After waiting for a long time, no one responded. The fortune-telling mother-in-law is most likely no longer in the palace. It looks like there's no one in there. Bulma said helplessly, "It would be great if we could find Sensei Mute. With their relationship, he should be able to contact the fortune teller." Son Gohan said, Bulma said, "That old man has been out of contact for more than 10 years. I guess he was killed by the androids too. Master Roshi is either dead or has been hiding in a safe place for more than 10 years, but given his personality, the probability of being killed by an android is higher." After waiting for a long time, the three finally returned empty-handed. At Son Gohan's suggestion, the three of them went to Penguin Village again. It's a pity that the robot Lowly Arrow was not found. Penguin Village does exist, but it has been mostly destroyed and is in a mess. Arl and Dr. Senbei Norimaki disappeared as if they had evaporated from the face of the earth, leaving no trace behind. I don't know if they no longer exist in this world or where they have gone. The three of them returned to Trunks' house again. Bulma continued to repair the spaceship, and according to her, it would be repaired in a day or two. Trunks was asked by Bulma to stay at home and help. Under Trunks' aggrieved look, Son Gohan went to the Temple of Heaven alone. Stepping into the Temple of Heaven again, Son Gohan directly stated his purpose. Mr. Popo, can you contact Lord Kai? King Kai is Son Gohan's target this time, including going to find the fortune teller, also in order to be able to contact King Kai. He wanted to know the address of New Namek through King Kai. This was his third plan to go to New Namek. Mr. Popo said yes. But Mr. Gohan should know that I cannot interfere in the affairs of the moral world. What are you going to do? Son Gohan smiled and said, this is not a matter of the moral world. I just asked you to contact Lord Kai. This is just a normal communication between gods. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Bobo seemed to suddenly understand. Yes, to be honest, I am looking for Lord Kai to find a new god for the earth. Please help me contact him as soon as possible. Son Gohan said, find a new god for the earth? Mr. Popo was immediately excited and contacted King Kai immediately. His contact method was very simple and crude and seemed to contain no technical content. But Son Gohan knew that he couldn't do it now, and there must be some mysterious key here. Mr. Popo looked up and shouted to the air in the sky, Lord Kai, are you there? Popo wants to talk to you. Son Gohan didn't find it strange, because he had seen more outrageous things. Although this way of communication is a bit crude, it is effective. Sure enough, not long after, King Kai's voice was heard in the sky. It's Bobo, what's going on? Mr. Popo immediately said, it is like this, Lord Kai, it is not that I want to talk to you, it is Goku's child Gohan who wants to talk to you, and I asked him to talk to you directly. Oh, okay. King Kai's voice echoed throughout the sky. Mr. Popo said to Son Gohan, who was standing beside him, Mr. Gohan, you can talk to Lord Kai just by putting your hand on my shoulder. Oh, okay. Son Gohan nodded and put his right hand on Popo's shoulder. The next moment, he felt a mysterious force connecting him with King Kai of the North. He can talk to King Kai. King Kai said, are you Goku's son, Son Gohan? What do you want from me? Son Gohan said, Lord Kai, I want to know the address of New Namek. The North King said, New Namek. Oh, I remember more than 10 years ago, you made a wish to the dragon, asking the dragon to help find a new planet suitable for Namekians to live. Let me look for it. Yeah, that's it. After waiting for a while, the voice of King Kai of the North came again. Found it. New Namek is in the Vega constellation, the 35th main system, the first planet. Gohan, what are you looking for Namek for? Son Gohan was delighted and silently noted down the location that King Kai mentioned. Then he responded, thank you, King Kai. I am going to find a new god for the earth. Oh, so that's how it is. Do you have anything else to do? If not, I'm busy racing. No, I'm busy working. King Kai said hurriedly, Son Wufan, I heard everything, Lord Kai. Are my father and the others there now? Son Gohan asked curiously. Those people, what on earth are they doing? North Kai King responded, Goku, they're not here right now. They went to the Great Kai King's place to attend the martial arts tournament. Anything else? Oh, that's okay. Thank you, Lord Kai, said Son Gohan. Okay, bye. King Kai hurriedly logged off and went to race his car. Son Gohan stroked his chin and put all those random emotions behind him. His expression gradually became more cheerful. In this way, everything goes well. The third plan, the androids were completely wiped out and the whole Earth was celebrating. In this joyful mood, another 2 days passed quietly. During these 2 days, Bulma finally repaired the spaceship. The repaired spacecraft is as good as new. The only drawback is that the spacecraft's energy is not full, only 90% is left. In today's era, equipment and resources are extremely scarce, and charging is a very time-consuming task. It takes about a month to charge 90% of the energy to 100%. It's been too long. Son Gohan didn't want to wait at all. It's just a trip to New Namek. 90% of the energy is more than enough for few round trips, so Son Gohan didn't let Bulma continue to charge. I chose to set off for Namek today. Son Gohan, wearing a loose casual outfit, put a bunch of food and drinking water into the universal capsule one by one. And Trunks begged to take him with them. His eyes were sparkling and full of yearning for the unknown. Brother Gohan, can't you take me with you? I also want to see aliens, the vast universe, and other worlds. This is probably what young people should be like. Son Gohan looked at him helplessly and refused decisively. No, Trunks, you can't go because I have more important things for you to do. Ah, what's going on? Trunks stood up straight. It's like this, Trunks, although Dr. Gero, who created androids 17 and 18, is dead. The intelligent machines he created still exist. That machine is still carrying out Dr. Gero's orders and is creating androids that are more terrifying than No. 17 and No. 18. So while I'm on Namek, your mission is to find Dr. Gero's research base and destroy it. This concerns the safety of the entire Earth and even the entire universe. Tell me, isn't this a very important matter? Ah, there is such a thing. It is indeed very important. Brother Gohan, don't worry, I will try my best to find it. Trunks became serious. Brother Gohan actually gave me such an important task. In Brother Gohan's eyes, am I already capable of standing on my own and becoming an adult? Trunks' little heart was pounding, and he felt a sense of pride at being recognized by his elders. Bulma, who was debugging the time machine nearby, also stopped what she was doing and said seriously, Gohan, if what you said is true, then this matter is too important. I will go with Trunks to find the so-called Dr. Jiro's Research Institute. Other things can be put aside for now. Yeah, Son Gohan nodded. Then he continued, although no, 17 and no. 18 are dead, there is still a potential crisis, so we must find their lair as soon as possible and then cut off the roots and eliminate the trouble forever. Son Gohan also knew that since the moment he was reborn, the trajectory of this world must have changed. The future of this timeline is full of uncertainties. He could only grasp a general direction. And Cell is naturally a terrifying factor in the future timeline, which is relatively close to the present. So it must be eradicated as soon as possible. However, destroying Cell still takes priority over going to Namek. After all, Cell is just an egg or a larva now, so Son Gohan chose to go to Namek first. The task of finding Dr. Jiro's research base was given to Trunks and Bulma. Everything was arranged. Son Gohan got into the spaceship, closed the hatch, entered the location of Namek, and pressed the start button. The next moment, flames burst out from the bottom of the spaceship, and it soared into the air under the gaze of Bulma and her son. The spacecraft rushed out of the atmosphere, entered the brilliant universe, and soon disappeared. Retracting her gaze, Bulma looked at her son and said, Trunks, time is running out. We have to act now. Yes, Mom. Trunks nodded heavily. On the spaceship. Son Gohan turned on the gravity system, adjusted the gravity to 200 times, and then began to practice. The flight from Earth to New Namek is expected to take 2 weeks. Son Gohan didn't want to waste time and planned to use it all on training. Eat when you are hungry, practice after eating, and rest when you are tired. 2 weeks passed quickly in the boring practice. On this day, Son Gohan finished his training, took a comfortable cold shower in the bathroom, and then came to the cockpit of the spaceship. There's a huge display screen on the front of the cockpit, showing the brilliant galaxy in front of the spacecraft. Countless galaxies flashed by, and the starry sky was boundless. Soon, a huge green star came into view. The spacecraft's intelligent system broadcast the news at the appropriate time. Dear Master, the spacecraft has arrived at its destination. Namek, may I ask if we can land? Let's land. Son Gohan replied, received, searching for a landing orbit. A suitable orbit has been found. The spacecraft begins landing. As the voice broadcast ended, the spaceship flashed and officially broke into Namek's atmosphere. 10 minutes later, the spacecraft landed smoothly. Son Gohan opened the door of the spaceship, jumped down, and officially stood on the land of Namek. After a long half-month, Son Gohan was able to get back on Earth, and his mood became natural and peaceful. He opened his arms, closed his eyes, greedily breathed in the fresh air, and embraced the spring breeze. A few seconds later, a breath of air quickly approached him. Somebody is coming. Son Gohan opened his eyes. He put away the spaceship and looked up into the sky. A green figure descended from the sky and looked at Son Gohan warily. Looking at the Namekian, who looked exactly like Piccolo, Son Gohan knew that this was a fighting-type Namekian. This combat-type Namekian is good at fighting and is generally responsible for protecting the safety of the Great Elder. When the planet faces disaster, they are the ones who step forward and save the people. They are the backbone of Namek. Just as Son Gohan was about to speak, the Namekian spoke first. He looked at Son Gohan, looking very surprised. Hey, are you Mr. Son Goku? At this time, Son Gohan had golden hair and green eyes. The facial features are indeed 70% similar to Sun Wukong. Looking at the confused Namekian, Son Gohan said, Son Goku is my father and I am Son Gohan. The combat-type Namekian suddenly understood something and said, oh, that's how it is. Do you know my father? Asked Son Gohan. Yes, I met Mr. Goku when he was fighting Frieza on Namek. It has been a long time since then, and Mr. Gohan is very similar to the former Mr. Goku, so I made a mistake just now. I'm so sorry. The fighting Namekian said a little embarrassedly. Haha, it's okay. I didn't expect to meet an acquaintance. That's easy. What's your name? Son Gohan said with a smile. The Namekian said, hello, Mr. Gohan, you can just call me Nibble. Mr. Goku is our Namekian's benefactor, and his companions are of course our benefactors as well. May I ask what brings Mr. Gohan to Namek this time? The Namekian named Nibble was very respectful. Son Gohan said, I want to borrow the Dragon Balls. Can you please take me to see the great elder brother Nibble? Nibble looked at Son Gohan's broken arm, understood, and nodded. No problem, Mr. Gohan, follow me. Okay, Troubles. Nibble soared into the air. Son Gohan also flew after him. It didn't take long for Son Gohan to see the great elder who looked familiar. Son Gohan remembered that the great elder seemed to be called Muri, more than 10 years ago. Muri was one of the 7 ordinary elders of Namek. Later, Frieza attacked Namek and the previous Grand Elder died. Before he died, the previous Grand Elder mentioned Elder Muli's name, and Muli thus became the new Grand Elder of Namek, inherited some of the abilities of the previous Great Elder. Elder Muli is very kind and has bright eyes and looks very wise. "Hello, Great Elder," Son Gohan greeted with a smile. "Hello, Mr. Gohan," the Great Elder responded kindly, and then continued, "I already know why you are here. Just now I have notified the other elders and asked them to send the Dragon Ball over. Haha, and Dendi is on his way here too. He's very happy to know that you've come to Namek." Son Gohan looked at Great Elder Muli again. "This Great Elder Muli is quite something. I actually felt like I was being seen through, a little bit of discomfort." Son Gohan had met the previous Grand Elder and was fortunate enough to have his potential developed by him, so he had a very deep memory of the previous Grand Elder. Compared with the previous Great Elder, although Great Elder Muli is not as capable, he is younger, so he is more powerful. But that's all. Son Gohan had no reason to be afraid of him. The incomparably powerful strength in his body is the source of his self-confidence. Son Gohan smiled and said, "Thank you for troubling me, Great Elder." Looking at Son Gohan, Elder Muli thought of the mushroom-headed boy from more than 10 years ago and said, "Haha, no trouble, no trouble. More than 10 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Mr. Gohan has changed a lot. What's this with your hand?" Son Gohan said, "I'm sorry to have made you laugh, Great Elder. I met a strong enemy several years ago, but I was defeated and my hand was torn off by him. This time I came to Namek. I want to use the help of Shenlong to restore this arm." Elder Muli said, "Oh, that's a small problem. Porunga can help Mr. Gohan restore his arm in no time. Now that powerful enemy has been defeated, thanks to the Great Elder, it has been destroyed." Son Gohan said with a smile, "Oh, it seems a lot of things have happened on Earth." Elder Muli sighed. The two chatted and learned from each other about the changes that had taken place on Earth and Namek in recent years. Compared to the ups and downs of Earth, Namek can be said to have remained the same for more than 10 years, spending the past decade in peace and happiness. After a while, several more auras approached. Several Namekians descended from the sky, bringing Dragon Balls. In addition to the young men who delivered the Dragon Balls, a young Namekian who was accompanying them caught Son Gohan's attention. The young Namekian was tall and slender, but not very strong. The most striking thing is his pair of bright eyes, which are smart and clear. At this time, the young Namekian was also looking at Son Gohan. Then they both spoke at the same time. "Are you Dandy, you're Gohan?" After saying that, they were both stunned, then they scratched their heads and laughed. I confirmed through eye contact that it was my childhood friend in my memory. Dendi ran towards Son Gohan with a happy expression on his face, but his brows furrowed after seeing Son Gohan's broken arm. "Gohan, what's wrong with your hand?" Dendi asked, looking at Son Gohan's broken arm. "Haha, as you can see, it's broken." "It's no big deal." Son Gohan laughed lightly, as if it wasn't him whose arm was broken. Dendi said, "It would be nice if you, Gohan, had the ability to regenerate severed limbs like us Namekians. Well, so the reason I came here this time is to use the power of Porunga to restore my broken arm." Son Gohan said truthfully, "Okay, then I can help you with this." Dandy said with a smile, "The Shenlong summoned from Namek is different from the Shenlong summoned from Earth. To summon the Dragon of Namek, one needs to use Namekian language, and to make a wish, one also needs to use Namekian language, but Son Gohan doesn't know this. So what Dandy meant was that he could help him summon the dragon and translate his wishes." "Yeah, okay, thank you." Son Gohan nodded. 7 orange Dragon Balls as big as basketballs were piled neatly on the grass, sparkling with mysterious luster. The Namekians who brought the Dragon Balls stood behind Great Elder Muli without saying a word. Great Elder Muli looked at Dandy and said gently, "Dandy, go and summon Porunga." "Yes, Great Elder." Dandy nodded respectfully, then walked to the front of the 7 Dragon Balls, stretched out his hands, spread out his 5 fingers, and covered the Dragon Balls. Then he shouted in Namek, "Come out, Porunga, and grant me a wish," as Dandy finished speaking. Namek, which never had night, suddenly became pitch black. The entire Namek was shrouded in dark clouds. Crack, golden lightning flashed in the dark clouds. Then there was a loud rumbling sound of thunder. The 7 Dragon Balls on the ground flashed arcs of electricity at the same time and then burst into brilliant golden light. The golden light became increasingly intense, making it impossible to open one's eyes. Soon, a thick beam of light shot up into the sky, piercing through the dark clouds in the sky. After piercing through the dark clouds, this golden beam of light circled in the sky and then condensed. In just a few breaths, the golden column of light turned into a huge western dragon. This divine dragon was crawling in the clouds. It was over 100 meters long, with scales on its body shining brightly, making it look extremely majestic. Compared to the Shenlong on Earth, the Namek Shenlong is several times larger. It's a bit like the genie in Aladdin's lamp. But Son Gohan thought that the Earth Dragon looked much more handsome than the one in front of him. After all, the Western Dragon looks like a large lizard, which really doesn't conform to the aesthetic taste of Oriental people. The dragon poked its head down from the clouds, its 2 eyes as big as houses flashing blood-red light, and its voice with an echo effect resounded through the sky. "The human who summoned me, tell me your wishes. I can fulfill 3 wishes for you." Sure enough, it was the same as Son Gohan remembered. The Dragon of Name can grant 3 wishes. Not only that, after the Frieza incident, the Great Elder upgraded the Dragon Balls. Although the dragon in the past could fulfill 3 wishes, if it came to resurrecting humans, it could only revive 1 person for each wish. But after the upgrade, the dragon now no longer has this limitation. Dendi turned back to Son Gohan and asked, "Gohan, is your first wish to restore your arm?" Son Gohan shook his head and said, "No, let Shenlong repair my body to the most perfect state. Just fix a broken arm, you must be kidding. Make the best use of your wishes." Okay, Dendi nodded, then looked up at the huge dragon and muttered something in name. "This is very simple." Shenlong's buzz said, his eyes flashing red. Then Son Gohan felt his body begin to change. First, the scar on the face disappeared, then a tingling sensation came from the left shoulder, and a complete left arm grew out of thin air. Son Gohan was pleasantly surprised. He moved his left arm and clenched his fist. The joints made a crisp sound like frying beans, and he felt the surging power within. The newly grown arm didn't feel strange at all. It was perfect. Soon after, all the hidden injuries in the body from years of fighting were healed. The facial contours have also been slightly adjusted, and now Son Gohan looks more handsome. The original height of 176 cm increased by another 10 cm to 186 cm. A furry tail also grew out at the same time, fluttering in the wind. My weight increased by more than 20 kilograms. At this moment, Son Gohan's body has become the most perfect state, worthy of being the Namekian dragon. Son Gohan clenched his fists, a powerful aura burst out of his body, and golden flames wrapped around his whole body. A surging wave of air swept out. All the Namekians around were frightened, as if an ancient ferocious beast had awakened before their eyes. A drop of sweat as big as a fist dripped from the dragon's forehead. "It's so scary, it's so scary. What a powerful spirit this is, too scary." The dragon in the sky hesitated for a moment, then began to buzz and speak again. "No, the first wish has been fulfilled. Tell me your second wish." Dendi looked again at Son Gohan, who was like a golden god of war and displayed great power. Son Gohan restrained his breath, thought for a moment, and said, "My second wish is for me to have super regeneration and recovery abilities similar to Majin Buu." "Yeah, okay." Dendi nodded and spoke name to Shenlong again. Shenlong's eyes flashed red, and he fulfilled Son Gohan's wish again. Compared to the changes in the previous wish, Son Gohan didn't even feel any difference in his body with this wish. But he knew that he had obtained super recovery and regeneration abilities similar to Majin Buu. At this moment, the sense of security soared rapidly. Son Gohan has 2 major problems in his life. One reason is insufficient firepower. The second is death. He is actually a person who has experienced death once, so I am not afraid of death. Instead, I feel that every extra day I live is a gain, and I cherish it especially. Now that I have made a wish for super recovery and regeneration abilities, my mentality has undergone a major change. The world needs him to be alive so much that, strictly speaking, his life no longer belongs to him alone. And strong survivability means more ways to protect the people you want to protect. It also means that there are more means and methods to destroy the enemy. Although probably, this ability cannot withstand the annihilation of the Omni King and the destructive power of the God of Destruction, nor can it stop the angelic power of angels. But no matter what, there is no doubt that the survivability has been greatly improved. Son Gohan felt happy and his thoughts were clear. The realm is about to break through. Son Gohan had a feeling that at this moment, he was only one opportunity away from breaking through to Super Saiyan 2. With such a good mood, even the ugly dragon seemed cute. At this time, the dragon in the sky spoke again. "The second wish has been fulfilled. Do you have any other wishes? I can still fulfill 1 wish." As he spoke, Shenlong looked at Son Gohan with awe in his eyes. Although it is huge in size, Son Gohan on the ground looks as small as an ant compared to it. But one thing is very clear. Son Gohan possesses extremely terrifying power. The power is so huge that it can easily destroy the entire solar system. In the world of the strong, body size is not the only criterion for measuring strength. Son Gohan looked around at all the Namekians present, and finally his eyes fell on the Great Elder. He said, "Great Elder, do you have any wishes?" Great Elder merely shook his head. "No, we rarely need Poranga's help." Son Gohan asked with a hint of anticipation, "Oh, then I want to ask. Is there a way to revive someone who has been killed for more than 10 years? Elder Muley shook his head and said, "Palanga cannot revive people who died of natural causes or who have been dead for a long time because they have no body and their souls have been reincarnated. The body is still there and the soul is still attached to the body, but it is dead. It is now in the underworld or training with Lord Kai. Is there no way?" Son Gohan continued to ask. "Is there such a situation?" Elder Muley showed a shocked expression. This completely overturned his outlook on life. So Son Gohan told the Great Elder about the situation of Son Goku, Vegeta, and others. After hearing this, Great Elder Muley was amazed, but he still shook his head and said, "Porunga cannot revive people who died of illness, because people who died of illness are also considered to have died of natural causes. As for the other situation you mentioned, upgrading Poranga's ability may make it possible. I'm so sorry, Mr. Gohan. I didn't expect so many things to happen on Earth. Even Mr. Son Goku passed away. It's such a pity. Is it possible to upgrade? Is the Shenlong version too low? Then let's try upgrading later. After all, it's common for Dragon Ball to eat itself, and there's nothing surprising about it. In fact, Son Gohan had already guessed this would be the result, so he didn't hold much hope when he asked. Therefore, there is no feeling of disappointment at this time. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. But then again, those companions who have been dead for many years don't necessarily want to be resurrected, right? After all, it seems that there is no worry or trouble in the underworld and with King Kai. Hey, so the third wish. Son Gohan thought about it and said to Dendi, in that case, Dendi, the third wish is to ask for the address of Yadrat planet for me. Now that you have the address, you can go there anytime, because his next priority is to find a new god for the Earth and then bring it back to Earth to activate the new dragon. This is the most urgent task. After all, it was impossible for him to bring the newly found god to Yadrat to practice for a few years. He can wait, but the Earth obviously can't wait any longer. As for why he didn't just wish for instant teleportation, Son Gohan had his own considerations. Not to mention whether the dragon could help him realize this wish. Even if he learned it, he couldn't teleport to Yadrat if he couldn't find the breath of the Yadrat people. After all, he went to Yadrat not just to learn how to teleport. There's more than just teleportation to learn there. The address of Yadrat, well, okay. Dandy nodded and made another wish to the dragon. Shenlong's eyes flashed red and a piece of information was transmitted into Son Gohan's mind. It is exactly the location of the planet Yadrat. The main feature of Shenlong is speed, extremely efficient, wish come true. The voice of the dragon buzzed through the sky. Okay, all wishes have been fulfilled, so goodbye Tilda. Then golden light exploded from its body and the dragon's body disintegrated. 7 petrified Dragon Balls fell to the ground with a thud, creating several deep pits on the ground. There are other differences between Namek's Dragon Balls and Earth's Dragon Balls besides their size. The Dragon Balls on Earth will fly in all directions after making a wish. This is because the old god is afraid that the Earthlings, who have endless desires, will encounter bugs and keep making wishes, thus increasing the difficulty of collecting Dragon Balls. But he never expected that Bulma would later invent something like the Dragon Ball radar. The Namekians are peace-loving and kind-hearted, and they rarely use the Dragon Balls, so the Great Elder said that after making a wish, the petrified Dragon Balls will not fly away. These petrified Dragon Balls will be sent back to the 7 tribes for continued protection. After the dragon disappeared, the black clouds quickly dispersed, and the sky of Namek became clear again in just a few breaths, and the sun shone on the earth again. Son Gohan walked up to the Great Elder and said, Great Elder, I have one more thing to ask of you. Elder Murray said, Mr. Gohan, you are welcome. If you have something to say, just tell me. It is our honor to help our benefactor. Son Gohan said, Haha, it's like this. The Earth needs a guardian now, so I want to ask the Elder for someone to go to the Earth to be the new god. Elder Murray said, Oh, of course, no problem, but we still need to seek the other party's consent. Does Mr. Gohan have a choice? Son Gohan pointed to Dendi, who was standing beside him, and said, Well, Great Elder, I want Dendi. Dendi looked a little surprised when his name was called. The Great Elder smiled and looked at Dandy and said, Dandy, are you willing to go to Earth and become a god? Dandy looked stunned. Can I? Dandy, although your fighting ability is average, you are a very outstanding dragon with very comprehensive abilities. Of course, you can be a god on Earth. Elder Muley said. Son Gohan followed up and said, Dandy, do you have any concerns that make you not want to go? Dandy uttered an ah and quickly shook his head. No, I'm just afraid that I can't do the job. It's okay, believe in yourself. You just heard what the Great Elder said. He said that you are a very outstanding dragon. How can this be false? You will definitely become a very outstanding god. Son Gohan said. Then I'll try it, Dandy said. If a good friend needs help, of course it is my duty to help. It feels really good to be needed. Dandy loved it. At this moment, Dandy felt somewhat nervous, but also very happy. Ha ha ha, okay, Son Gohan laughed. After some pleasantries, Dandy also said goodbye to the Great Elder and others. For a race like Namek that doesn't need to eat, farewell is really just a farewell. No need to spend hours eating and drinking. Son Gohan took out a universal capsule and threw it into the open space, where it turned into a spaceship. Everyone was shocked by his methods. Son Gohan didn't explain much and called Dendi to get on the spaceship quickly. The two got on the spaceship. Son Gohan entered the location of the Earth, pressed the start button, and the spaceship disappeared into the sky and rushed into the vast universe. Just like that, another half a month passed. On this day, a spaceship came over the Earth and landed successfully. It's Son Gohan and Dendi who have arrived. The two jumped off the spaceship and Son Gohan put the spaceship away again. After putting away the spaceship, Son Gohan first used his Kai to sense the Earth. After confirming that the Earth was safe, he said to Dendi, Let's go, Dendi, let's go to the Temple of Heaven first. Yeah, okay, Dendi nodded. The two of them took off into the air and flew towards the Temple of the Gods. A moment later, the two arrived at the Temple of Heaven. Trunks and Bulma arrived almost at the same time as them. This is because after Trunks sensed Son Gohan's aura, he rushed over with Bulma. When Trunks saw Son Gohan, he ran over in surprise and looked him up and down with a look of excitement on his face. Brother Gohan, you're finally back. That's great. Wow, your hands have grown back. Oh my god, you even have a tail. So handsome, so handsome, so handsome. Son Gohan raised his hand and ruffled his hair, then laughed and scolded, "Good boy, it's only been a month since we last met. How come you've become such a chatterbox?" "No, I'm so happy," Trunks said with a smile. Mr. Gohan, Mr. Popo beside him also greeted. Son Gohan smiled and nodded at him. "Gohan, you've become more handsome. The scar on your face is gone, your left arm has grown, and you seem to have grown taller. Ha ha ha, I declare that you are now the most handsome man I have ever seen." Bulma put her hands on her hips and laughed, as if she had returned to the way she was more than 10 years ago. Then he looked at Dendi next to Son Gohan curiously. "Is this the new god you found?" Son Gohan laughed and said, "Haha, yes, Aunt Bulma, you have actually seen him." "Ah, is this true?" Bulma looked at Dendi in surprise. But unfortunately, all Namekians are almost cast in the same mold, and she couldn't remember who the Dendi in front of her was. The only one who came to mind was Piccolo. Dendi looked a little embarrassed. He still remembered Bulma. Although more than 10 years have passed, Bulma has maintained herself very well and has not changed much. She has just become more mature. Son Gohan introduced with a smile, "Let me introduce you. This is Den, the new god I went to Namek to find this time." Aunt Bulma, the Namek kid who shared the hardships with us back then on Namek, was him, the one who could perform healing spells. "Oh, now that you mention it, I remember." Bulma looked as if she had suddenly realized something. "Hello, Miss Bulma, long time no see," Dandy greeted. "Hello, hello," Bulma responded. She was also very happy to see old friends. "Dandy, this is Trunks, Aunt Bulma's son and also my disciple. This is Mr. Popo, the guardian of the Temple of Heaven. He will assist you in your work from now on." Son Gohan introduced them one by one. "Hello, nice to meet you." Dandy nodded very politely. Trunks was also polite, nodding and responding, "Hello, Brother Dandy." Mr. Bobo bowed to Dandy and said, "Hello, Lord God, from now on. You can just call me Bobo, Mr. Bobo, please give me more guidance in the future." Since it was his first time here, Dandy didn't really call him by his name but addressed Bobo as Sir. "My Lord God, please follow me. I will take you to inherit the throne of the god." "Mr. Gohan, please wait here for a moment." Mr. Bobo said, "Okay, okay." Son Gohan and others nodded. After that, Mr. Bobo took Dandy into the inner hall for inheritance. Only Son Gohan, Bulma, and Trunks were left on the square of the Temple of Heaven. Son Gohan asked about Cell. "Have you found Dr. Jiro's research institute?" Hearing this question, Trunks, who wanted to touch Son Gohan's tail, stopped what he was doing. Bulma replied, "We haven't found him yet. Dr. Gro is indeed a remnant of the Red Ribbon Army. His anti-detection methods are very sophisticated." I looked up a lot of information about the Red Ribbon Army and Dr. Gro on the internet and speculated on many possible places where the secret research institute could be built, but I couldn't find any of them. Later, I offered a large reward for clues, but not many people provided them. Son Gohan asked, "Is there any useful information?" Bulma said, "Yes, I have selected several clues and am now checking them one by one." "Well, okay, let's check these clues first. If we really can't find it, we'll ask Shenlong to help look for it." Son Gohan nodded. "Yeah." Bulma nodded. Trunks couldn't help his curiosity and asked Gohan, "Is Shenlong really that magical? Did your arm grow with the help of Shenlong?" Trunks often heard the legend about the dragon, but had never seen the Dragon Balls or the dragon, and his curiosity reached its peak. Son Gohan said, "Well, Shenron did help repair my arm. Shenron can fulfill most wishes within its capabilities." Trunks continued to ask curiously, "What is the range of Shenlong's ability? How big is this vast majority?" Son Gohan took a serious look at Trunks and felt that he had the potential to become a nitpicker. "What's going on in the mind of a 13-year-old boy?" Son Gohan said, "This is hard to explain, but try not to make weird and outrageous wishes." "Is that so, Mom?" Trunks looked at Bulma. "Yeah, about right." Bulma nodded. The three of them talked for about 10 minutes. Mr. Bobo walked out of the inner hall of the Temple of the Gods with Dandy. Compared with before, Dandy was wearing an extra cloak at this time. The whole person's aura also became calmer. "Is this the end of the inheritance?" asked Son Gohan. Mr. Bobo replied, "Yes, it is actually just a very simple ritual. It doesn't take a long time. The fact that the immortal is very talented is also a factor. So I told you, Dandy, you are fully qualified for the position of God." Son Gohan said with a smile. Dandy scratched his head a little embarrassedly. He didn't have any dignity as a god at all. Son Gohan continued, "In that case, Dandy, when can you start activating the Dragon Balls?" "It will be okay now," said Dandy. Then he looked at Mr. Bobo and said, "Mr. Bobo, can you find a model of the dragon? Please help me find a model of the dragon. I need a model of the dragon as a medium to activate the Dragon Ball." Mr. Bobo said, "Oh, sure. I once carved a dragon model when I was bored. Now it is in the inner hall. I didn't expect it to come in handy. Wait a minute." As he spoke, he turned and ran into the inner hall. After waiting for a while, he came out holding a wooden sculpture of a dragon. "God, is this okay, Mr. Bobo held the wood sculpture in front of Dandy. The wooden sculpture he was holding was lifelike, and it was exactly the image of an oriental dragon. This is a model that Mr. Bobo carved in the image of a dragon when he was bored. Of course, Mr. Bobo, please put it on the ground, Dandy ordered. Yes, Lord God. Mr. Bobo nodded respectfully, then carefully placed the wooden sculpture of the dragon on the ground next to him. Dandy walked over to the wood carving and squatted down. The others, including Son Gohan, had never seen such a scene before, and they all had curious expressions on their faces. They stared at Dandy and the wooden dragon sculpture in silence without even blinking. Dandy was seen putting his hands on the wood carving and muttering something in an obscure language or perhaps a spell. This language is neither the universal language of the universe nor the Namek language, but it belongs to the language of the dragon clan. It is said that this is a magical spell left in this world by the dragon god Sarama. Fantastic. As Dandy chanted the spell faster and faster, his hands were covered with a faint golden light. The golden light became increasingly dense, finally enveloping the model of the dragon. Immediately afterwards, a dazzling light burst out. It seemed as if a small sun exploded before their eyes, and several people couldn't help but squint their eyes. Just when the light was the brightest, a thick golden beam shot up into the sky and then turned into 7 meteors that streaked through the air. Everyone looked up at the pillar of light in the sky until it completely disappeared. When they looked away, they found that the wooden sculpture of the dragon in front of Dandy had disappeared. Dandy wiped the sweat from his forehead, then stood up and said, "Okay, I have activated the dragon balls. Now you can make a wish as long as you collect all 7 dragon balls." "What about wishes? How many wishes can I make?" asked Son Gohan. Dandy replied, "I learned from Porunga of Namek. He can also make 3 wishes, but his ability is slightly weaker than Porunga of Namek because Great Elder Muley is a better dragon than me." Son Gohan laughed loudly, patted Dandy on the shoulder and said, "Haha, that's already very impressive, thank you, Dandy." "You're welcome," Dandy said. After a while, Son Gohan and the others said goodbye and returned to the western capital. Zidu, Bulma's home. Bulma is debugging the Dragon Ball radar. After all, it has not been used for more than 10 years. The Dragon Ball radar has a minor fault and needs to be re-debugged before it can be used normally. Son Gohan and Trunks watched from the side. Trunks stared at the Dragon Ball radar, his face full of excitement and his eyes shining brightly. Looking at Trunks' funny look, Son Gohan couldn't help but tease, "Trunks, are you holding your pee? Stop it and go now." Trunks blushed no. Then he quickly said, "Brother Gohan, let me take care of collecting the Dragon Balls. Don't fight with me for them, okay?" Okay, I won't fight with you. Okay, it's a deal, no regrets." Trunks raised his hand and wanted to high-five Son Gohan as an oath. Son Gohan clapped his hands helplessly. "It's just collecting Dragon Balls. What's there to grab? Since Trunks likes it, let him go." "Finally fixed it." Bulma raised the Dragon Ball radar in her hand. "Here, give it to you, Trunks." Then she handed the Dragon Ball radar to Trunks. Trunks took the Dragon Ball radar and shuddered, feeling as if he was electrocuted. "Well, then I'll go." His breathing became rapid. "Go and come back soon." Bulma couldn't help but smile. "Yeah." Trunks nodded, took the Dragon Ball radar, and left home at lightning speed. "This kid, are all the cells in his body transformed by curiosity?" Son Gohan looked at the direction Trunks left and thought secretly in his heart. At this time, Bulma said, "Gohan, come here. I will show you some clues I have collected." "Oh, okay, here I come." On October 769, 10 AI, I saw a strange robot in Unbeatable Highlands. The robot walked very fast and was very powerful. I suspect it was a robot produced by the Red Ribbon Legion. On March 776, 3 AD, something unusual happened in Penguin Village, and mysterious machine wreckage fell from the sky on the morning of August 778. A strange energy fluctuation erupted in the Gobi Desert 15 kilometers north of Beidouan, July 777, 7 AD. Someone claiming to be a member of the Red Ribbon Army appeared in the town of Zidu Pasli. Bulma screened out a total of 13 pieces of information provided by netizens. The current population of the Earth is not large. Moreover, before the death of androids 17 and 18, most humans lived in the mountains and forests and were very isolated from the news. So much of the news has been unexpected. Unbeatable Highlands, Penguin Village, Beidou Desert, Pasli Town, Papaya Island, Jiangshang, Yunhai Desert. Son Gohan and Bulma considered carefully and finally selected 3 places with the most suspicion, respectively. Unbeatable Heights, the Great Gobi Desert in the north, the Desert of Sea of Clouds. On the first day, Son Gohan and Bulma went to Unbeatable Highlands to search. After searching for 1 day, the result was 0. Unbeatable Heights excluded. By the time they returned to the western capital in the evening, Trunks had already collected 7 Dragon Balls and placed them on the table, ready to summon the dragon to make a wish at any time. The Earth's Dragon Balls are much smaller than the Namek's Dragon Balls. The Dragon Balls on Namek are the size of basketballs. The Dragon Balls on Earth are only the size of a fist. The 7 Dragon Balls were neatly placed in front of Trunks. Trunks rested his chin on his hands, trying to figure out what wish to make. See Son Gohan and Bulma come back. Trunks stood up quickly, his face full of joy, and said in a way that he wanted to take credit, Gohan, Mom, I have collected all the Dragon Balls. When can we summon the dragon to make a wish? I can't wait. Son Gohan said, don't worry, wait a few more days until we check all the clues we have selected. Oh, okay then. Tilda, hearing him say this, Trunks lowered his head in a depressed mood. Seeing this, Bulma asked curiously, Trunks, do you want to make a wish? Yeah, Trunks responded, don't waste wishes. Tell me, what kind of wish do you want to make? Bulma asked. Will this not work if I say it out loud? Trunks said worriedly. Bulma burst out laughing. No, this is not a birthday wish, it's a wish to the dragon. Even if I tell others in advance, it doesn't matter. Okay then. I want to make a wish to Shenlong, asking the three of us to live happily together for the rest of our lives. Trunks said, is this the wish? Bulma, Sun Wufan, both fell silent. They didn't expect that the wish Trunks wanted to make would be like this. Thinking of how excited he was all day and how he was rushing to find the Dragon Ball, the hearts of both adults seemed to be struck by something. The look he gave Trunks also softened a lot. Son Gohan ruffled Trunks' hair and smiled. Trunks, you don't have to make this wish because we will definitely be together forever. Really? The 13-year-old boy looked up. Of course. Son Gohan nodded affirmatively. Just now I thought you were going to wish for world peace. I'm afraid even the dragon can't fulfill this wish, haha, Bulma said. The next day, Bulma was debugging the time machine at home. Son Gohan and Trunks flew to the Mara Desert north of Hokkaido. Mara Gobai is located 300 kilometers north of Beidou. It covers an area of more than 10 million square kilometers, which is very vast. The vegetation here is very sparse, mostly desert and weathered rocks. There are oases in the desert, but they are few and far between. Some bushes stubbornly grow on some weathered rocks, showing their tenacious vitality to humans. Under the scorching sun, waves of heat rose from the Gobi Desert, making it difficult for people to breathe. But Son Gohan and Trunks are not ordinary people. After they had experienced the extremes of ice and fire in the Spirit Time House, this heat wave was nothing to mention. It's just pediatrics. The two flew over the desert. Son Gohan said, Trunks, we will split up. You go this way, I go that way. If we encounter a situation, we will use the increase of our breath as a signal and then reunite, understand? Got it, Brother Gohan. Trunks nodded. The two separated. They each held a circular auxiliary detector in their hands and conducted a carpet search. Half a day passed quickly. Son Gohan was fully focused, flying in the air and observing the ground carefully. After flying for a while, a weathered stone forest appeared in front of us. This weathered stone forest extends for who knows how many miles, with no end in sight and seems boundless. Trees with bare trunks are rooted in weathered rocks and grow tenaciously. Son Gohan frowned, holding the sensor in his hand, and flew into the stone forest. After going about 10 kilometers deep, the detector in Son Gohan's hand suddenly made a vibrating sound. Okay, Son Gohan raised the detector to his eyes in surprise. There was a red dot on the detector screen, flashing a dazzling light. This detector, which looks similar to the Dragon Ball radar, was modified by Bulma based on the combat power detector of Frieza's army, can detect abnormal energy fluctuations and computer network nodes. The detector in Son Gohan's hand detected the nearby computer signal waves. In this deserted desert, there were computer network fluctuations, which was obviously not a normal thing. Son Gohan, holding the detector, went over. A few minutes later, he descended from the sky and looked at the cave in front of him. This cave is very hidden, with a lot of bushes growing around it, blocking the view of the cave. If Son Gohan hadn't been holding the detector, it would have been difficult to find this location. Son Gohan raised his hand and pointed, and a beam of energy shot out, instantly igniting the bushes. Soon the bushes were burned out, leaving ashes all over the ground. The bushes disappeared and the circular hole opened up, exposing it to Son Gohan's vision. Son Gohan waved his hand to disperse the dust and pungent smoke in the air, then jumped into the cave. After walking about 5 or 6 meters, a heavy steel door blocked his way. Looking closely, there's a striking logo printed on the steel gate. The logo has a red background and white edges, which looks very much like a bow, with 2 capital R's engraved on it. It was exactly the logo of the Red Ribbon Army. Son Gohan was delighted. This is really a place where you can't find anything without wearing iron shoes, and it takes no effort at all to get there. Finally found it. Dr. Jiro's laboratory must be here. Thinking of this, Son Gohan took a deep breath and notified Trunks. Trunks sensed that Son Gohan's aura was rising, and a raging aura burst out from his body, and he flew quickly in Son Gohan's direction. Soon, Trunks fell from the air, ran into the cave, and came to Son Gohan. Brother Gohan, found it? He asked. Son Gohan pointed to the heavy steel door behind him. If nothing unexpected happens, it's behind this door. Oh, Trunks walked around Son Gohan and came behind him. He put his hand on the thick steel plate and felt the cool touch of steel on his hand. He raised his hand and knocked, and the iron door made a dull sound. Brother Gohan, this door is made entirely of steel plates and is more than 40 cm thick. What should we do? Trunks asked. Son Gohan said, what else can we do? Of course, we have to open the door physically. Trunks, you open the door, but remember to control your strength and don't destroy the things inside. Yeah, okay. Trunks nodded and agreed. Son Gohan took a few steps back. Trunks stretched out his palm and pressed it on the iron door. Breath bursts out. Boom, there was a loud noise. In an instant, the earth shook and the rubble above fell. The steel plate structure door that was at least 40 cm thick was smashed by Trunks with one palm. Gohan brother, I think I used a little too much force. Trunks laughed awkwardly. It's okay, let's go. Son Gohan waved his hand to fan away the dust, walked through the iron gate and stepped inside. Trunks also waved his hands to drive away the smoke and followed closely behind Son Gohan. After passing through the iron gate, a spacious laboratory appeared in front of the two. Unlike the dimness in the cave, the roof of the laboratory is inlaid with many glowing energy stones. The energy stone illuminated the entire space, making the laboratory as bright as day. Dr. Grow hollowed out the belly of this weathered rock. This secret base of considerable size was built. Inside the laboratory, wires are densely packed into bundles, scattered everywhere on the floor and walls. Several giant computers stood there. Their screens were pitch black and had stopped working. In the archives room, Dr. Grow's various manuscripts and work notes are densely packed. In the hall, there are 3 nutritional hibernation capsules placed horizontally and vertically. 2 of the hibernation capsules have been opened, and only one is still sealed. There is an energy tube inserted on both sides, which continuously provides energy to this nutritional hibernation capsule. Not far from the hibernation capsule, there lay a headless corpse. Although it is called a corpse, in fact, only clothes and bones are left. From the clothes, it can be determined that the headless corpse should be Dr. Grow himself. After awakening No. 17 and No. 18, Dr. Jiro was in great trouble. He tried to control No. 17 and No. 18 with a special remote control, but unexpectedly he was killed by No. 17. In the end, even his head was blown off by No. 17, leaving him dead with no intact body, and there was a big hole on the other side of the laboratory. This should have been torn apart violently by No. 17 that year. The big hole leads directly to the Gobi Desert outside, and wind and sand pour into it, causing a lot of sand to pile up on the floor of the laboratory. Son Gohan squatted down beside Dr. Jiro's body and fumbled around for a while. After taking out the only pen from Dr. Jiro's chest pocket, Son Gohan stood up and kicked the headless skeleton out of the hole. Trunks, go collect all the useful things, Son Gohan ordered. Yes, Brother Gohan. Trunks nodded, took out the storage capsule he carried with him, and put away his computer notes and various manuscripts. Son Gohan walked to the hibernation chamber. He first put the 2 opened hibernation capsules into the storage capsule, then squatted down and checked the only hibernation capsule that had not been opened. There is a number written on the hibernation capsule. 16. Through the transparent glass of the hibernation capsule, Son Gohan saw a tall and strong android lying inside. This android has an angular, hard-lined face and short red hair. He was wearing green armor, a black tights, white socks, green boots, and had a grim expression. It was Android 16. This is a fully mechanical android created by Dr. Jiro based on his own son. Dr. Jiro's son was once a senior soldier in the Red Ribbon Corps, but unfortunately he was killed by the enemy during a mission. Dr. Jiro, with special feelings for his son, gave No. 16 powerful strength and a terrifying, explosive device. But I don't want him to be destroyed in the battle, therefore the personality of No. 16 is designed to be more docile. Therefore, No. 16 not only does not like fighting, but is peace-loving and likes nature and small animals. In the eyes of the ambitious Dr. Grow, this was nothing short of a failure, so the 16th has not been started. As a result, he has been sleeping ever since. Placing his hand on the hibernation capsule, Son Gohan thought for a moment and decided to restart No. 16. There are 2 reasons. Firstly, there are too few high-end combat forces on Earth nowadays. No. 16 possesses impressive combat power and it may come in handy at any time. Secondly, No. 16 has a gentle personality and loves peace. He's not an evil person like No. 17 or No. 18. So the risk of awakening him is very low. This is an artificial being whose benefits far outweigh its disadvantages. Moreover, with Son Gohan's current combat power, even if No. 16 rebelled illogically, he could easily deal with it. Not to mention Son Gohan, even the current Trunks can easily control No. 16. After a long period of training in the Spirit Time Chamber, the brothers now have amazing basic combat power. And even if it is divided by realm, now Son Gohan is just one step away from reaching Super Saiyan 2, and Trunks has also fully mastered the full power form of Super Saiyan 1. No matter how powerful No. 16 is, he can never be their opponent. Son Gohan looked at the hibernation capsule carefully, successfully found the start button and pressed it. A crackling sound was heard. The lid of the hibernation chamber was slowly opened. Trunks, who wanted to tear down the floor tiles, came over. Gohan-kun, I've collected everything. What are you doing? Then he suddenly saw a huge man-made man sitting up from the hibernation capsule. Trunks suddenly stopped and stared at No. 16, who walked out of the hibernation capsule. Brother Gohan, is this the android you mentioned that is more terrifying than number 17 and number 18? Trunks didn't sense any dangerous aura from No. 16, but he was still cautious and didn't dare to underestimate the enemy. After all, no, 17 and no. 18 once looked harmless, but in fact they were two big demons. The android in front of me might also be such a monster. Gohan-kun, let me kill him. As Trunks spoke, his aura expanded rapidly, causing a strong wind to blow through the laboratory. The strong wind made the corners of several people's clothes rustle. And the roof was about to be blown off. Trunks, don't do anything yet. Son Gohan quickly stopped him. If it was a second later, Trunks would explode and kill people. When Trunks heard Son Gohan's shout, although he didn't understand why, he still obediently suppressed his violent aura temporarily. No, 16 stood there motionless, looked at Trunks warily, and then looked at Son Gohan. He was silent for a few seconds, then said in a low voice, "Are you Son Gohan?" "Yes, I am." Son Gohan nodded, looking at him curiously after another brief silence. No, 16 continued, "You are different from what is recorded in the file." Son Gohan said, "Of course it's different because I'm in my 20s now. When Dr. Jiro died, I was only 9 years old. So the information in your database is probably just information about me when I was a child." Upon hearing the news of Dr. Gro's death, No. 16's pupils shrank noticeably, but he quickly regained his composure. "It turns out the doctor is dead. That's a shame. Who is he?" He looked at Trunks. "In the database of No. 16, there is no Trunks at all. It is a very old version." Son Gohan said, "He is Trunks, Vegeta's son." Then he said, "No. 16, now that Dr. Gro is dead, do you still want to fight us, or what are your plans next?" No. 16 shook his head and said, "No, I don't like fighting." He thought for a while, then continued, "I don't know what I will do. Maybe I will wander around and eventually live in the mountains to protect the small animals." Son Gohan nodded. "Well, that's fine. I know you love peace and nature, so if there is any crisis on Earth in the future, if your ability allows, please defend the Earth and protect this home together, okay?" No. 16 looked at Son Gohan seriously, then replied, "Okay." His expression was as grim as ever, very few words. No. 16 nodded and said, "Okay, can I leave now?" Son Gohan stepped aside, making way for him, and said, "Okay, but No. 16, you have a very powerful bomb on you. If you want to defuse it, you can come to me or Trunks. We will take you to see Bulma and she can help you defuse it." "Okay, I get it." No. 16 agreed and strode out of the laboratory. Trunks was very confused as he watched No. 16 leave. He was confused and asked Son Gohan, "Brother Gohan, what's going on?" Son Gohan explained, "He's not the target we are looking for. Although No. 16 is also a very powerful android, he's not very aggressive and will not harm the Earth. It is beneficial to keep him." "Oh," Trunks responded with a half-comprehending sound and then continued, "Gohan, how do you know that No. 16 is not aggressive? No. 17 and No. 18 don't look fierce either, but they are devil-like guys." Son Gohan said, "I can't explain this to you, but if anything unexpected happens, I will personally destroy him. Okay, if you're not free, I can do it for you. By the way, Gohan, we've already searched the lab, but there's no such intelligent computer that's still making androids as you said." Son Gohan pointed to the floor beneath his feet and said with a smile, "Who said we have finished searching the laboratory? There is a secret base underneath." "Ah," Trunks was shocked. "Watch this." Son Gohan grinned and stepped down hard with his right foot. Boom, kakaka, the floor beneath my feet exploded, revealing a huge black hole. "There really is a different world down there," Trunks said in surprise. "Let's go down and take a look." Son Gohan said and took the lead and jumped down from the dark cave. Trunks followed closely behind. In just 2 seconds, the two of them were standing firmly on solid ground in the basement. The lighting in this basement is very dim and I can't see the surroundings clearly. Trunks fumbled for a while and finally found the switch of the energy light. Click, the light turned on. The originally dim basement suddenly became bright. The two finally saw the structure and area of the basement. Compared to the spacious laboratory, this basement is several times smaller. The structure is also very simple. In the middle, there stands a huge smart computer that is 3 meters high and 5 meters wide. The screen is still glowing, indicating that it is still running on its own. Next to the smart computer is a half-person high machine with a cylindrical transparent glass container upside down on top of the machine. An energy tube as thick as a thigh connects the smart computer and the machine together. The glass container is filled with green nutrient solution. Small bubbles continue to form at the bottom of the nutrient solution and finally all floated to the top of the glass container. And in the very center of the nutrient solution, an extremely ugly embryo was being nurtured. It was Cell. At this time, Cell had grown to the size of an arm. Although it was curled up, its strong heartbeat could already be seen. Trunks pressed his palms against the clear glass. Cell's eyelids twitched as if he could wake up at any time. "Brother Gohan, are you sure this time? Is it this ugly thing?" Trunks said. Son Gohan nodded and said, "Yes, that's it." Trunks said, "Why does it give me a familiar feeling?" Son Gohan said, "Maybe it's because this guy has some of my cells in him." "Ah, how come this monster has your cells?" "That's because Dr. Jiro used robot bees to collect cells from many strong people and fused them together to create this monster. As far as I know, it contains not only my cells, but also my father's and your father's cells." Many of our elder cells were collected by Dr. Jiro. It even has cells from Frieza and King Cold in its body. That's really a monster. Trunks was surprised. Son Gohan said, Trunks, please move aside first. I will kill it. Oh, okay. Trunks responded and decisively moved aside. Son Gohan raised his hand, spread his 5 fingers, and a gas bomb blew up the glass container containing Cell's embryo. Boom. As the glass container exploded, green nutrient solution splashed everywhere. The cell embryo that left the nutrient solution rolled on the ground, then began to tremble, making a squeak, squeak sound. It looked like a hairless mouse struggling to death. Son Gohan stepped on it mercilessly, turning it into a pool of meat paste in an instant. Then he raised his hand and threw another stream of energy onto the meat paste. After a crackling sound, only a charred mark remained on the ground. The cell embryo was reduced to ashes. The brothers stood above Dr. Jiro's laboratory. Son Gohan thought about it, raised his hand, and threw an energy bomb down. Boom, the energy bomb exploded. The light was shining, the earth was shaking, and flames were shooting up into the sky. The entire laboratory was blown to pieces. A huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and the huge explosion sounded hundreds of kilometers away. Amid the powerful explosion, the weathered stone forest was flattened in an instant. A deep pit with a diameter of several kilometers appeared on the ground, and thick smoke billowed. Looking down at the deep pit, Son Gohan nodded with satisfaction and flew away with Trunks. The two soon returned to the Universal Capsule Company. Bulma is still tinkering with the time machine. Son Gohan and Trunks took out all of Dr. Jiro's inheritance. Bulma was stunned by the room full of things. Are these two brothers out to rob? Computers, books, notebooks, manuscripts, tables, hibernation capsules, and even some black stuff. What is this? Have you found Dr. Jiro's laboratory? Bulma stopped what she was doing and asked in surprise. Son Gohan nodded. Yes, I found it. These things were moved from Dr. Jiro's laboratory. Aunt Bulma, take a look first. Are these things useful to you? Did you get all of this from Dr. Jiro? Bulma quickly stood up and hurried over to check. Son Gohan said, yes, I brought them all back thinking they might be useful to you. Bulma picked up a notebook and flipped through it. After a while, another manuscript was changed, and the more she read it, the more surprised she was. The more I look at it, the more surprised I become. Bulma sighed. Dr. Jiro is a super genius, but it's a pity that he took a detour. Artificial humans, perpetual energy reactors, genetic engineering. Awesome, so awesome. These are all genius ideas. Seeing her excitement, Son Gohan knew that he had done the right thing this time. Fortunately, there was no wave that blew up all these things. He said, how about it, Aunt Bulma? Are these things useful? Bulma said happily, it's useful, very useful, Gohan. You did a good job this time. You didn't destroy all these things. It's great. Although Dr. Gro is a big villain, his research results in the field of science are innocent. With these things, I feel like a new brain has grown out of my head. Apart from anything else, my time machine should be completed a year ahead of schedule. Also, I can learn from this perpetual energy furnace and make other instruments. Bulma talked freely, her face filled with laughter. This was the first time Trunks saw Bulma so energetic. At this moment, Bulma seemed to have returned to her energetic youth. Son Gohan laughed and said, so, today's harvest is huge. Then we must have an extra meal tonight, haha. Yeah, extra snack, Bulma responded without even raising her head. Until half an hour later, Bulma finally emerged from the ocean of knowledge. The first thing she did was to tell Son Gohan and Trunks to do something. You two can help put all these things into the empty room next door. Remember to sort them and put them in order so that I can check them when the time comes. The two young handsome guys got busy again, moving things back and forth one by one. After they were done, Gohan and Trunks went into the gravity room to practice for a few hours. Cultivation is never-ending. The next day, the three of them neatly placed 7 Dragon Balls on the open space near the Universal Capsule Company and summoned the dragon to make a wish. It's still the familiar operation and familiar formula. The sky suddenly turned dark as ink. After a burst of lightning and thunder, the familiar Eastern dragon hovered in the clouds, its 2 huge blood-red eyes flashing and its dragon whiskers swaying, looking noble and majestic. It is worthy of being the symbol and totem of Oriental nobility. Wow, wow, wow. When Trunks saw the dragon for the first time, his eyes lit up and he screamed, so handsome. How nice it would be if I could have a mount like this, Trunks thought to himself, drooling. At the same time, Dendi and Popo stood on the edge of the Temple of Heaven, looking down at the human world. They naturally saw Son Gohan and others summoning the dragon to make a wish. The dragon had its own speakers, and its voice resounded through the sky. The human who summoned me, please tell me your wish. I can fulfill 3 of your wishes. Any wish will do. Trunks asked excitedly, can I really wish for anything? Of course, any wish will do. Shenron responded. Son Gohan rolled his eyes and couldn't listen anymore. Don't you know your own weight? Is it appropriate to brag like this? Son Gohan looked up at Shenron and grinned. Feeling Son Gohan's gaze, Shenlong's huge dragon body twitched. Is he looking down on me with this look? A drop of sweat as big as a fist rolled down the forehead of the blue dragon. Silence. Son Gohan looked at Shenlong and smiled. Since you put it that way, I will make a small wish. Shenlong had a bad feeling but responded anyway. Tell me what you wish for. Son Gohan said, please raise my strength to the level of a god of destruction or an angel. 3 black question marks appeared on the dragon's head. Then it was silent again. WTF, this is outrageous. Is this something I can do? If it were not a noble dragon, how could it be considered an art of language? Son Gohan looked at it and it looked at Son Gohan too. There was silence for a few seconds and then it lowered its head. Hug, sorry, this wish is beyond my ability. Please change your wish. Son Gohan said, then you just said that any wish is okay. Sorry, I can grant you any wish within my ability. What you just said is beyond my capabilities. Shenlong continued to explain. Looking at Shenlong's lowered brows and eyes, something in Trunks' heart broke. Whereas the majesty of the dragon, although he didn't know what the god of destruction and the angel were. But the fact is that not every wish of Shenlong can be fulfilled. The dragon is bragging. The image collapsed instantly, so what should you wish for? As for what the wish was, Son Gohan and the other two had actually discussed it last night. The first wish, to resurrect the humans killed by the androids. The number of humans killed by androids is countless, numbering in the billions. But this is data accumulated over more than 10 years. The only people the dragon can resurrect are those who have been killed in the last year. This wish was easily fulfilled. Countless humans were resurrected with bewildered looks on their faces. Total number of resurrected people, 5 million. This shows how brutal and bloody no. 17 and no. 18 were. Hundreds of millions of people were massacred in just 1 year. It was so horrifying. All demons have to have numbers 17 and 18 tattooed on their bodies. The second wish, to restore the cities and various facilities on Earth that were destroyed by the androids. This wish was also easily fulfilled. However, since the current population of the Earth is not large, many cities have become deserted cities after recovery. After a few years, weeds grew everywhere and vines grew around the building, making it look like a ghost town. The world will no longer have house slaves, the life warriors who fight against the odds to survive, and this can also be considered a beautiful thing. The third wish, to strengthen the Earth and make it more resilient. The hard work of the Earth is self-evident, and it is always the one that gets hurt in the end. It is necessary to upgrade the ship to a new version. After the strengthening, the mountains are greener, the waters are greener, various resources are more abundant, and even the humans born are more handsome, elegant, and beautiful. The 3 wishes were fulfilled, and the 7 petrified Dragon Balls turned into 7 rays of light and flew to all parts of the world. Some of these Dragon Balls flew into the desert, some fell into the sea, and some fell into the city. Only after a year will these petrified Dragon Balls regain their luster, waiting to be collected again and start a new story. The dragon disappeared and the sky cleared up. Then Son Gohan asked Bulma to help charge the spaceship. After a round trip to Namek, the spacecraft's driving energy was only 50% left. Son Gohan wants to take a trip to the planet Yadrat, so he urgently needs to recharge. With Dr. Jiro's notes and various materials, Bulma had new inspiration. She said confidently that she could charge the spacecraft's driving energy to 100% within a month, and Son Gohan secretly gave her a thumbs up for this. For the next period of time, Son Gohan flew to the Temple of Heaven every day to chat with Dendi, and spent most of the rest of his time practicing hard with Trunks. Half a month passed like this. On this day, after Son Gohan and Trunks finished their daily training, both of them returned to their normal state. After such a long time, the full power state of Son Gohan and Trunks has become infinitely close to perfection, and now they no longer need to maintain the Super Saiyan state all the time. Their current direction is to work hard to cultivate normal basic combat capabilities. It will never be wrong to work hard to train your normal state and improve your normal combat effectiveness. This is the most stable and solid direction. After the training, the two of them made an appointment to go to the swimming pool for a swim. They all soaked in the water in their shorts, enjoying the long-lost tranquility and sense of security. At this moment, the two of them leaned against the edge of the swimming pool, their hands on the shore and their lower bodies soaked in the water. Son Gohan's tail was swaying in the water, sometimes turning into an S shape, sometimes into a B shape, and he tossed around the numbers from 1 to 9, leaving Trunks stunned with an envious look on his face. Trunks said enviously, "Gohan, how can I grow a tail? I should have had a tail before, right?" Son Gohan said, "I heard from your mother that your tail was cut off when you were 6 months old and then it never grew back. If you want to grow it back now, you probably need some external help. Do you really want the tail that much?" Trunks nodded heavily and said, "Of course, how cool." Son Gohan said, "For Saiyans, the tail is a double-edged sword. It has advantages, but it is also our disadvantage. You probably don't know yet, but when a Saiyan with a tail sees a full moon, his eyes will receive the blue light waves emitted by the moon, and he will turn into a giant ape." "Ah, transform into a giant ape." Trunks looked incredulous. It was the first time he heard such knowledge. Will Saiyans transform into giant apes? Son Gohan continued, "Moreover, most Saiyans lose their reason after transforming into giant apes, leaving only the instinct of destruction. Although the combat power will increase 10 times after becoming a giant ape, the trade-off is the loss of sanity, and the disadvantages are very obvious. Not only that, the tail can be said to be the most vulnerable part of a Saiyan. A Saiyan who has not deliberately trained his tail will become weak and completely lose his combat effectiveness once his tail is caught. Son Gohan explained it carefully to Trunks, who frowned after listening. This frightened Trunks. He just thought that Son Gohan had a furry tail that looked cool, but he never thought it would have such a big flaw. What Son Gohan didn't tell Trunks was that Trunks has Vegeta's blood flowing in his body, and he is a half-Earth human, so even after transforming into a giant ape, there is more than a 90% chance that he can remain sane. Another point is that the wish that Son Gohan made to the Namekian dragon was to restore his body to the most perfect state. Then, the tail that had been cut off long ago grew back. From this, we can see that Shenlong judged that Son Gohan with a tail is in the most perfect state. Son Gohan could also clearly feel that his training efficiency had significantly improved since his tail grew out. Not only that, Son Gohan also knows that there will be a transformation in the future that requires a tail. The Saiyans' tails, in a way, are the source of their power. After thinking for a while, Trunks asked again, "Gohan, you just talked about the disadvantages. What about the advantages? What are the advantages? You weren't scared off." Son Gohan gave Trunks an appreciative look and replied, "Of course there are benefits. As for the fact that one will become weak and lose combat effectiveness when caught, this can actually be overcome through training. After training, not only will the tail not lose combat effectiveness when caught, but it will give Saiyans an additional means of attack. Also, a Saiyan with a tail should be able to train faster. You have the blood of the Saiyan royal family flowing in your body, so you should be able to stay conscious after turning into a giant ape. At least in my memory, Uncle Vegeta was rational after turning into a giant ape, and your situation should be the same." After hearing what Son Gohan said, Trunks' expression returned to joy. He said, "For me, the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages, and I will also exercise my tail to make up for this shortcoming. Gohan-san, let me answer your question. I want my tail to grow." Son Gohan nodded and said, "Well, wait a year. After a year, let Shenlong help you restore your tail." After saying that, Son Gohan remembered something. His eyes lit up and he said, "By the way, maybe Dendi can make your tail grow early. Since the old god can help Sun Wukong remove his tail completely, does that mean there is also a way to make the tail grow back? Healing skills, recovery skills, regeneration of broken arms, and using the power of the dragon god to create Dragon Balls. The Namekians know many incredible spells. Dandy might have a solution. The old Kai who knows a simpler and more violent method cannot be relied upon at the moment, so we can only rely on Dend for now. Then let's go find Brother Dendi." Trunks jumped out of the water, hurriedly put on his clothes, and kept urging Son Gohan. "Gohan, hurry up." Son Gohan was helpless. He had no choice but to jump onto the shore, spinning his tail like a fan a few times to shake off the water droplets, then changed his clothes and took Trunks to the Temple of the Gods. After listening to Trunks' request, Dendi nodded and said, "I'll try my best, but I can't guarantee success." "Yeah, thank you, Brother Dendi," Trunks said happily. Dandy said, "It may take a little longer. You'd better stay here for a few days." "I want to study it." Trunks immediately agreed. "Yeah, no problem." Upon hearing that Trunks was going to stay for a few days, Son Gohan said goodbye and left. Before leaving, Trunks asked Son Gohan to help convey the news that he could not return home in the next few days. Son Gohan agreed without hesitation, jumped down from the Temple of the Gods, and fell to the human world like a meteorite. He enjoyed the feeling of free falling, which was a completely different feeling from flying. The whistling wind in his ears and the feeling of weightlessness would make his heart beat faster, and only at this time would he think of things from his past life, remind him that he is a born-again person. When he was not far from the ground, Son Gohan used the flying technique to fly towards the fortune-teller's palace. After arriving at the palace, I found that the fortune-telling grandmother was still not at home, and I didn't know where she had gone. Son Gohan even suspected that the fortune-teller was killed by No. 17 or No. 18. But when I think about the fact that the fortune-telling grandma is a ghost, she should have some special means to save her life. However, he didn't see the fortune-teller both times, which made Son Gohan even more curious. Curious about where the fortune-teller had gone and what had happened that made her leave her palace for so long. You can probably only know these things by meeting a fortune-teller. Afterwards, Son Gohan, who had nothing to do, flew to East Capital, which was closer to the fortune-teller's palace. Dongdu is a prosperous metropolis, as famous as Zidu, where the Universal Capsule Company is located. Both cities are currently the largest cities on Earth. They are also two economic hubs on the Earth. The economy of the former Western capital was more developed than that of the Eastern capital because of the existence of the Universal Capsule Group. But later, the androids attacked the Western capital and it fell and became a ruin. But the androids have never been to Dongdu. So now, whether in terms of economy or population, Dongdu is already the most prosperous city in the Dragon Ball world, without a doubt. Son Gohan descended from the sky and stood on the top of a building hundreds of stories high, witnessing the hustle and bustle of East City. On the streets, vehicles are flowing continuously and the crowds of people are bustling and noisy, giving the impression of a peaceful and tranquil life. This is truly a prosperous world. Son Gohan likes the current world very much. Half an hour ago, another place in Dondu, 6 biker gangs blew up the East City Bank with explosives. Boom, flames shot up into the sky and thick smoke filled the entire street. Ah, help, no, please let me go. I have parents and children to take care of. Bang, bang, bang. The robber pulled the trigger and the bullet flew out, taking away many lives. As people died, the scene became more chaotic. The robber with the submachine gun laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, everyone, we just want to borrow some money. If you insist on stopping us, then we are sorry. Everyone, squat down and put your hands on your head. All the bank staff squatted down and trembled. The robbers were pleased with their performance and took out sacks to fill them with bags of coins and gold bars. But at this time, an old man burst into tears and loudly scolded the robbers. You beasts, you will not have a good death, you beasts, just because his wife had just been killed by the robbers. So he didn't want to live anymore. Hey, one of the robbers grinned and put the submachine gun to the old man's forehead. Old man, do you want to die? Why can't we do what the artificial humans can do? We have been very kind, haven't we? Beasts, you and the artificial humans are all beasts. The old man was not afraid at all. Since you want to die so much, then I will make it happen for you. The robber sneered and was about to pull the trigger to blow the old man's head off. But at this moment, several police cars came roaring and surrounded Dondu Bank. Damn, those annoying flies came so quickly. The robber gave up on shooting the old man and looked at the police outside, frowning. A graceful female policewoman got out of the police car, holding a loudspeaker in her hand and shouting to the robbers in Dondu Bank. Listen, everyone inside. You are surrounded. I am Baidili, the captain of this operation. Release the hostages and I can promise to let you leave here safely. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it. The timer starts now. Baidili is in her 20s, looks heroic, has long black hair, and her brows are full of heroic spirit. She was wearing a uniform, her breasts were majestic, and her long legs looked even longer against the uniform. True uniform temptation. The bank robber swallowed, then they started talking to each other. Damn, why is there such a beautiful policewoman? You don't know her, she's a heroic police officer in Dongdu. There's no case she can't handle. So powerful? Nonsense, why else do you think she can be the captain? I have seen her fight, she is very good at martial arts and can fight very well. This time I was in trouble. I didn't expect that she would lead the team here. What should we do now, brother? What are you afraid of? We have guns and hostages. How can we be afraid of this woman outside? I just don't believe she has several heads and hands. How about we hand over the hostages and let her let us go? Does she keep her word? It is said that one's words are as good as gold and one's words are very important. Okay, then we'll do as she says. We'll hand over the hostages, but we need her to guarantee our safe departure. Okay, the gangster's discussion is over. Then he called on the police. Okay, Officer Baidili, we'll do as you say. We'll release the hostages, but you have to make sure we leave here safely. Let me remind you in advance that we have a large number of guns and ammunition. If you don't keep your promise, we don't mind dying with you. Officer Baidili, what do you say? Biddy said, of course it's no problem. I can promise you that you can release the hostages now. Okay, the robber agreed. Then they carried sacks on their shoulders, took a dozen hostages, and walked out of the bank to the main road. More than a dozen hostages were successfully transferred. The 6 robbers threw the sacks onto the car and drove away. They never expected that they would be let go like this. The robbers' loud laughter could be heard from afar. Ha ha ha, Baidili, you stinky bitch. Sooner or later I will fuck you to death, ha 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 ha. When the police heard this, they became furious. Outrageous, these people actually insulted their captain. A young male police officer angrily asked, Captain, when are we going to chase them? Vidal's eyes flashed coldly and she sneered, HMPH, let them run rampant for a while, how about that? Have you installed the locators and time bombs I asked you to install on their cars? The male policeman nodded and said, of course, here you go. As he spoke, he handed Baidili a tablet computer and a remote control. The tablet computer displayed the real-time locations of the 2 robbers' cars. Vidal stared at the tablet for a while, then he took out a capsule and threw it on the ground, which turned into a jet plane. After a few seconds, she shouted, okay, now chase me. Yes, Captain. Several police cars roared away. Vidal herself chased after them in a jet plane. The 2 robber cars sped along at high speed, speeding all the way on the wide road. One of the robbers held the sack in his arms and said excitedly, brother, where are we going to have fun tonight? We have so much money, enough for us to spend for a long time. Let's talk about it in a few days. Now let's stay out of the spotlight. Oh, okay, I'll listen to you, big brother. Oh, brother, it's bad. The police are chasing us. One of the robbers saw the police car chasing behind him in the rearview mirror of his car. What fuck? One of the robbers pointed to the jet plane hanging in the sky and said, the plane and the sky should be the same. Fuck, it really is. Damn it, that woman Baidili is not trustworthy. She caught up with us. Shoot the plane down for me. Several robbers raised their submachine guns and fired at the police car behind them and the jet in the sky. The submachine gun kept spitting out fire snakes, making a rattling sound. Videl was flying the jet plane, dodging bullets constantly, but was still hit by many stray bullets on the fuselage, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Vidal's expression grew colder and colder. Soon the robber's car ran to an empty section of road. "Heh, accept the punishment, you bastards." Bitterly sneered and pressed the remote control in her hand. Boom, 2 cars speeding on the ground suddenly exploded and coins flew everywhere. The 6 robbers flew out and rolled on the ground like gourds. Each of them suffered varying degrees of injuries, with blood all over their heads. Someone struggled to stand up. "Damn, what's going on?" One of the robbers wiped the blood off his face and said angrily, "Damn it, that damn woman must have tampered with our car, damn it. I have a car here, everyone get in and leave," he said as he took out the capsule. But before he could turn the capsule into a car, several police cars arrived and surrounded them, and Bitterly from the sky also landed. She jumped out of the jet, walked over with her long legs, kicked one of the robbers to the ground, and then stepped on his chest. He sneered, "Were you scolding me just now?" The robber spat out a mouthful of blood. Looking at the pair of long legs in black stockings stepping on his chest, he could no longer feel any desire. He was furious and said, "Damn it, did you promise to let us go? You stinky woman, you don't keep your word." Humph Bidilly put more force on her foot, and the robber had difficulty breathing and almost fainted. "All I heard was Bidilly's sneer, 'Idiot, I promised to let you go, but aren't you already far away from the bank? What's the problem if I catch you again?' 6 robbers. Okay, they just tried to reason with a woman. It's too small. The pattern is too small. Now this woman's words are well-founded. How can I refute her? There's no way to refute that. Come here, handcuff them all." Bidilly waved her hand and ordered. "Yes, Captain." Several policemen came out and handcuffed the 6 biker gang members. After controlling several robbers, they collected the guns and the stolen money. "Take these scum back and let them be judged by the laws of the kingdom. See if they can be sentenced more severely. Shooting them would be the best." Bidilly waved her hand. "Ah, Tilda," the robbers began to struggle. "Damn, this woman actually wanted to sentence them to death? Receive. Be quiet, everyone, and get up." The police under Bidilly responded and forced the 6 robbers into the police car. Several police cars roared away and returned to the Dondu police station. Vidal also got into the jet and took off into the sky. As the plane ascended, Bidilly vaguely saw a person sitting on the edge of the roof of a building hundreds of stories high next to her. A man. Are you dazzled? Bidilly thought so in her mind as she controlled the plane to hover in the air. She raised her hand to rub her eyes, then looked up at the roof again. This time it's confirmed. She was not mistaken. There was indeed a person sitting on the roof of the building, a tall man. He just sat there with his legs dangling over the edge of the building, looking down at the street below. What kind of courage is this? If you fall from there, you will not only be smashed to pieces, but you will also turn into a pile of mush. Is this person crazy? He dared to stand there without any safety measures, seeking death or mentally ill. In short, if you fall from there, you will definitely die. Bidilly felt uneasy and cold just thinking about it. How did he get up there? Probably by plane, right? She couldn't just stand by and watch someone die. While Bidilly was daydreaming, she saw the man on the roof looking at her. Bidilly steered the plane closer. Then he stuck his head out and asked loudly, "What are you doing there? Are you here to see the scenery?" She originally wanted to ask Son Gohan if he was going to commit suicide. But think about it, if you really ask this question and the other person really wants to commit suicide, it will only arouse his emotions and speed up his determination to die. So she swallowed the question that had already been asked and changed it to whether they were here to see the scenery. Son Gohan looked at the beautiful policewoman on the plane and remembered how she had just violently subdued the gangster. Zaran smiled and said, "Well, let's take a look at the scenery. Officer, don't worry about me. Go and do your thing." Vidal looked him up and down. I found that the man in front of me was tall and strong, handsome, with a strong sense of self-confidence, and was very mysterious. His eyes were like 2 whirlpools with an inexplicable attraction that wanted to pull people in. This was the first time in Bidilly's life that she had met such a person. How could a boy like this think of committing suicide? So what he said must be true, right? Did he really just go to the rooftop to see the view? But the sense of responsibility drove Bidilly to say, "How did you get up here? In this world, the androids have been wiped out and things will only get better in the future. This world is huge and there are many places to go. We are still young and there are still many things to do. Can you go inside first?" "It's not safe there." Son Gohan looked at her and couldn't help laughing. "After saying so much, you don't think I want to commit suicide, do you?" "Ha ha ha." Bidilly laughed awkwardly. "Then will you commit suicide?" "No, I said I'm just here to enjoy the scenery," Son Gohan said, retracting his legs that were hanging over the edge of the building and standing up, looking at Son Gohan's actions. Vidal felt goosebumps all over her body, and cold sweat ran down her back. Is he really not afraid of such a height at all? How did he stay so calm? If there is just the slightest mistake, it will be game over. This guy is so calm and courageous, it's really scary. Her legs go weak just thinking about it. "Okay," Vidal continued. "Did you come up here by jet?" Son Gohan shook his head. "Not really, I flew up here by myself." "Ah, fly up." Vidal was stunned for a moment, thinking that Son Gohan was joking with her. "How can humans fly if they don't have wings?" "Perfunctory. Wait for me first." Vidal said, controlling the jet to land on the top of the building, and then walked carefully towards Son Gohan. Son Gohan looked at her helplessly. I thought to myself that this woman was really too stubborn. He said he wasn't going to commit suicide, but she still came close to him. Are all the cells in her body filled with a sense of justice? Such a strong sense of responsibility. Son Gohan admitted that the female policewoman in front of him was quite pretty. That proud figure is very eye-catching, and her face is also beautiful. Among all the women he had seen, only Android 18 and Bulma were slightly better looking. But this woman has a heroic spirit and sense of justice that Bulma and No. 18 do not have. Especially that pair of long legs paired with that uniform, it's a huge plus. She can be said to be a super beauty. Son Gohan admired it very much, but it was just admiration. He was not the kind of person who was obsessed with sex. If he was the kind of animal who thought with his lower body, No. 18's fate would not have been as simple as being shot in the head. It was only after getting close to Son Gohan that Vidal felt the strong impact. She is 165 cm tall and weighs 50 kg. She looks very tall because of her long legs and golden ratio figure. But Son Gohan is 186 cm tall and weighs 90 kg. He has a top model-like figure, muscular body, and looks full of explosive power. Under such a comparison, the two people formed a strong contrast. It's just that Baitili has seen giants who are much taller than Son Gohan. There are humans who are 2 or 3 meters tall in this world. Some humanoids even reach 5 or 6 meters in height. However, this was the first time she had seen someone as tall, handsome, and cool as Son Gohan. This really hit the nail on the head. Then the furry tail behind Son Gohan suddenly popped out. Baidili was stunned for a moment. Then his heart started pounding and both of his eyes turned into hearts. Oh, so cute, I want to touch it. Vidal's mind was racing. Then he blurted out subconsciously, can I touch your tail? After she finished speaking, she realized how rude she was and her face felt hot. What the hell did she just say? I can't believe she said this herself, but I really want to touch the furry tail. Oh my god, isn't this much more comfortable than petting cats and dogs? Which girl can resist such temptation? If it weren't for his sharp ears, Son Gohan would have thought he had misheard and decisively refused. Sorry, this is really not allowed. Vidal blushed. He quickly changed the subject and said something that he thought made sense. In short, just don't think about suicide. Life is still long and we still have a lot of meaningful things to do. There are still many people who worry about you and miss you. The world is infinitely broad and you should go out and see more. Ha ha ha. Son Gohan couldn't help but laugh, looking at the woman in front of him with interest. This woman, how could she be so determined to think that I wanted to commit suicide? I was speechless. However, the other party was also kind-hearted, so he did not feel disgusted and said patiently, you are right, but I still want to make it clear that I am really just here to enjoy the scenery. I have no intention of committing suicide. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Well, when are you going down? Take my jet? Vidal had no intention of giving up on saving Son Gohan. Son Gohan shook his head and said, no, just go. I said I can fly. Biddy was speechless. She felt that Son Gohan was definitely a little mentally unstable. I always thought I could fly. Isn't this a mental illness? Vidal said, okay, you can fly. You flew up here by yourself, so now can I ask you to take my jet plane down? Don't be impulsive. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Baidili, and I'm the captain of the first team of the Dondu Police Department. You can trust me completely. I will never harm you, she said as she moved closer to Son Gohan again. He looked as if he was ready to subdue Son Gohan by force. The soft approach doesn't work. Are you ready for hard approach? Son Gohan rolled his eyes. I thought that if I didn't show off my skills today, I would not be able to get through this hurdle. Okay, Son Gohan said as white flames emerged from his body and he flew into the air. Wait, what was your name? Son Gohan was floating in the air, staring in amazement at the beautiful policewoman who was also in amazement. Is there any mistake? Is she Baidili? By Vidal. Vidal looked up at Son Gohan in a daze. Son Gohan stared at the woman below in amazement. He didn't expect that Baidili in this timeline would become a police officer. The contrast is too strong. Same name? Hardly. After I knew her name. That face looked more and more familiar. Who else could it be but that Baidili? The official pairing of twin ponytails is officially online. Son Gohan fell into a brief silence. He stood high in the air and stared at Vidal for a while without saying a word. No one knew what he was thinking, and Vidal was shocked that Son Gohan could actually fly. How can humans fly? Before this, if someone told her that humans without wings could fly, she would definitely sneer and laugh. But now the facts are right in front of her, constantly impacting her worldview. You're doing magic, right? Baidili still couldn't believe it. No, this is called air dance. Son Gohan flew around the rooftop and then landed again and said, air dance, what is that? Baidili didn't understand. It's a kind of martial arts. Son Gohan said, martial arts? How is there such a martial art? Impossible, Vidal retorted. She is a martial artist herself and has great attainments in martial arts. Otherwise, she would not have been able to take the position of captain of the first team of the Dondu Police Department. Her father, Mr. Satan, was the champion of the world's #1 martial arts tournament a long time ago. In her opinion, she knows martial arts. There's absolutely no martial art that can allow flying. Son Gohan said, haha. Don't use your knowledge to understand this world. As you said, this world is very big and the earth is just a drop in the ocean. What's the point of a martial art that can fly? It's just a way to use Kai. Listening to Son Gohan's words, Videl remained silent, just as Son Gohan said, this world is so vast and has so many magical and inexplicable things, not to mention far away. The artificial humans that have wreaked havoc on Earth for more than a decade are one of the technological creations that she cannot understand. They are just two insignificant technical people. How can they possess such destructive power? She had seen reports about artificial humans on TV. Those two androids can emit energy waves from their hands like rocket launchers. Such energy waves can flatten a large city in an instant. It is very terrifying. When she thought of the androids, Videl felt a strong sadness in her heart. A few years ago, her father, Mr. Satan, the champion of the World Martial Arts Tournament, did not believe that the androids were really that powerful. I always thought it was magic, a trick to deceive humans. Therefore, it was decided to teach those two androids a lesson. The result can be imagined. Mr. Satan never returned and was reduced to dust by the androids. It's too awful. Looking at Videl, who was silenced by him, Son Gohan said, "Okay, you should get busy too. I'm leaving now." Videl came back to her senses after hearing what Son Gohan said. Wait a moment," she said hurriedly. "What's wrong?" Son Gohan asked confusedly. Videl hesitated and said, "Can you teach me how to fly? I want to learn this." Thinking of how she had just decided that he was going to commit suicide and stop the plane to persuade him, Son Gohan nodded and said, "Okay, come to the West Capital Universal Capsule Company to find me at this time tomorrow. It's just a flying technique, not some secret that can't be passed down, and it can be done with little effort." Son Gohan said as he flew up. "What's your name?" bitterly shouted. "Gohan?" Son Gohan's voice came from afar, and his figure turned into a meteor and pierced into the distance. How fast! Videl stared at the direction where Son Gohan disappeared and couldn't recover for a long time. What she saw and heard today was so bizarre that it completely overturned her 21-year worldview, and this man named Son Gohan actually agreed to teach her the so-called flying technique. Happy, so happy. Baidili couldn't help but look forward to it. Thinking that she would be able to learn Fei Tian's martial arts tomorrow, she couldn't calm down. Then Videl carefully walked to the edge of the building, stretched her neck and looked down. Hiss, that's so scary. Baidili just felt dizzy and her legs weak. She stepped back, returned to the jet with a look of fear, rested for a while and then flew away. The other side. The energy was gushing out of Son Gohan's body, and his speed was so fast that it created a sonic boom, and he quickly passed through the clouds. Soon he arrived above Bayazi Mountain and then landed. Son Gohan pushed open the door and walked into the familiar house. Looking at everything familiar around him, he sighed helplessly, a hint of sadness flashing in his eyes. This place is so familiar. This house housed almost his entire childhood. Dad, Mom, Grandpa Bull, Demon King. Everything seems like a memory from long ago, but it also seems like it happened yesterday. Sometimes it even feels like they are still around and have never left. That feeling is hard to describe and explain, but it is so precious. Son Gohan sat on the sofa for a long time, then pushed the door open and went out. He walked along the mountain road for more than 100 meters up Bayazi Mountain and stood in front of two graves. These two graves are the graves of Kiki and Bull Demon King. Son Gohan took out a capsule, pressed it, and threw it on the ground. Then 2 handfuls of white chrysanthemums appeared out of thin air on the ground, along with some fruits and some sacrificial offerings. Son Gohan carefully placed these things in front of the grave, then sat down on the open space in front of the grave. "Mom, Grandpa, I'm here to see you. I'm fine now, you don't have to worry about me. I have killed the android, which can be regarded as revenge for you." Son Gohan sat there, talking to himself for a long time. New Moang and Kiki died during the days when he was in a coma after his arm was broken. The time of death was just over a year, so the dragon was unable to resurrect them both this time. I don't know whether the two of them are in the underworld now or have been reincarnated. Son Gohan thought about taking some time to go to the underworld and ask King Yama. It would be even better if there was a way to revive him. After sitting in front of the grave for a while, Son Gohan stood up and flew back to the Universal Capsule Company. He told Bulma that Trunks had not been back for a few days. Bulma nodded, said nothing, and buried her head in her research. The next day, a jet plane descended from the sky and landed in front of the Universal Capsule Company. Videl jumped off the plane, turned the plane into a capsule and put it in her pocket, then looked around and took in the surrounding environment. It was obvious that Baidili had dressed up deliberately today. Her black hair was tied into 2 ponytails, hanging naturally along her shoulders, and her face was lightly made up. Today, she was not wearing a police uniform. She was wearing a white tight shirt on the upper body and slim jeans on the lower body. The white shirt tucked into jeans highlights her proud figure and long legs. She was wearing a pair of small white shoes. It's a casual style. The Universal Capsule Company is famous all over the world, and there is almost no one on Earth who does not know its name. Although after the incident of the androids, the Universal Capsule Company suffered heavy losses and no longer has its former glory. Now there are not even many employees left, but even so, who among the surviving humans today doesn't have a few capsules on their body? You can say that the Universal Capsule Company has declined and is no longer as glorious as it once was. But you cannot deny the Universal Capsule Company's influence and contribution to the world. The Universal Capsule Company is unique on Earth and is an absolute T0 level enterprise. No matter who comes, no one can shake its position on the Earth. Vidal looked at the Universal Capsule Corporation and wondered what the relationship between Son Gohan and the Universal Capsule Corporation was. Just when she was worrying about how to find Son Gohan, Bulma also stopped at the door of the Universal Capsule Group on a motorcycle. Isn't that Miss Bulma from the Magnum Capsule Group? When Vidal saw Bulma, she recognized her immediately. Baidili's internet connection was not disconnected. Of course, she knew about celebrities like Bulma. Although Bulma is already in her 40s, she has maintained herself well and looks like a 30-year-old sister. Vidal took a deep breath and walked towards Bulma. He greeted, "Hello, Miss Bulma." "Ah, hello." Bulma looked at Vidal carefully, and after making sure she didn't know her, she continued, "What's the matter?" Vidal answered truthfully, "It's like this, Son Gohan asked me to come here to find him." "Excuse me, does Son Gohan live here?" "Gohan?" Bulma's eyes lit up, and she looked at Vidal carefully again, and the expression on her face gradually became more colorful. Here, you are Gohan's girlfriend, right? I didn't expect this guy to be so well hidden. Come inside quickly." Bulma walked over enthusiastically, held Vidal's arm, and pulled Vidal into the house. Vidal staggered into the house as Bulma brought her in. She kept explaining, Ms. Bulma, I think you misunderstood. I'm not Gohan's girlfriend. It's just that Gohan promised to teach me martial arts, so I came here to find him." "I understand. I understand everything. Don't call me Miss Bulma anymore. Gohan calls me Auntie. You can do as Gohan does." Bulma chuckled and stuffed Vidal into the sofa. "Wait a moment, I'll go call Gohan. This kid should be practicing martial arts in the gravity room." Bulma said, Okay. Vidal was confused by her enthusiasm. It seems that Miss Bulma is not as cold as the legend says. Not only is he not aloof, he is also very enthusiastic. It doesn't match the rumors at all. Under Vidal's gaze, Bulma hurried away but came back after more than a minute. She sat down next to Vidal and said, "Gohan was indeed training just now. I told him you were here. He's taking a shower now. He should be ready in a little while." Vidal placed her hands on her legs and sat up straight. Facing the president of the legendary Universal Capsule Company, she couldn't help but feel a little nervous. After all, for an ordinary Earthling, Bulma's halo is too big. "Honest JPG, okay, I'll wait here." Baidili said. Bulma said, "You don't have to be too nervous. I'm not that kind of strict parent. Let's just chat casually and just treat me as a friend." "Yes, Miss Bulma." Vidal agreed, but she was still very restrained. "Hey, look, I told you to follow Gohan and call her Auntie. Why are you still calling me like that?" Bulma said dissatisfiedly. "Oh yes, all right, Aunt Bulma." "Well, that's right. Come eat some fruit first." "Thank you." The two started chatting on the sofa. Bulma began to praise Gohan. "I have watched Gohan grow up. His family and I are old friends, and we have a very good relationship. Gohan has been very smart since he was young. He learns things very quickly. He is an excellent boy. It is no problem to say that he is the best on Earth." Baidili's head was buzzing, and she felt very uncomfortable. Bulma continued, "By the way, I haven't asked you your name yet. What's your name?" Baidili stood up suddenly, her body straight, and she was almost giving a military salute. "My name is Baidili. I'm from Dongdu, and I currently work at the Dongdu Police Department. I was born in 757 AI, and I've never been in a relationship. Please give me some advice, Auntie." Bulma was stunned by Vidal's actions. Look how nervous the child is. He was stunned for 2 seconds. Bulma then said, sit down quickly, don't talk while standing." Baidili had no choice but to sit back down. "I didn't realize you were a police officer. Being a police officer is great, not bad. You were born in 757 Iki. What a coincidence. Gohan was also born in 757 Iki." Vidal didn't expect that Son Gohan was the same age as her. She was surprised and said, "Really? That's too coincidental. Hey, so you should communicate more young people so that you can enhance your relationship." Just then, Son Gohan, dressed in casual clothes, walked in from outside. "Vidal, let's go." He clenched his right fist and pointed his thumb toward the door. "Oh, okay." He stood up quickly. She said to Bulma, "Aunt Bulma, I'm going to go out first. We can talk next time when we have time." "Well, okay, you young people go on a date." Bulma responded and turned to Son Gohan and said, "Gohan, don't bully me." "I know," Son Gohan said helplessly. Vidal followed Son Gohan with a slightly blushing face. The two came to the back garden of the Universal Capsule Group. "Let's go here." Son Gohan pointed to a green lawn. "Yeah, okay." Biddy nodded. The two stepped onto the lawn. "Sit down cross-legged." Son Gohan pointed to the seat opposite him. Today, Baidili was wearing jeans, so she had no problem sitting cross-legged. Vidal nodded and obediently sat down opposite Son Gohan, looking well-behaved. She looked at Son Gohan's face carefully and asked curiously, "Son Gohan, are you really born in 757 Aegis?" "Yeah, that's right. Is there any problem?" Son Gohan asked. No, Aunt Bulma said you were born in the year 757, so I was a little curious, because I was also born in the year 757. I was born on May 5th. When is your birthday? Son Wufan, can't you tell me? Videl asked. Son Gohan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You weren't like this in front of Aunt Bulma just now, were you? Aren't you afraid of me? Videl smiled and said, because she is the elder and you and I are the same age, so naturally there is no sense of restraint. So when is your birthday? May 5th, Son Gohan said helplessly. Ah, really? Baidili's eyes widened. Why would I lie to you? Said Son Gohan. You are only 1 day older than me. What a coincidence. Baidili said happily, smiling like a flower. Why did you come to see me today? Son Gohan asked deliberately with a frown. Well, I'm here to learn the art of flying from you. We agreed on that yesterday. Bidili said. Son Gohan asked, so what are you doing now? Videl flattened her lips and said, gossip. Okay, I was wrong. I won't ask anymore. Please teach me the air dance technique, Gohan-kun. Well, then don't talk for now, Son Gohan said lightly. Bidili, this is not the first time that Son Gohan has been a teacher. He has been teaching Trunks for more than 10 years and can be said to be very experienced. He sorted out his thoughts and said, to learn the art of flying, you must first learn how to use your own energy. As long as you learn how to control the energy in your body, you will naturally be able to learn the art of flying. Kai, what is that? Will I be unable to learn the flying dance technique without Kai? Bidili asked nervously. Don't worry, everyone has Kai in their body, they just don't know how to use it. The so-called Kai is a kind of energy hidden in our body. It's difficult for ordinary people to develop Kai, but it's much easier for us martial artists. We can easily sense Kai, control Kai, and then use Kai. I know you have learned martial arts, so it is not difficult to master the aura. Son Gohan talked eloquently and told Videl a lot of knowledge that she didn't quite understand. Baidili was like listening to a foreign language. Watch this, Son Gohan said, stretching out his right hand and raising it in front of him, palm facing the sky and clasping it in the air. Videl stared at his hand intently. At this time, a cyclone rose from the palm of Son Gohan's hand, flashing cold light, and a round energy ball formed in his palm. What is this? Baidili's eyes almost popped out. Son Gohan said, this is Kai. As he spoke, Son Gohan raised his hand and the energy bomb flew out and hit a huge rock in the distance. With a loud bang, the huge rock was instantly blown into powder. The strong wind blew up Baidili's long hair. I really have this thing in my body. Baidili was so numb. Of course there is, but the Kai in your body is only weak. Remember, Kai can be made stronger through practice, Son Gohan explained. It looks similar to the methods used by the androids. Videl said. Son Gohan said, artificial humans are creations of technology, and Kai is the energy that each of us has in our bodies. Although they have different paths to the same goal, they cannot be confused. If we want to learn how to use Kai, the first step is to sense the Kai in our body and then guide it out. What should I do? Asked Videl. Son Gohan looked at her, explained carefully, and demonstrated it. First, relax, calm your mind, focus your mind, and imagine guiding the energy into the palm of your hand like this. Son Gohan said this, holding his hands in front of him in a virtual hug. Slowly guide out a breath. Suddenly, a cyclone formed between his palms, and it quickly transformed into a fluorescent energy ball. It's so magical. Videl sighed in her heart, then closed her eyes, clasped her hands together like Son Gohan, and began to sense the breath. Son Gohan observed her movements and gave instructions. You need to be calm, focused, and free yourself from stress. After hearing what Son Gohan said, Videl's frown gradually relaxed. It can be seen that Baidili has a very good foundation in martial arts, and she quickly got into the state. But it is not so easy to sense the breath. Seeing Videl in a state of meditation, Son Gohan started boxing beside her. This set of boxing techniques combines both hardness and softness, is natural and coherent, and is the perfect way to achieve great results with just a little effort. It is exactly the Tai Chi that one learned in the previous life. It is of course impossible for Tai Chi to produce earth-shattering effects, but if you practice it in your spare time, you will feel relaxed all over and have a long-lasting aftertaste. 2 hours passed quickly. Videl slowly opened her eyes. She looked at Son Gohan, who was sitting next to her, and said, it's so difficult. I haven't sensed my own Kai yet. Son Gohan said, don't be too anxious. Everything is difficult at the beginning. As long as you persist, you will definitely succeed. Well, I hope so, but that's all we can do for today. I have to get back to the police station to deal with some things. Baidili said, yeah, okay. Son Gohan nodded. Baidili then said, can I still come tomorrow? Son Gohan said, okay. Excuse me, Gohan-kun. Videl stood up and bowed to Son Gohan. Son Gohan accepted it calmly. The grace of teaching is like a rebirth, so what does this bow mean to me? Just then, Baidili's phone rang. Baidili answered the call. Hey, what? Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'll go back now. After Baidili answered the phone, her expression became anxious and her brows furrowed deeply. Son Gohan noticed her uneasiness and asked, what's wrong? Baidili said, just now, a violent case occurred in Dondu. The bandits have slaughtered dozens of people, and the death toll is still increasing. My team members have already rushed to the front line. At the speed of a jet plane, it would take me at least an hour to get back. It's too long. I don't know how many more people died because of this. I have to go back immediately. Vidal said, took out the capsule and threw it on the ground, and with a boom, it turned into her jet plane. Oh, Son Gohan frowned and looked towards the direction of Dongdu. Then he said, "Excuse me, this is probably not a case you can handle." From the direction of Dongdu, countless powerful auras came from there. The aura was so powerful that Baidili could not match it at all. This kind of energy, is he an alien? In short, there can't be such a strong person on Earth, so he can only be a visitor from the universe. He just didn't know when these aliens appeared, and he didn't even notice them. After all, it is impossible for Son Gohan to sense the entire Earth with his breath 24 hours a day. Vidal looked at him in surprise and asked, "Why do you say I can't handle it?" Son Gohan said, "Because I can sense the aura of those gangsters. They are not something you can deal with. You can sense the criminals from such a distance." Baidili was amazed. "Well, you'll understand when you learn to use Kai," said Son Gohan. But he thought for a while and said firmly, "I have to go back no matter what. All my teammates are on the front line. How can I hide behind? How can I face everyone in the future? Gohan-kun, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I have to go." Watching Vidal hurriedly climb onto the plane, Son Gohan sighed and said, "The plane is too slow. Come down. I'll take you there." It is impossible to rely on the power of the Earth to deal with these aliens, so Son Gohan decides to take action. The current peace was something he had fought hard to gain from the androids, and he would never allow anyone to destroy it again. Bidali was about to close the plane door when she was stunned for a moment and asked, "You mean you are faster than a jet plane?" Son Gohan nodded and said, "Well, hurry up a bit." "Oh, that's great." He immediately ran off the plane, turned the plane into a capsule again and put it away. She ran to Son Gohan and asked anxiously, "What should we do now?" Son Gohan squatted down in front of her and said, "Come up quickly." "Ah, carry me." Baidili's face turned red with shame. Although she was a little shy, this was not the time to worry about such trivial matters. She jumped onto Son Gohan's back, put her arms around his neck, and wrapped her legs around his waist. Son Gohan felt the warm and soft person coming close to him all of a sudden, and without thinking much, he said, "Hold on tight." "Yes, I've got a firm grip on it," Vidal replied. Then Son Gohan held Vidal's two long legs with his hands, and a silver wave of energy burst out from his body. Immediately afterwards, the two figures soared into the sky and turned into a meteor rushing towards the direction of Dongdu. Tilda Baidili was so frightened that her courage was about to burst. Is this just a little bit faster than a jet? This has produced a sonic boom, and it has already exceeded the speed of sound. Horrible, so terrible. In the past, Baidili would never have believed that human beings could do such a thing. Flying speed is as fast as lightning. Fortunately, the aura of Son Gohan enveloped her, forming a protective shield. Otherwise, with Vidal's ordinary body, the strong wind like a knife could have cut her all over. Listening to the whistling wind and the sonic booms in her ears, Baidili's little heart was greatly shocked. Being so nervous, she had long forgotten about being shy and pressed her whole body tightly behind Son Gohan, wishing that the two of them could become one. At the same time, she kept guessing about Son Gohan's identity, wondering what kind of person he was, and her curiosity about Son Gohan reached its peak. At lightning speed, the two soon arrived at the eastern capital. Suddenly stopping, Son Gohan stood high in the sky with Vidal on his back, overlooking the city. At this moment, several aliens wearing strange combat uniforms were absorbing and exhaling energy in their palms, ruthlessly killing Earthlings one after another. In the city, thick smoke was everywhere, police cars were shuttling around, and police officers were everywhere directing people to evacuate. At this time, boom, another explosion sounded. Thick smoke and heat waves erupted, a building disintegrated directly in the explosion, and countless people on Earth died. Son Gohan looked down at the ground and said to Vidal, "See, this is not a battle you can participate in at all." Baidili looked at the tragic scene on the street and her face turned pale, but she was also very angry. She gritted her teeth and said, "Where on earth did these thugs come from? Their methods are exactly the same as those of the previous artificial humans. These bastards are really unforgivable." Son Gohan squinted his eyes and looked at those aliens and said, "They are not from Earth, they should be aliens." "You aliens, Baidili said in surprise. "Yeah, that's right." Son Gohan nodded, then raised his hand and pointed. A beam of energy burst out from his fingertips and shot towards an alien on the ground who was about to cause another big explosion. The alien was laughing when he was hit head-on by an energy ray and turned into powder with a bang. Son Gohan pointed a few more fingers and several more aliens exploded, turning into ashes in an instant. Baidili watched all this in amazement, her heart also breaking. It didn't feel real at all. "I didn't know you were so powerful," Baidili said in shock. She then remembered something and continued, "You were also the one who killed those two artificial demons, right?" She should have thought of it earlier. The news of the android's destruction was revealed to the kingdom by the Universal Capsule Company. Son Gohan lives in the Universal Capsule Company. Moreover, his identity is very mysterious and he possesses the ability to fly. All signs point to Son Gohan. Who else could he be? Son Gohan did not deny it and said directly, "It's me." Then he said, "Find a place to hide first. I'm going to deal with the remaining aliens now." Son Gohan said as he sent Videl to a safer place nearby to hide her, then turned back to the battlefield and beat up those space bandits one by one with his punch. He put his finger on the forehead of the last cosmic man, with a cold light flashing between his fingers, and asked coldly, "Tell me, where are you from?" The alien turned pale and peed his pants with fear. In his opinion, Son Gohan is really terrible. All of his companions were killed by Son Gohan with just one punch without any fancy moves at all. The move was clean and neat. How to compete with such a person? He stuttered, his mind went blank, and he didn't know how to answer Son Gohan's words. "Tell me, if the answer satisfies me, maybe I can let you go." Son Gohan said, I'll say." The alien's legs were shaking, his urine soaked his crotch, and a foul smell came out. Son Gohan pinched his nose helplessly and listened to his story and begging for mercy in agony. According to him, he belongs to Bajak Corps, is the vanguard of Bajak Corps, and is a scout responsible for searching and exploring planets with life. After they arrived on Earth a few days ago, they began collecting information about the Earth. At the beginning, they discovered that the Earth was a low-level planet, and the humans living on it were weaklings with a combat power of only 5. This type of planet is generally short of resources and not worth exploring. But yesterday, they learned about Dragon Ball from someone on Earth. The Dragon Balls that can fulfill any wish undoubtedly have a huge appeal to aliens. This is the most tempting treasure. As a result, the valuation of the Earth has been infinitely raised. The vanguard troops reported all matters related to Dragon Ball as soon as possible. Their leader Bajak responded by asking them to do everything they can to collect the Dragon Balls. Those who collect all the Dragon Balls will be rewarded greatly. The vanguard troops who received the order began to interrogate the people on Earth about the Dragon Balls. But people on Earth don't know much, not to mention the methods of collecting Dragon Balls. Unable to get the answers they wanted, the aliens began an inhumane massacre. They tried to use this method to force the people on Earth to tell them where the Dragon Balls are. The result can be imagined. Sun Wufan, there is a word MMP that I don't know whether I should say or not. It is true that Dragon Ball is both the cause of his success and his failure. I don't know which Earthling was so talkative and talked about Dragon Ball. Maybe I should make a wish in the future to downplay the presence of Dragon Ball. But who exactly is this Bojack? Son Gohan searched his brain but could not remember any such character in the Dragon Ball world. But he also understands. Because from the moment he was reborn, the wheel of history has deviated and headed towards a completely new track. Son Gohan stared at the alien in front of him and said coldly, "How strong is Bojack, and when will he arrive on Earth?" Speaking of Bojack, the alien's eyes lit up and he thought of a hope for survival. He said, "King Bajak is very powerful. You can never be his opponent. How about this? The two of us join forces and maybe we can have a chance of winning. How about it? Think about it. This may be the only way." Son Gohan said, "I asked you when he will arrive." The alien said, "At the speed of the King's spacecraft, it will reach Earth in about 10 hours. We don't have much time left. You have to think carefully. Our cooperation is our only chance. We really don't have much time." Repeat the sentence. "Oh, really?" Son Gohan laughed. "What you said does make sense. I'll listen to you and let's work together." "I was not mistaken. You are indeed a smart man." The alien also laughed. "It seems my life has been saved." "Really? Heh." Son Gohan laughed, and the energy from his fingertips suddenly exploded, smashing the alien's head in one fell swoop. The alien never figured out until his death why Son Gohan, who was talking fine just a second ago, suddenly changed his attitude and attacked. Son Gohan kicked the alien's body away, then slapped him with his palm, turning him into a bloody mist. The clever alien turned into ashes and disappeared into the air. Are you stupid, or am I stupid? In the Dragon Ball world, you also tell such a joke that the combined wealth of Jack Ma and I can leverage the Asian economy. Son Gohan complained, then flew up and came to where Videl was hiding and found Videl. Videl looked at Son Gohan in surprise and asked, "Is it done?" The speed was too fast. She could only hear the sound of explosions. Son Gohan nodded and said, "Well, it's safe for now." "Temporarily safe? What does this mean?" By Delhi was puzzled. "Hadn't all the aliens been dealt with?" Son Gohan said, "I won't hide it from you because tomorrow there will be more terrifying aliens coming to Earth." "Oh, really? What should we do then?" Bidali became nervous again. Son Gohan said, "My companions and I will take action tomorrow. If we win, everything will be safe. If we lose, the Earth will return to the time when it was dominated by androids. Well, it may be even worse." Baidili's whole face turned pale. She said, "Is there any other way? Even if we use all the military power of the kingdom, we still can't defeat tomorrow's enemy." Son Gohan said, "I can't deal with it. Let me tell you this, if I want to destroy the Earth, I only need one energy wave. The power of the Earthlings is too small. Even the strongest nuclear attack recognized by the kingdom is like scraping in the eyes of people like us. It has no effect at all. With careful precautions, even a nuclear bomb would not be able to hurt me at all." Son Gohan's words shocked Videl to the point of being speechless. It was the first time she knew that human power could reach this level. It was also the first time that I realized that the Son Gohan in front of me was so terrifying. From what Son Gohan said, it's unknown how dangerous tomorrow's enemies will be. But one thing is for sure, they can easily destroy the entire Earth. How to resolve such a crisis? Is it true that we can only rely on Son Gohan? Can the people on Earth just sit and wait for death? Vidal's mind was in a mess. She just stood there in a daze, not knowing what to say for a moment. As Son Gohan said, the power of the kingdom is too small. It is impossible to influence the outcome of the battle. The more than 10 years of chaos caused by artificial humans are the best proof of this. Under absolute power, the power of the kingdom is like the light of a firefly. Humble, weak, and helpless. Looking at her, Son Gohan said, "Okay, I should go too." By Son Gohan, Vidal suddenly called out his name. "What's wrong?" Son Gohan, who was about to soar into the sky, turned around. Vidal said, "Be careful tomorrow. I want to learn the flying technique from you." "Okay." Son Gohan nodded, soared into the sky, and flew towards the Temple of Heaven. He wanted to see how Trunks was progressing and also to find King Kai of the North to ask who Bajak was. It is always better to understand your opponent's situation than to be in the dark. At this moment, King Kai's voice rang out in Son Gohan's mind. "Gohan, Son Gohan, are you listening? I am King Kai of the North." Son Gohan was a little surprised. King Kai actually contacted him on his own initiative. This is simply magical. The android's misfortune lasted for more than 10 years, but the King of the North Kai never looked for him. "What is the situation now?" Son Gohan stopped, stood on the cloud, and responded, "King Kai, I am here." King Kai's voice sounded again. "It's like this, Son Gohan. I'll make it short. There is a scary guy approaching the Earth right now. It's expected to arrive tomorrow. You have to be prepared to fight." Son Gohan was a little surprised. Before he even asked, King Kai of the North took the initiative to talk about this matter. It seems that there is something very problematic about Bojack's identity. It is definitely not a small role like a cat or a dog. Otherwise, King Kai wouldn't be so nervous. Son Gohan said, "If Lord Kai is talking about Bojack, I have already faced his vanguard troops." King Kai was surprised for a moment. "It's Bojack, I didn't expect you already knew." Son Gohan said, "I have wiped out all his vanguard troops." "Lord Kai, I want to ask what the origins of this Bojack are." King Kai was silent for a moment, lost in memory, and then continued. "Speaking of Bojack, this is a name from a long time ago. About 1,000 years ago, a huge evil force appeared in the Milky Way. This force did all kinds of evil, and their goal was to destroy the 4 galaxies. At the time, the evil forces led by Bojack were extremely powerful and invincible. Wherever they passed, countless living planets were turned into dead stars. Almost no one in the 4 galaxies could match them. The Milky Way is facing a great disaster and is in imminent danger. Later, the great King Kai taught us 4 King Kai a way to seal it. We, the 4 kings of the 4 galaxies, have joined forces to finally seal Bojack at the end of the universe. Peace has finally been restored in the 4 galaxies. More than 1,000 years have passed, but not long ago, the South King was killed by an ambitious guy. Once King Nankai died, the seal we had put together could no longer be maintained. Bojack broke the seal and wreaked havoc on the galaxy once again. The great king of South Kai was killed. This is really shocking." Son Gohan tried hard not to complain and continued to ask, "I didn't expect it to be an antique from 1,000 years ago. What is his strength? How does he compare to the androids?" King Kai thought for a moment and responded, "His strength far exceeds that of the androids, otherwise he wouldn't have wreaked havoc on the galaxy for so many years." Son Gohan said, "Then I have one question. If Bojack is so strong, how did you 4 King Kai seal him?" What this means is that Son Gohan thinks that the fighting power of the 4 King Kais is weak and they cannot seal such a strong man at all. King Kai of the North is a very wise man who has lived for countless years. How could he not understand the meaning of Son Gohan's words? He coughed, forcing himself to hide his embarrassment, and said, "It's mainly about the method of sealing. Unfortunately, now that King South Kai is dead, we can no longer set up the seal we did back then. The galaxy is going to be in chaos again, alas." Sun Wufan. More than 1,000 years have passed, but King Kai of the North still remembers it clearly and is still a little scared when he mentions Bojack's name. It can be seen how much psychological trauma Bojack brought to King Kai back then. Son Gohan asked, "Lord Kai, do you have anything else to say?" The North King said, "No, it's gone." Son Gohan asked again, "Lord Kai, who killed South Kai?" The North King said, "I don't know, I haven't found out yet. It's such a sin that we still don't know who's behind this. What the hell are the King Kais doing?" Son Gohan said, "Okay, are my father and the others here now? I want to talk to them." "Not here either." King Kai shook his head. "Not here." "Where did you go this time?" Son Gohan was very curious. The last time he contacted King Kai of the North, Goku and others went to the great King Kai's planet to participate in a martial arts tournament. "So where did you go this time? Why is he never in North Kaio planet? I always feel busy." Bekai Wangdao, there was a riot in the underworld. Wukong and the others went to the underworld to provide support. Son Gohan was stunned. A riot broke out in the underworlds. "What the hell is this?" he asked. "What's going on? Is there a riot in the underworld?" King Kai of the North replied, "It is like this. Originally, the 18 layers of hell were divided between Frieza and Vegeta. Over the years, they have lived in peace and tranquility. There has not been any large-scale war for a long time. but ever since androids 17 and 18 were thrown into the 18th level of hell, the delicate balance of hell has been disrupted. The three forces are unwilling to submit to each other and are fighting fiercely. The entire underworld is in chaos right now. Half a month ago, King Yama asked for help and Wukong and his companions went there and have not returned since then. Son Gohan felt a headache after hearing this. These people are very energetic. They kept fighting when they were human beings and they kept fighting when they were ghosts. The never-ending battle is impossible not to admire. Son Gohan only now knows that after Vegeta died, he was thrown into the 18th level of hell instead of living with Son Goku and the others. But think about it, this makes sense. Vegeta in this timeline has killed countless people and has not made any substantial contribution to the Earth, so it is normal for King Yama to send him to hell. Go ahead and fight as much as you want. Son Gohan cut off the connection with King Kai of the North and flew to the Temple of Heaven. In the Temple of Heaven, Dendi was casting one spell after another on Trunks, making Trunks' face red. Son Gohan was stunned, so what Dendi called a method was to use this magic on Trunks like crazy. I don't know whether it is recovery or treatment. Good guy. Trunks was so happy that he looked like he had just had a good health check. Seeing Son Gohan coming, Dendi stopped casting magic. He wiped the sweat from his forehead, smiled and greeted Gohan. Trunks also perked up and said, "Gohan, why are you here? I feel full of strength now." Son Gohan laughed. "Haha, I overdid it, didn't I? How's it going? Is there any movement in the tail?" Trunks said, "My butt is a little itchy." "That means it's still somewhat effective." Son Gohan said with a smile. At this time, Mr. Bobo, who had been standing at the edge of the Temple of Heaven Square, walked over. Mr. Popo asked as soon as he opened his mouth, "Mr. Gohan, what happened on Earth?" Bobo saw aliens wreaking havoc in Dondu from the Temple of Heaven, but he didn't know exactly what happened. Son Gohan frowned and started talking seriously about Bojack. After hearing this, Popo, Dendi, and Trunks' expressions became serious. Dendi said, "Gohan, what are you going to do?" Son Gohan sneered and said, "We will fight back against them. We will make sure they never return. When they get close to the Earth, I will give them gifts." Trunks said excitedly, "Brother Gohan, you have a good idea, right?" Son Gohan chuckled and said, "When their spaceship approaches the Earth, I plan to take the initiative to attack and reward them with a few energy waves. It would be best if I could destroy their spaceship and the people together. Why should we wait until they successfully land before officially starting the battle? Hee. Brother Gohan, you are so insidious." Trunks laughed. "No, this is called tactics." Son Gohan said with a smile, "Ha ha ha, if we destroy their spaceship, they won't feel good even if they don't die. Then the two of us will rush over and catch them off guard." Trunks said, "Yes, we need to let them know that our Earth is not so easy to bully." Mr. Popo and Dendi also felt that Son Gohan had no martial arts spirit at all, but they very much approved of this approach. Others are coming to invade your planet, so why bother talking to them about martial arts spirit? The next day, a giant spaceship slowly approaches the Earth. On the spaceship, 4 men and 1 woman were having a heated discussion in front of a huge screen. The 5 of them all looked excited as they discussed matters related to Dragon Ball. They are none other than the galactic gangster Bojack and his 4 right-hand men. Bojack, Zanya, Gagoa, Butchin, and Bidu. All 5 of them come from a life-bearing planet called Hira. Orange hair and aqua-blue skin are their trademark. Among the 5, Bojack and Bidu are the tallest. He is over 150 meters tall, with bulging muscles all over his body, and his weight must be over kg. Gage was a little smaller than the other 2, but also 2 meters tall. He wore a purple turban on his head and carried a big sword behind him. He was a master of swordsmanship and also the most handsome of the 4 men. Bojack's most trusted confidant is Zanya, the only woman on the team. Zanya has a slim and graceful figure with amazing chest curves and bottomless cleavage. Her big wavy orange hair is gorgeous, and she has beautiful eyes that are captivating. She's just the right height of 170 cm, and her aqua-blue skin adds an exotic beauty. Although she is also very tall, she looks like a petite girl, like a loli, when standing next to the other 3 grown men. The shortest person in the team is Butchin. Although Butchin is a man, he is short, only about 1.5 meters tall. He is weak, but he has amazing magic. Each of these 5 men is extremely powerful. Even Frieza back then could not be a match for any of them in a single move. How could a master who had dominated the 4 galaxies thousands of years ago be someone who gained his fame for nothing? Gagoa looked at Bojack, who was sitting on the main seat, and said, "My lord, if you collect all 7 Dragon Balls, have you decided what wish you would make?" Bojack laughed, looked at his 4 subordinates, and said, "Ha ha ha, of course I've thought about it." Butchin asked, "What wish does the king want to make?" Bojack picked up the red wine glass on the table, drank it all, and then said, "Although the 5 of us have very long lives, we have been sealed by those 4 old guys for more than 1,000 years. After being unsealed, I feel that our physical strength is no longer as good as before. How can this be possible? This is not possible. Our dream has not yet been realized. Destroying the 4 galaxies is a long and arduous task. It will take a long time, so I want to make a wish to the dragon to give us 5 people eternal immortality. As long as we have immortal life, these 4 galaxies, no, this entire universe will be destroyed in our hands one day, ha 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 ha. Your Majesty is wise, your Majesty is mighty and invincible. Butchin flattered him. Bojack glanced at him with a crooked mouth, then looked at Zangia and ordered, Zangia, contact the Vanguard troops on Earth and ask them about the progress of collecting Dragon Balls. Zangia's pleasant voice rang out, yes, my king. Then Zangia began sending contact signals to Earth's Vanguard forces, but the result is predictable, there was no response. After a minute or two, Bojack's face fell. Several people looked at each other. 2 seconds later, Bojack said in a deep voice, there are only 2 possibilities now. One is that these idiots have ulterior motives and made a wish after collecting the Dragon Balls. The other is that they encountered a strong enemy on Earth and were completely wiped out. Whichever it is, it makes me very unhappy. Zangia flicked her big orange hair and asked, my lord, what should we do now? Bojack said coldly, speed up, rush to Earth at full speed. Yes, my king. Zangia responded, then stood up and went to the spacecraft control room. After her operation, the speed of the spacecraft reached an incredible level, rushing towards the Earth like crazy. Bojack said, well, I want to see who's ruining my business. What a fool. Bidu, who had been silent the whole time, rubbed his hands together and said viciously, your Majesty is right. No matter who they are, we must make them pay. We must torture them severely and kill them. He tilde, as he said this, he showed a bloodthirsty smile. After Zangia accelerated the spacecraft, he walked back to his original position. Bojack said again, by the way, Zangia, how is the matter I asked you to investigate going? Who helped us lift the seal? Reporting to the king, now we only know that the dead is the king of South Realm of the Southern Galaxy, but it has not been determined yet who killed him. Zangia responded. Bojack said, okay, keep investigating. He's our great benefactor. I want to make him my subordinate. The 5 galactic thugs continued their discussion. They imagined how they would slaughter the Earthlings after arriving on Earth, collect Dragon Balls, realize their wishes, and then explode the stars and leave in style. Soon a blue planet was projected onto the spacecraft screen. The Earth is finally here. My lord, the Earth is ahead. Should we land? Zangia asked. Land, Bojack said. Yes, my king. Zangia controlled the spacecraft and began to descend to the Earth. Earth, Temple of Heaven. Son Gohan and Trunks stood at the edge of the celestial temple square. Both of them had cold eyes staring into outer space. Suddenly, a spaceship appeared in the outer atmosphere. Although it was far away, Son Gohan and Trunks could still be vaguely seen. 5 huge energy pressures poured down from the spaceship. Son Gohan narrowed his eyes and said coldly, Trunks, they are here, prepare the reward. Yes, Gohan Niai. Boom, puff, puff, tilde, the 2 of them turned into Super Saiyans in an instant. A huge momentum rose into the sky, golden flames surrounded his body, and surging energy washed over most of the sky. The air around was boiling. The entire heavenly temple began to shake slightly. The blonde-haired and blue-eyed Son Gohan looked particularly cold, with the corners of his clothes rustling in the strong wind and his furry tail dancing in the wind. He gathered his hands at his waist and began to gather Qigong waves. Turtle tilde, as the first word was uttered, aqua-blue energy surged in, and the dazzling light was like the sun hanging at one's waist, brilliant and eye-catching. Pi tilde, the energy became stronger and stronger, making a buzzing sound. Seeing Son Gohan use the Kamehameha wave, Trunks put his palms on his head and condensed the magic flash. Compared to Kamehameha, Trunks is more proficient in magic flash. When Son Gohan taught him, he learned it immediately. Kaigong Boha, magic tilde flash tilde light tilde ha. The 2 men clapped their hands violently, and 2 earth-shattering Qigong waves rose straight up and rushed towards the spacecraft that was breaking into the atmosphere. At the same time, on the spaceship, several people were staring at the huge screen. Suddenly, they noticed 2 flashes on the screen that were getting bigger and bigger. As the flash became stronger, Bojack asked, confused, what is this? He never thought that anyone would dare to attack their ship. This is Tilda, the pupils of Butchin, the magician with the most outstanding mental power among the 5, suddenly shrank. Then he shouted in shock, oh no, someone is attacking our spaceship. What? Several people found it unbelievable and then became furious. What's going on? They haven't even arrived on Earth yet. Are those bastards on Earth going to give them a warning? Audacious in the extreme. How audacious. Without waiting for Bojack's orders, Zangia ran to the spaceship's control cabin and tried to control the spaceship to dodge the 2 energy attacks. Butchin, hurry up, stop them and protect the spaceship. The spaceship swayed from side to side and the people on board swayed as well. Butchin used telekinesis to try to change the trajectory of the energy attack, but he was horrified to find that his telekinesis had no effect at all. The 2 energy attacks were so powerful that they were beyond his expectations. My lord, this is bad. The opponent is stronger than me, Butchin said in shock. Damn it, didn't the scouts say that the Earth is a low-level planet? How could there be such strong people? What a bunch of trash, Bojack said angrily. At this time, Bojack finally realized that his Vanguard troops did not embezzle the Dragon Balls but were killed by the Earthlings. Outrageous. But there was no time for them to think about it. the five of them simultaneously opened the energy shield. Boom, boom. Although the spaceship kept dodging, the two energy beams still hit both sides of the spaceship. Their energy attacks seemed to be able to turn corners. Boom, the spacecraft exploded and turned into a beautiful ball of fireworks. Fuck, the people on Earth deserve to die. 5 men rushed out of the explosion, cursing, and dived towards the Earth. But that's okay. The Hera people have the ability to survive temporarily in outer space, otherwise they would have been killed in this wave. But they obviously underestimated the determination of Son Gohan and Trunks to kill them. The explosion wasn't over yet, and the overwhelming energy balls rose into the sky again. The evil Earthlings are madly attacking them. Outrageous. This is really unreasonable. In all the years that Bojack and his gang have been roaming the galaxy, when have they ever suffered such injustice? The 5 people kept dodging under the energy shield and continued to approach the Earth, but their speed was obviously much slower. Moreover, one of the 5 people was beaten and had blood gushing out of his mouth. Bojack bit his gums so hard that they bled. In the Temple of Heaven, Son Gohan and Trunks' aura soared into the sky, and their hands continuously blasted out energy balls, bringing the essence of the prince's fighting skills to the extreme. Boom, bomb them hard. Son Gohan laughed. Yeah, Trunks also showed no mercy and gave it his all. I felt so happy in my heart. On this day, a hole was created in the ozone layer, and the rumbling sound of the explosion made all people on Earth tremble. Flames filled the sky, making the Earth appear red, as if doomsday had come. Indondu bitterly looked up at the sky. She guessed that this should be the result of a battle between Son Gohan and the aliens. The shock in my heart is beyond words. Son Gohan and Trunks attacked like crazy, but the physical strength and energy consumed by such a large-scale and intensive attack were also very astonishing. Fortunately, there was Dandy, a human-shaped power bank, behind them who would cast recovery and treatment spells from time to time, and the two of them immediately regained their strength. Simply outrageous. Both Butchin and Bidu are dead, died in a massive explosion. Gai was also seriously injured. His sword broke into several pieces and his body was covered in blood. Zangia's face was pale, and one of her daughters was blown into a bloody mess, no longer as beautiful as before. Among the 5 people, only Bojack was relatively intact, but there was blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, and it was obvious that he had suffered some degree of injury. Seeing Butchin and Bidu die, several people's eyes were about to burst, but there was nothing they could do. They just hated the 2 Earthlings who attacked them for being so despicable and shameless. Bojack experienced the darkest moment of his life after losing 2 important generals before they even met. This kind of thing, he had never thought about it before. Even if the 4 kings of the realm joined forces, they only sealed them but did not actually kill them. This time it was really outrageous. As time goes by, Bojack becomes more and more irritable. However, the explosions continued, as if the other party had endless energy and wanted to kill them. Kill them in the sky. Bojack's rage completely exploded. Ah, a long roar was heard. Bojack's shirt exploded and his headscarf turned into powder in an instant. His already enormous body swelled again, and his long orange hair turned a dazzling bright red. His aura was also enhanced, countless times stronger than before. Atilda, he screamed wildly again, and a huge energy shield rose up around his body, blocking most of the energy impact. Then he raised his hands to the sky, and a dark red energy ball appeared. It fluttered in the wind and soon turned into a sky curtain with an astonishing momentum. Earthlings, die, he roared and pressed down with both hands in the air. The incredibly huge ball of energy roared towards the Earth. The huge energy ball swallowed all the energy bombs fired by Trunks and Son Gohan, opening a path for the 3 of them. Zangia and Gai wiped the blood from the corners of their mouths, their eyes shining, and took the opportunity to speed up, breaking into the atmosphere and officially rushing into the range of the Earth. Bojack also moved forward with the energy ball, pressing towards the direction of Son Gohan and Trunks. Seeing the energy ball getting closer and closer to the Temple of Heaven, a bloodthirsty smile appeared on Bojack's lips. I'll let the Earth be buried with you 2 bastards, ha 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 ha. HMPH, that's wishful thinking. Son Gohan snorted coldly, clenched his fists, and his aura changed drastically in an instant, full energy. In an instant, the clouds in the sky changed color and lightning struck from the sky. Trunks beside him and Den, not far away, looked at Son Gohan in shock. At this moment, Son Gohan's aura was completely different from before, and he became extremely violent. Trunks, go kill those 2 trash fish. Yes, brother Gohan. Trunks soared into the sky without any hesitation and chased after Zanga and Gagoa. Son Gohan stared at the dark red energy bomb that was getting closer and closer, put his hands at his waist, and blasted out another powerful Kamehameha. The aqua-blue Kamehameha wave was like a giant dragon rising into the sky, colliding violently with Bojack's dark red energy bomb. Boom tilde, it seemed as if there were only 2 dazzling colors left between heaven and earth. 2 powerful Kigong waves were deadlocked in the air. The surrounding space continued to distort, and loud rumbling sounds of violent collisions were heard. Veins popped out on Bojack's forehead and his teeth ached from clenching their teeth. Atilda, he let out a long roar, and the muscles in his hands twitched, increasing his energy output. As he increased his output, the dark red energy ball pressed down several meters, and a hint of joy appeared on Bojack's ferocious face. Kakaka, in the temple of heaven, the floor beneath Son Gohan's feet cracked and his feet sank into it. Have the opportunity, Bojack's eyes lit up. The damn thing below seems to be a little weaker than him. Damn it, then die. Bojack was ecstatic, and he kept pushing the energy ball down, wanting to devour Son Gohan and the entire celestial temple in one fell swoop. Son Gohan retreated again and again, and a corner of the temple of heaven was collapsed. Bojack is getting more and more excited. Victory is in sight. Suddenly, he seemed to hear Son Gohan talking to him on the other side. I don't know what method Son Gohan used to make the sound pass through such a noisy environment and reach his ears accurately. Son Gohan said, Bojack, are you happy? 3 question marks appeared above Bojack's head. This bastard across the street actually knows his name, and what does it mean to ask him if he is happy or not? It's true that he is a little happy now, because the power of the bastard opposite seemed to have been suppressed by him. Victory is in sight, how can he not be happy? Son Gohan's voice came again. Haha, idiot, I lied to you. Bojack was confused. What on earth is this guy across from me doing? It left him completely confused. Suddenly, Son Gohan's body changed. The muscles all over his body bulged high, and he instantly turned into the failed second form, muscular man form. This form leaks air quickly, the speed drops sharply, and the visual impact is strong. But I couldn't hit anyone's. But don't forget, they are now on the same wave. This is a mutant form with a power increase that is infinitely close to that of Super Saiyan 2. The power increase is enough to reach 80 or even 90 times that of the normal form. Extremely perverted. Boom, Son Gohan's momentum surged and he became even more violent. His energy surged and the power of the Kamehameha wave naturally increased as well, surging suddenly. Before Bojack could react, his dark red energy bomb was pushed back, leaving him completely helpless. His power was completely crushed by Son Gohan. Bojack's mentality exploded instantly. There was really no preparation or concern at all, it just appeared like that. Tilda, seeing that his energy ball was about to backfire, Bojack screamed, bit his tongue, and forced himself to move to the side. Although he was very fast, he was still hit closely by 2 energies, which cut off several pieces of his flesh and blood, causing him to feel excruciating pain. Boom, the Kamehameha wave and the dark red death bomb rushed into the vast universe and then exploded suddenly. The strong light illuminated a small half of the northern Milky Way, and countless planets were reduced to ashes in the explosion. A void of nothingness formed at the center of the explosion. Hoo-ho-ho, Tilda. Bojack was panting, not caring about the severe pain in his body, and looked at Son Gohan, who was like a golden god of war with fear on his face. This kid actually hid his strength, isn't it too insidious? Tilda's Son Gohan also exhaled, and his muscles contracted quickly, turning back into his normal Super Saiyan form. Super Saiyan 1 full power mode. Hee. Son Gohan looked at Bojack and grinned. The golden aura on his body exploded again, and then he flew up into the air and rushed towards the embarrassed Bojack. Son Gohan's speed at this time could be said to be as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Bojack, raised his right fist high, and smashed it up with a sound of breaking through the air. HMPH. Although Bojack felt a little scared, he still punched out. The 2 fists collided with each other, making a loud bang. Energy exploded between the fists, rippling out in circles and shattering countless clouds in the sky. Bang, bang, bang. The 2 men wrestled wildly, punching and kicking each other, causing foam to fly and blood to spill into the sky. This was an exhilarating battle. The 2 were equally strong and fought fiercely for a while. Dandy and Bobo, who were standing on the temple of heaven watching the battle, were terrified, their pupils contracted, and they gasped. On the other side, Trunks has caught up with Zanga and Gagoa, and the 3 of them also have a fierce battle. However, Zanga and Gagoa were already seriously injured, and after several fights they were overwhelmed by Trunks. The 2 were increasingly injured and bleeding profusely, and were finally ruthlessly killed by Trunks. Of the 5 galactic gangsters, only Bojack is left. The other side, the battle between Bojack and Son Gohan continues. Son Gohan became more and more excited and crazy as the fight went on, and Bojack becomes more and more shocked as the fight goes on. He discovered that there was something strange about Son Gohan's body. For some reason, although Son Gohan did not turn into that muscular man again, his strength became stronger and stronger. And this bastard has the ability to heal itself. It was obvious that every attack would result in losses for both sides. They are all tactics that hurt the enemy by 1,000 and hurt yourself by 800, but every time it returns to normal after a while, it's outrageous. At one point, Bojack remembers biting off one of Son Gohan's fingers, but he soon discovered that the dog's fingers grew back in just a few breaths. Outrageous, it's so outrageous. How is this played? Bojack's mentality has reached the brink of collapse. He knew it. If he continues to consume his energy, his strength will only become weaker, but his opponent will become stronger. As one thing grows stronger while the other loses, there is no doubt that he will die on Earth today. but Bojack was really unwilling to accept this. He really doesn't want to die yet. He had clearly managed to survive the 1,000-year seal. Hateful, Trunks returned to his normal self, floating high in the sky and watching the battle. He thought it was going to be an exciting battle. It turned out to be a crushing defeat. Poor Bojack was running away with his head in his hands, covered in wounds, without any trace of the demeanor of a great hero. At this moment, he was as cowardly as a bear. There's absolutely no will to fight. On the other hand, Son Gohan becomes more and more courageous as the battle goes on. My heart was roaring constantly. It's almost there, it's almost there. Give me a little more time, damn it, give me a little more time. I am about to break through. I will seize the opportunity to break through immediately. I now have sufficient foundation and am fully equipped for breakthrough. I want to break through. Son Gohan punched wildly, his eyes as cold as two ice knives. Suddenly, boom, catcha catcha, thunder rumbled above the sky and electric snakes danced wildly in the clouds. Lightning struck down one after another. Son Gohan punched Bojack and sent him flying. Immediately afterwards, a thick blue lightning struck him. Fight, fierce fight. Roar. Son Gohan let out a long roar. I felt like a shackle inside my body was breaking. At the same time, a flash of lightning flashed through his mind. Immediately afterwards, veins appeared on Son Gohan's forehead and his muscles became stronger. The golden hair on his head stood upside down and a long fringe hung in front of his forehead. The green eyes grew colder. Boom, puff, 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 tilde. The golden aura surrounding his body became stronger, and electric sparks kept jumping around his body, making slight crackling sounds. A giant black ape was reflected in Son Gohan's pupils, and then an extremely powerful aura gushed out of his body. She has blonde hair and blue eyes and is surrounded by a golden aura and electric sparks. The terrifying aura filled the sky, and all the dark clouds in the sky were blown away. Super Saiyan 2 C. Son Gohan glared at Bojack, and Bojack almost got his heart broken. Who are you? Bojack asked in great fear. He admitted that he had never seen anyone as terrifying as Son Gohan. With this kind of momentum, just one look from him would make him tremble with fear. The one who killed you, Son Gohan said coldly, and his figure flashed and disappeared in an instant. No, don't. Bojack turned and ran. No, I can't die here. I don't want to die here. I want to escape. I want to leave here. I want to leave this horrible place. Now Bojack has only one thought in his mind, which is to escape. However, the disappeared Son Gohan suddenly appeared in front of him and punched him directly. No, Bojack screamed, but he had no way to avoid it and was hit head-on by Son Gohan's fist. The next moment, a strong light burst out. Bojack's body disintegrated piece by piece and finally disappeared into the air. Everything is silent. There are floating clouds in the sky, gentle breezes blowing, and warm sunshine shining down. Everything turned out for the best. Son Gohan looked back at Trunks, Dendy, and Mr. Popo with a big smile on his face. Trunks and the others also recovered from the shock. Son Gohan's figure flashed, and the next moment he was standing on the square of the Temple of Heaven. None of the three could figure out how he got there. The speed has reached an outrageous level. Trunks trotted over, excitedly circled around Son Gohan, and said in surprise, "Brother Gohan, such a strong energy, it's amazing. What is this transformation?" Son Gohan said, "This is a transformation that exceeds the limit of Super Saiyan. Let's call it Super Saiyan 2. So awesome." Trunks' eyes sparkled. He wished he could become that strong. Brother Gohan has always been his idol and the figure he has always been chasing after. Son Gohan exhaled heavily, and the golden aura and lightning on his body disappeared at the same time, although it is still in Super Saiyan 2 form. But this way can minimize the consumption of physical strength and energy. This is also the first time Son Gohan transforms into Super Saiyan 2. So Son Gohan wanted to keep it going longer and carefully experience the changes so that he could guide Trunks' future transformations. At this moment, the voice of King Kai of the North sounded above the Temple of Heaven. "Awesome, that's really awesome, Son Gohan. I didn't expect that even Bojack couldn't be your opponent. You are such an amazing fighter. Maybe you have surpassed Goku now. Son Gohan, I thank you on behalf of the other King Kais. This is really a great help. You have done a great deed. All 4 galaxies will thank you." Son Gohan smiled and said, "Lord Kai, after talking so much, it would be better if you could give us some substantial rewards. I don't encourage your behavior now." "Well, that's right. So what do you want?" asked the King of the North. Son Gohan looked at Trunks and said, "Trunks, is there anything you want?" "Me, I want a sword," Trunks said. He thought that Brother Gaia looked really handsome with a long sword on his back. Although it was smashed later, I still couldn't stop my inner yearning for the swordsman. "Okay," Son Gohan said. "Lord Kai, you should have heard it too, right? Trunks wants a sword." The North King said, "Sword, no problem. Although I don't have one here, I know where there is one. I can go to the Great King and get you a good sword." "Okay, thank you then," Son Gohan said. "As for me, I want to ask Lord Kai if he has anything good to give me. I have to choose. Select." "Hello, what? Oh, sorry, Son Gohan. Let's leave it like this for now. I have something to do. Bye for now." King Kai looked hurried and then cut off the connection. On the other side, King Kai of the North took out a towel and wiped the sweat from his forehead, then drove a red car leisurely around King Kai's planet again and again. busy, he's not busy at all. Son Gohan didn't care, as there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. But there is still a problem. After King Kai of the North finds the sword, how can we hand it to him? But no matter what, Bajak's crisis was finally resolved. This Bajak invasion ended with the Earth almost intact. In the Temple of Heaven, Son Gohan maintained the Super Saiyan 2 form for half an hour and then returned to his normal form. Then he told Trunks some of his feelings and experiences about transforming into Super Saiyan 2. Trunks benefited greatly from this. Through this battle with Bajak, Son Gohan also gained some preliminary understanding of the benefits of being immoral. That is the super benefit that comes with the immoral body, super self-healing ability, and super recovery ability. The only person Gohan could think of who was as perverted as Majin Buu. Although the Namekians also have self-healing abilities, they are still far behind us. Thinking about it, the Spirit Time House has not been used for another half year. Son Gohan simply went straight into the spiritual time chamber and made full use of the remaining time. Half a year is enough time for him to consolidate and strengthen his Super Saiyan 2 form. Not only that, he also thought of several ways to develop his immoral body to the extreme. For example, the immoral body plus the Saiyan's near-death recovery ability, when combined together, is simply beyond imagination, going against the will of heaven. Trunks naturally did not fall behind and entered the spirit and time chamber with Son Gohan. The two of them learned from each other and practiced tirelessly. In this way, another half year passed in the spiritual time house. When the time came, Son Gohan and Trunks pointed out the spirit time chamber. It is worth mentioning that Trunks' tail has grown out in the past 6 months. Shaking his brand new tail, Trunks was very happy and said he would bring a lot of delicious food to Dandy. Son Gohan told him that Namekians did not need to eat and could survive by drinking water and photosynthesis. Trunks was shocked for a long time after hearing this. He could never imagine how there could be a human being who didn't like to eat. Eating is obviously the happiest thing. Alas, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out at all, and I can't see through it at all. When they came out, they found that it was already midnight. At this time, their clothes were tattered, and their hair had grown much longer, and they were all simply tied into ponytails. After saying hello to Dandy and Mr. Bobo, the two jumped down from the Temple of Heaven and flew directly to the West Capital. When they got home, they found Bulma already asleep on the sofa in the living room. Trunks found a blanket and covered Bulma with it. Afterwards, the two took a hot bath and then returned to the bedroom and fell into a deep sleep. The next day, the brothers were awakened by the smell of food. They woke up sniffing wildly and found that Bulma had prepared a whole table of delicious food waiting for them in the living room. Wow, food. Meat. The two of them had stars in their eyes and swallowed saliva frantically. They hurriedly washed up and then sat down at the table. They stayed in the Spirit Time House for more than half a year, eating only bread every day, and they hadn't had a good meal for a long time. So now, after seeing the food, the glutton in my stomach is getting restless and ready to fight. Thank you, Mom. Trunks swallowed. Hee, Aunt Bulma is the best. Son Gohan also laughed. You two stop talking nonsense and eat quickly, Bulma said with a smile. Looking at Son Gohan and Trunks and thinking about the strangeness of the earth yesterday, Bulma guessed something. Also, how come Trunks has grown a furry tail after just a few days of not seeing him? Bulma kept guessing in her mind and had many questions. Then I'll start, Son Gohan said, clasping his hands together. Start. Trunks also put his hands together like him, thanking nature for the gift. The two of them ate with relish, gobbling up the food on the table in no time. Bulma only ate a little, and the rest of the food went into Son Gohan and Trunks' stomachs. I can only say that they are worthy of being Saiyans with a black hole in their stomachs. After dinner, Son Gohan took the initiative to talk about Bajak. Bulma felt as if she were there herself. She was terrified and worried about Son Git turned out to be just as she had guessed. Aliens invaded the Earth and were successfully stopped by Son Gohan and Trunks. Mr. Earth has really escaped a disaster again. Fortunately, Gohan and Trunks exist on Earth, otherwise I don't know what terrible things would have become. Thinking of the previous mishaps caused by the androids, Bulma felt a pang of fear in her heart. Then Bulma asked about Trunks' tail. To Bulma, humans with a tail are not only unattractive but also very dangerous. She was the one who saw with her own eyes how Sun Wukong turned into an insane black-haired gorilla. Therefore, some rejection is inevitable. But even so, she couldn't resist Trunks' nagging and finally had to accept the fact that her son had an extra tail. Finished clearing the dishes, Bulma trimmed Gohan and Trunks' hair again. A morning passed like this. In the afternoon, Bidili drove a jet to the Universal Capsule Company. Trunks opened the door for her and was stunned when he saw Videl. Who are you looking for? Trunks asked. Today, Bidili wore a loose sportswear which looked simple and generous. She only had light makeup on her face, her eyelashes fluttering, and she looked like a neighbor's sister. But Trunks was sure he had never seen this beautiful sister. Videl looked at Trunks and said politely, Hello, I'm looking for Gohan-kun. Brother Gohan? You are Brother Gohan's friend, then I will take you to find him. Trunks said, It's troublesome. Biddy said, No trouble, come with me, sister. Trunks said, leading the way for Videl. Yeah, okay. Videl walked behind and looked at Trunks' wagging tail. I couldn't help but ask, are you Gohan-kun's brother? Trunks smiled and said, yes, we are half-brothers. Baidili was stunned. Half-brother, what does that mean? Trunks continued, haha, Gohanji grew up with me. He is my brother and also my teacher. He is very kind to me. Vidal said as if she had suddenly realized something, so that's how it is. You are the young master of the Universal Capsule Group, right? I know your mother. She is a very powerful person. Young master sounds too unpleasant. My name is Trunks. Sister, just call me Trunks. Trunks said, okay, Trunks, what's your sister's name? My name is Vidal. The two talked all the way and Trunks brought Vidal to Son Gohan's room. At this time, Son Gohan was looking through some of Bulma's notes. He discovered that he had a talent for becoming a scientist because he could actually understand some simple knowledge. Sure enough, am I still suitable to be a scholar? Exploring the infinite scientific fields is also a cool thing. No, Son Gohan quickly shook off this terrible thought. Forget about becoming a scholar, the idea is simply too scary. Reading books can't save the Dragon Ball world. Somebody is coming. Son Gohan looked up and saw Trunks bringing Vidal into his room. Brother Gohan, this sister is looking for you. Trunks said, yeah, okay. Son Gohan nodded. Trunks looked at Son Gohan meaningfully, then looked at Vidal with a look that said, I understand. Then he left in a hurry. Gohan-kun, Vidal smiled, it's great to still see you. Standing before you is Son, low-key hero, saving the earth, Gohan-kun. Until now, Baidili firmly believed that there were probably no more than 5 people who knew what happened yesterday. What is this? Does it worth? He is really too low-key. As far as she knew, the man in front of her had saved the earth several times. It really proves the old saying, there's no such thing as a peaceful life, it's just that someone is carrying the burden for us. It's ear-piercing, but it fits. Son Gohan smiled and said, haha, come with me, I will explain the air dance technique to you in detail. They left the room and found a quiet place. Son Gohan continued to explain the air dance technique to Vidal. Vidal listened carefully and asked Son Gohan if she didn't understand something. 2.5 hours later, Baidili said goodbye and left. Before leaving, Son Gohan told her that she could practice on her own in the future and there was no need to travel all the way to the Western capital. After all, he has taught everything he can and all he needs now is time to practice. But Son Gohan didn't expect that Vidal would come again at the same time the next day, day 3. Until the 4th day, Vidal finally sensed the presence of the aura. I saw a breeze around her, blowing up the corners of her clothes and making her long hair flutter gently. Then Baidili's feet were floating 20 centimeters off the ground, but not long after, she returned to the ground panting. It's just because her energy is too weak now and not enough to sustain for too long. Instead of being discouraged, Baidili was very excited because she saw a magical door slowly opening in front of her, revealing a colorful and wonderful world inside. That night, there's a full moon high in the sky. Today is the day of the full moon, Bun Mountain. Son Gohan walked out of the room and onto an open lawn. He looked carefully at the silver moonlight on the ground, made up his mind, and then looked up at the moon in the sky. The moment he saw the full moon, Son Gohan's pupils dilated rapidly, and then his whole body froze in an instant. Boom, dong dong, his heart started beating wildly as if it had been electrocuted. The noise was dull and growing louder. Boom, boom, boom. It was only a few seconds before the heartbeat started to sound like the beating of a drum. Son Gohan clenched his fists tightly, and it seemed as if an ancient ferocious beast had awakened in his heart. This ferocious beast is bloodthirsty, crazy, violent, and angry. All kinds of negative emotions continued to wash over his body. At this moment, Son Gohan felt that what was flowing in his veins was no longer blood, but his anger and violent animal nature. A strong roar came out of his mouth. All the beasts on Bayazi Mountain that heard his voice prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling. The birds in the woods all flew away in all directions. Boom, 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 boom. The heartbeats were getting faster and faster, more and more frequent. Son Gohan's face began to become hideous and then deformed. Veins bulged on his arms and his clothes were bursting. Son Gohan's entire body expanded rapidly, and in just a moment, thick black hair covered his entire body. Soon, Son Gohan turned into a giant black ape. This giant ape was 25 meters tall, covered in black hair. Its 2 blood-red eyes, as big as lanterns, constantly emitted a terrifying, murderous light, and an extremely powerful aura emanated from his body. The giant ape lowered its head, looked at the 2 huge hands, and then walked towards the nearby river. He looked at his reflection in the river and said, "This thing is fucking ugly." The sound was buzzing, with some flavor of a dragon speaking, but it was more filled with anger. But since he can speak, this means that Son Gohan retained his sanity after transforming into a gigantic ape and did not turn into a crazy giant ape. In fact, Son Gohan himself didn't expect that he could be so clear-headed. It is very different from the crazy ape we imagine, but he soon found out. This is the result of the perfect fusion of the 2 souls in his body. A local soul plus a soul from another world. After the perfect fusion of the 2 souls, not only did Son Gohan's understanding greatly improve, but his mental and soul power also underwent earth-shaking changes. Its intensity is even dozens of times stronger than before. This allows Son Gohan to remain sober and rational enough after transforming into a giant ape.
Hello, everyone! As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500 plus novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.